Alan Jones was a broadcasting powerhouse. Now he's in court fighting charges of indecent assault and sexual touching. To follow the trial, what's alleged and how it's challenged, search for the Case Log podcast on ABC Listen or wherever you get your podcasts.
This is the 2026 AFL Premiership season.
On ABC Sport.
AFL. On ABC Radio.
On digital. And ABC Listen.
Look for the AFL button.
92 days ago, Josh Fraser walked the Blues onto Docklands against the Western Bulldogs in his first time as interim coach. And now he's going full circle as he's put his hand up for the senior position. And this afternoon, a massive win for the Blues could lead them into September. A win locks them into a wild card final. And they've got the Western Bulldogs, who at the moment cannot move in the ladder and have decided to manage Marcus Bontempelli and are without ruckman Tim English. It's a big afternoon for the Blue Baggers, but it is the Dogs' home game under the lid here at Docklands. Great to have your company for Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Aaron Bryant's to call the action for you this afternoon. Alongside me is Andrew Mays. Afternoon, Maysy.
Hello, and well done getting on the flight last night or this morning. Actually, you called last night, so you're at the Adelaide Oval, then straight here. Express in the morning. Great work. No, nice to see you here. Welcome, and we've turned on a nice day for you as well. For it should be a good game.
It's been a short turnaround, but I think we'll get a better contest than last night between Port Adelaide and Melbourne. At least I'm hoping so. Maybe the Blues might get up and about early. We'll wait and see. I've got a pair of all-Australian experts with us this afternoon as well. Bob Murphy's here. Good to see you, Bob.
Nice to be in your company, gents, and everyone listening in. Yeah, it's a bit of a precursor to the wildcard round with two wildcard teams today. Really unsure as to what will happen. Both sides capable, but capable of the extremes of footy, so we'll see under the lid.
And alongside Bob Murphy, Chad Wingard's here as well. Afternoon, Chad.
Afternoon, everyone. Afternoon to the listening crew as well. I'm excited. I mean, we've watched Carlton play last week, and geez, they turned it on and they put the pressure pedal to the metal. So I'm excited to see both groups. Will they go hell for leather? I mean, we've seen Marcus Bontempelli obviously get managed, but whoever's going to be out here, I think it's going to be a great contest.
There's a lot to unpack in the text line this afternoon if you want to get in touch. 0437 774 774. But we're going to start right in the heart of the Navy Blue. Poppy Penny's the fifth member of our team, and she's down at the Carlton race. Welcome, Poppy.
Thanks, Aaron. I'm downstairs with Jordan Russell, the head of development at Carlton, and we've seen a significant amount of development in the last 12 weeks at Carlton. What is the vibe like, I guess, going into this week, knowing that you're a chance at making the wild card? 12 weeks ago, that probably wasn't where you guys were at. What has this season and I guess this week been like to keep everyone focused?
Yeah, it's always a challenge whether you address the elephant in the room or not, but I think the consistent message that Josh has put forward to you guys in the media is around the process and not the results, and the boys are in such a good rhythm at the minute with their weeks and the way they're playing them out, their training intensity, how they've connected with each other across the lines, and we just feel like we're in a really good flow state at the minute where we're not worried about results. We're process driven and things at the minute are really well connected.
You mentioned process a couple of times, and Josh Fraser has put himself in the coaching process at Carlton. Have you got any idea of what his presentation looked like?
I've got no idea, but if it's anything like his pre-game stuff, there'll be some entertainment stuff in there as well. So I think the great thing with Fraser at the minute, he's got a great balance between fun and serious, and that process of the last 3 months has been great for him to tweak and refine what he wants to do as a coach, and it's been really positive.
Would you like to see him get the top job?
I think what he's being able to do is really positive, and obviously I'm not part of the executive team to make a decision, but I mean, his results have been fantastic. He's got a group of guys who were positive and connected towards the front end of the year but weren't getting results, and he's turned that into a fairly good resume in the last 3 months, so I'm wishing him all the best.
Jacob Wiedering comes back in today, his first game since I think round 13. How much work has he put in to get himself right for what could potentially be a finals berth?
Yeah, he's a professional. Obviously, it's been frustrating, the fact that it sort of reoccurred a couple of times throughout his rehab process. And what he probably is not used to doing is going back through the VFL. So for a senior player to go back down there, invest into the team and have a great attitude while he does it, speaks volumes of the person that he is. And we're a better team when he's playing in our AFL side. So what he will do for Deanie and Wade Dirksen will be immeasurable in terms of leadership, and hopefully they can just keep going along their merry way.
Has it been hard? I guess you mentioned, it's reoccurred. It's been a bit of a tricky time for him. Has it been hard at all to keep his spirits up?
Sorry, who was that?
Wiedering.
Yeah. He's been through setbacks before, so I mean, it probably helps him in terms of what's happened in the last couple of months. But good teammates, good leaders, provide leadership regardless of whether they're on or off the field. So what he's been able to do for Ash Hansen and the backs in the last couple of months have been awesome.
You head of development, who this year has developed, I suppose, and surprised you that you've been really impressed with?
Yeah, well, I think Jags, Deeney and Tyler Byrne are the ones that you've seen consistently at AFL level, and what they've been able to do has been really encouraging first years in. Jack Ison got to go for 6 or 7 games, and that probably wasn't on the cards early days, and he had to work really bloody hard to get his opportunity. And there's a couple of guys in the twos who are performing week in, week out, and Harry Charleston's one that hasn't played this year, but his growth from the start of the season to now in the VFL has been unreal, and the work that our development coaches are putting into our young guys has been awesome. Craft and off-field connection as well.
The turnaround this season, I mean, we've talked about it so much, but it is remarkable, the turnaround that the Blues have managed to pull at the back end of this year. Has it surprised you at all, I guess, the resilience and the ability of this team to regroup with what happened in the middle of the year?
I've been asked this question a lot. From my standpoint, there was a lot of positive stuff that was happening in the first 9 weeks of the year, and credit to the stuff that Vossi was implementing. I think we were in games for halves, we were in games for 3 quarters, we had 6-minute patches where teams could kick 6 or 7 goals, and that was the difference in the game. So a lot of the stuff you guys are seeing now is probably down to the stuff that we were doing at the start of the year. We just weren't getting the reward for it. So obviously the external pressure is quite at times harsh for the big clubs, and the boys have been able to ride above that and galvanise, and it's been so impressive to watch. So it's a credit to them.
You spent a couple of years in the opposition coaching camp. You got any intel on the Western Bulldogs for today?
No, well, they culled me back in 2020, so it's been a while since I was there. I know Bob's on today, so I love playing this club. It's a really good system. Bevo's a fantastic coach, and they've got so much talent in their side today, even though they've got a few injuries. So it's a danger game, and we're certainly not going to disrespect them. They're a good footy side, and we've got to make sure we're on point today.
Yeah, Bob's told us there's heaps of stories about you. He's going to let rip tonight in the commentary. Thank you so much for your time. Jordan Russell, I'm down here in the Carlton camp. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Poppy. Downstairs there in the Blues race, and you can feel the energy right now, the faithful, the hopefulness of Carlton right now, who can potentially lock in, or will lock in, a final spot if they get the job done this afternoon against the Western Bulldogs, who at this stage cannot move. They're locked in for September action. It's just a matter of where they could go in terms of a wild card. They win their last 2. Collingwood dropped the game on Friday night to the Brisbane Lions. It could be a home one for the Bulldogs. I think the way that they've gone about this week tells you they're pretty comfortable with finishing 9th or 10th and seeing what happens from there. But the Blues have a lot to play for with St Kilda and the Giants breathing down their neck. No late changes here under the roof. There is another game on at the moment as well. If you want to hear it, jump on ABC Listen and hit the extra button. It is the Giants and the Eagles. GWS are one of those sides who are trying to chase down Carlton and hoping that they lose this afternoon. They are up at the moment, midway through the second term, by 11 points over West Coast, 7-2-44 to 5-3-33. And in the cricket, Bangladesh are 1-for-24 and need just 33 runs for victory. So I'm not sure we're going to get a day 5 up in Darwin. But the crew, if you want to hear the call with Cobb Middlemass and Ben Cameron up north, jump on ABC Listen and hit the cricket button. Bob, Chad, as I mentioned before, you can hear the electricity in the Blues camp right now. It seems like a lifetime ago that midway through the year, this side was headed towards rock bottom. And now 10-2 under Josh Fraser. September's in their sights. It's been an amazing turnaround, and they're doing it pretty emphatically to the point where if you end up matched up against them in a wild card, it might be a pretty dangerous opponent.
It's a genuinely unique season that they've put together. That's not the most revolutionary statement you'll hear this season. We've never really seen a turnaround quite like it from the Carlton Footy Club, and fantastic interview there and insight with Poppy Penny interviewing Jordan Russell, and as is the way of modern coaches, then there was a lot of process and structure and sticking to what they know. But the word or the phrase that jumped out to me was flow state, and I saw you nod your head, Chad, that for all of the jargon really of modern coaching, and it is because you just hear it ad nauseum, and it's not to diminish it at all, because process is king in elite sport. But what you're hoping for, you're crossing all your fingers and toes, is that you have the right personnel and you have the right process and you have the discipline just to repeat it, and then you get into this flow state. And that's a fascinating insight by Jordan Russell, and a lot of the credit, deservedly goes to Josh Fraser. I'm sure there's a lot of fingerprints on it, but he has earned the right to be in the box seat, to be the senior coach for that proud Carlton Footy Club. So they're a formidable opponent, and they are a genuine unknown, and quite fitting in the first year that we get a wildcard finals campaign, that we get this unusual footy club in this unusual reign of form.
Yeah, and it was similar to actually Western Bulldogs last year. You remember them playing against Fremantle late in the year to try and get over the line. And Jordan Russell was another thing that I really wanted to, I suppose, highlight that he said as well, was they were 1-8, but they were in games. And we remember the second half. Everyone remembers the maturity of the group. We were challenging that. But they do have talent. Like, they were within striking distance nearly every game that they were in the first 9 rounds. So I think the biggest growth for them, and they would have done this, they're talking about process and flow state. Flow state's predictability. So when we've watched Carlton in the first probably 9 games, it was a bit unpredictable, especially on their, I suppose, offence. They were kicking through the corridor, going long, had a lot of turnovers against getting scored heavily. Those 5-6 minutes patches which you spoke about, that's so interesting that now feel like they're in flow state. And when you're flow state, that's not just on the field, it's off-field reviewing. It's everyone on the same page, whether it's VFL, AFL alignment. You know what to expect from your role itself. That's flow state. So, yes, he's spoken about the word and said it, but what it actually means is still a process to it. So that was interesting to hear because, again, we do see the 1-8 and 10-2, and that's the big headline. But what goes underneath that is actually a lot more.
Give us a text if you're in the flow state, 0437 774 774. Wherever you are around Australia, are you in flow state or are you looking to be in flow state? We've got a few pointers, we've got a few tips to get you there, but if you're already there, let us know how, why, paint the picture for us, 0437 774 774.
It's almost like this guy hosts a radio show or something. He's
pretty good at it. Very similar.
I'm just sort of testing the waters. If it gets a bit of a reaction, I've got no problems dusting it off for breakfast tomorrow from 5:30 on ABC Melbourne. Absolutely.
I think it's everything that Essendon fans are hoping to become, though. Like, Carlton have had their roller coaster decade of highs and lows and largely heartbreak, but to be able to, within a season, get yourself to a position where not only are you contending, you'll be playing, final football if you win this afternoon, but the list is still relatively young. We think about Cripps and Mackay and Wiedering, but there are a lot of young stars coming through. So
that's the thing, though, isn't it? Their list is so different to Essendon at the moment. Not saying that things can't turn quickly, but I suppose the conundrum for Carlton in that first half of the season, and what eventually brought Michael Voss undone, was we could see that they could do it, but the swings against them were so wild that it just seemed to be predominantly above the shoulders, and they just couldn't get over that mental hurdle. And Michael Voss, for better or worse, he just wasn't able to get them to simplify it, or that clarity of thought to find flow state, as Chad articulated it. So we knew they could do it. Essendon are in a different category of, they don't know who they are, and they're still working out their club hierarchy. They're still working out which players are capable, and the players themselves are wondering, am I up to it? Am I capable of it? So that's what they're hoping for, but they're still a fair way off.
It was really interesting, actually, when Michael Voss stepped aside. Josh Fraser almost made the decision, if there's a decision between Adam Sard and Billy Wilson, we're going to go Billy Wilson. There's a couple of others. We saw Jack Ison get an extended run over others who'd been preferred in the forward line.
Yeah, Zach Williams is in
Zach Williams is the other one. Yeah, so it was almost like they've found these gems, not too dissimilar to what Collingwood have done, where they've been forced through injury to play kids and players that they didn't think were probably up to it or better than the options that they had, but they've discovered some gems that they had on their list that maybe they didn't quite know they had. So that's a blessing in disguise of when the coach obviously goes. And does that free up the older guys as well?
I see it like at Hawthorn, for instance. You had Tom Mitchell and Jager as well. And you think about when they left, what opportunity arises for them. There was Warple got in the midfield, Will Dade, and you see Josh Ward, who has an unbelievable game last night as well. And I think the same could be said for Melbourne. So Melbourne obviously got rid of Clayton Oliver, not rid of, but they traded and Petrarca as well. And you see the Tom Sparrows of the world and the players that are coming through. the next team, I think, that should do it is Richmond. Richmond are playing 2 players, a Hopper and like Presti is obviously retiring, but they've got some older players that are playing in their midfield, and that's where you're obviously going to get the most output. And yes, they've had injury concerns, so they're a little bit different. That's a little bit different.
Their availability might be
exactly
so poor
right.
that they've got their hands tied.
Exactly right. So they're a little bit different in Richmond, but once they're players, you see the Lawler of the world and the guns coming through. Another one for me is, as we just mentioned, is Essendon. Like, you've got Merritt. I thought they had an opportunity last year to do something similar and get reward for a player that's obviously wanting to leave, and they just need to find their direction. That's the simple thing. No one knows where they're going, how they're going to do it.
Because that was going to be my argument was, Carlton have essentially built a culture in a season, and that's what Essendon are hoping to get to. But I think you're right, Bob. The foundation isn't even there. You've got to start from getting to know who you are and finding your identity, and then develop.
Yeah, and Chad, you mentioned Zach Merritt. I mean, it feels like the biggest open secret in the game, doesn't it? That Zach, whilst he's committed on the field and he's performed pretty well, clearly there's question marks about how invested he is about being there in the long term. And whilst those sort of things are happening, in the likelihood it's not just Zach Merritt, there'd be a whole lot of other players looking over the horizon. What about my opportunity? Is there greener grass over there? Until you get some clarity on, hey, if you're here, you're all in. Physically, emotionally, everything we're about, you're all in. Until you do that, well, you'll be in the swamp.
Bob, can I ask you about your experience? I know, so to have Brendan McCarthy, who sort of had that game plan that was not too dissimilar from Michael Voss, where there was a heavy focus on contested footy and winning that type of possession.
Yep.
And then Bevo, through his magic, was able to come in and add the elements around that. We've seen that almost in 12 weeks with Josh Fraser. Can you sort of relate to that shift from that contested ball and then adding the other elements in? Because they've still
it's a really great question, and I suppose there's a long thesis in it. The quickest way I could describe it is we went from Rodney Eade, who was a running, attacking, offensive game style. The change from that style to Brendan McCartney's dour, stoic, defensive numbers around the ball, that takes a long time, and the results will prove that it was a really tough few years that Brendan wasn't able to survive.
Yep.
But building from what he taught those players and us as a footy club to then add the offense and a bit of dare and a bit of bravery and some adventure to it, that's a quicker and easier build than unwinding the other way, if that makes sense.
Yep. Can you see that in Carlton?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I think Josh, from the outside, and we are just clue collectors, aren't we?
Yeah.
Like I came into the game same time as Josh. I've known him for a long time, observed him, and he has that calm demeanour, and he's the son of a country farmer. He has that demeanour about him. But sometimes the gift of coaching is not how much you know and the intellect and the amount of sophistication. It's just simplifying it. And the first half of this season, when I was watching Carlton, they didn't look like they had the gift of simplicity. They looked like they were complicated. When they got a lead, then they'd start to overcomplicate it and overthink. Josh has been able to just trim away all of that, and their players benefited from it.
And that's why it's hard to argue against him right now. There are some seriously good candidates, and Carlton, to their credit, are doing their due diligence. But if you've got an interim coach who has the players connected and in a flow state, and that culturally the club is up and about, I think it's hard to rattle that. As you said, sometimes you bring a new voice in and it takes time to then build a new system. Right now, this is working. They're headed towards September. You win today, you're in finals. I don't know if you rattle that cage.
It seems, and look, we should never say this in footy because, you just when you think you've seen everything, there's another surprise waiting around the corner. But I think specifically for Carlton, who have this collection of untried senior coaches, and Jamie Graham, Corey Enright, Daniel Giansiracusa and James Kelly. Then you've got Josh Fraser. Well, Josh has done it. So when you put that up against similar experiences and a presentation on a PowerPoint, and then you go, yeah, well, I've got 3 months where I took you from there, over there in the desert, to here, the chandeliers of finals football. Case closed. I just think it would be one of the most stunning turns if Josh Fraser wasn't
gigantic
named.
Leap of faith to say we're not going to take you.
But could you imagine whoever does get it? and he's going to be compared to this. It's almost like impossible. So you almost wouldn't want the gig if you're not Josh Fraser, because you're going to be compared to 10-2, and we're in the finals, and we're the best we've been seen in maybe 2 or 3 years.
Tough for the assistant coaches who are in the process hearing every week, Fraser, Fraser.
Thoughts of Bob Murphy, Chad Wingard, your experts this afternoon for Sunday footy on ABC Sport. The text line 0437 774 774. No late changes for the Bulldogs and the Blues. Meanwhile, over at the Sydney Showgrounds, the Giants lead the Eagles by 35 points heading into halftime. So their campaign is still alive. Will be ended if Carlton win this afternoon and secure their spot in the top 10. Mixed reception for you, Bob, in terms of flow state. So okay. Tim says if I hear one more reference to it, I'm going to tear my hair out.
Yep.
But Simon in the York Peninsula says Bob seems like a duck on a pond. Cool, serene, flow on the surface, but legs working overtime under the desk in anticipation. Go Blues from Simon.
Don't worry, Simon. There'll be moments today where that'll flip. You'll see the inverse of that, where the chaos will be on the surface and the calm will be underneath.
Good segue to your footy club then, the Western Bulldogs. We've done the Blues a fair bit, but there's a fair bit going on inside the kennel right now. Obviously, they're locked in for September, so this game doesn't mean too much to them. If they win the last two, Collingwood drop their Friday night fixture against the Lions. They could have a home wild card, but either way, they're playing in what is the sudden death new format of the game. No Bontempelli managed during the week, even though the morning of teams, Luke Beveridge said there would be no players managed, although there is some reports that he's been banged up a fair bit. This isn't a soft manage. This is a guy who needs a break.
Everything you've said there, everything you've said is 100% true. There was just a moment at the start of that gorgeous monologue where you said there's actually not much for them to play for, or I might be paraphrasing, and it was like gulping poison because it is just one of those things in football that every game should feel like an Apollo launch. It should feel like the most important thing that's happened in civilization. As you're running up the race, even if you logically know that is not the case, you need to build this feeling of delusion within your footy team and within the change rooms that we are playing for all the marbles today. But the reality is you are right. And you do worry if that starts to seep in. I think there's a lot of Bulldog supporters today that see, Tim English is out, Bont's out, we're guaranteed of a wild card game. You just don't want to see a lacklustre performance because this team doesn't have the luxury to not answer the bell because it's even for this Bulldogs team that's can be up and down. I think this year has been really some pretty steep spikes.
I think your charisma off the top just converted me immediately where I thought, firstly, you want to have momentum heading into finals, don't you? So you don't want a big loss under the lid if you're going to potentially host one or if not play here. And secondly, I guess, Chad, is there's some kids out there who are trying to play for their spot in September. You're getting an opportunity through the crisis, and especially in the ruck situation where Luke Beveridge has not really backed in his young prospects. They get a go without Tim English this afternoon and potentially for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, 100%. You can't turn it on. Like, we know there's not a switch. So this is basically the start of their finals campaign, or the wild card campaign, if you want to call it that. They need to play well. Like, both teams need to play well to not just establish that they're serious and they're going to contend post the wild card if they get past that. But you just can't switch it on. I don't think I've ever come into a game thinking, this doesn't matter. Like... Once the ball's up, like, it's on. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they've heard this. Because if you're a player, you'll hear this. You'll hear, I've been hearing that, guys. We're going to be a little bit, we don't have Bontempelli, so we're not a chance. That creates a little bit of fire in my belly if I'm out. If I'm one of the players of Western Bulldogs. So that actually, I expect a bit more. We saw it last week.
That's you, though. But have you ever been in the warm-up or in the locker room or out on the ground and looking around and thinking... do you have the same mindset as I do today, or are you just maybe taking a few percent?
The only time I think I've seen that in some teammates or opposition is when their season's over, like completely over. The season's still well alive for both these teams, so I can't imagine they'll be thinking like this at all because, again, you can't turn the switch on and off, and you've got to know who you can trust. Like, if you look at Bevo, like which players are going to step up tonight, which players are going to be in the moments, are going to get their compliance right, who's going to get their structure right. The forwards and backs coach want to make sure that they're all well aligned. You can't just create symmetry and a systematic approach. And again, who do you trust? Bevo's going to look at this game and see he's 25 and say, okay, yes. There's one guy who doesn't do that.
Big afternoon for Joel Fraser, I think.
Yeah, yep.
You know, baby Bont and all of those things, and he's made such an impression. And you know, he seems to be. I'm not quite sure if heir apparent is the right phrase, but he seems to be that similar type of player. And his season has been not to what his years previously have been. Well, Bontempelli out. Fraser, you would think, would start in the middle. You know, he'll probably go up against Paddy Cripps for portions of the evening. It's a big challenge, but I think it's a perfect moment for Joel Fraser to re-establish himself as a next generation superstar.
It's a funny season for him in the sense that he has essentially equalled the numbers of last year, but we had such high expectations of him developing to another level that he just hasn't got there yet.
More evidence.
Means it's a bad year.
More evidence that stats are overrated. More evidence. Exhibit A.
And they've got some big names to come back in eventually, so you're still waiting on your Butterick, Bailey Dale, we can see across the media centres, hoping to come back in the next few weeks. Tim English, we touched on. Riley Garcia's unfortunately out for the year, but there's a few that can come back into this side, and the Western Bulldogs feel like a bit of a wild card, which is, you know, no pun intended because they're going to play one, but you talk about the Demons being the dark horse because they're a real contender, but the Bulldogs at their best.
Yeah, the Demons feel like a dark horse for being contenders, don't they? Today feels more like a proper wild card round.
Anytime that Luke Beveridge is involved, he can absolutely pull a rabbit out of the hat. He's a master coach and tactician when he wants to be, and if you get him first week of the finals, especially if you're the Adelaide Crows, which is looking the likely scenario, the heat is on Matthew Nicks right now, and the Doggies could go to Adelaide and, you know, pull this huge upset that could shake the foundations of South Australia.
Again, now, after just slagging off statistics, now I really wish I had a couple on hand, but I do feel like there's been some really big, significant wins for Luke Beveridge as a coach interstate. So that as a potential final would be huge.
Yeah, well, the prelim final against Port Adelaide in COVID, 2021, when they could even train on the oval.
Yeah.
And Port Adelaide's been home all year, and Bulldogs come out and absolutely smash them in that first quarter.
Yeah, they've got a lot to offer at their best, the Western Bulldogs, and you can see that through their season. So they won the first 4, they lose Sam Darcy, they go on a losing streak and lose 4 in response, and they went 8 of 11, and now they're on a 2-game losing skid. So at any given time, they can be the best team in form in the league.
Yeah.
It's just right now where they're coming into this game without their heavy hitters, we don't rate them as highly.
It's probably been a while since we've seen that platinum level of footy that the Dogs can play. Not saying they can't get there again, but it has been a little while since we've seen it. But just as an aside, the banners for football teams are now getting closer and closer to the centre square. And someone needs to say something and do something. I feel like we need to start a campaign. Look, I'm really excited. I'm happy for all of those people on the turf who get to, you know, create a lineup to wish the players well on the way through. But the banners are now about 120 metres out onto the ground, and I don't really know if that's what the banner was initially used for. It was meant to be unveiling the team onto the ground. They've almost got to do half a time trial, Chad, before they actually get to the banner.
Yeah, I'd cramp up.
There might be. Look, there's pickle juice halfway there. What are we doing?
Surely it's a money-making scheme, right?
Follow the money.
More people on the ground to get involved in match day.
I think I'd like to think that those who are on the ground are less corporate and more community, type people that, you know, it's an opportunity to be on. And I love that. I do love that. But when they're standing single file, it's almost a channel towards the centre square bounce.
They're 10 away from the square, aren't they?
Look, I just think, you know, if we don't say something soon, these banners are going to run into each other. And that's a safety issue.
That'll be good.
If the teams run through the same banner, that'll be problematic.
I'm glad we've got somebody here who's, you know, on the real agenda.
Yeah, well, you know.
Banner concerns with Bob.
No late changes if you are just joining us as well for the Western Bulldogs in Carlton as we continue round 23. Blues win, locked into September. Dogs, if they win their last 2, can host a home wildcard final. They'll need Collingwood to drop a game against the Lions next weekend. So still enough to play for both. It is largely about the Blues, though, this afternoon. Over in Darwin, Bangladesh are closing in on victory. They are 10 runs away from defeating Australia in the first test. They are 1 for 47, so 9 in hand, 10 runs. You do the math. You can switch over and hear the end if you want to on ABC Listen through the cricket button. We won't be offended. Just make sure you come back.
I'll be back before the minutes.
And the other game, half-time at the Sydney Showgrounds, the Giants are leading the Eagles by 34 points there. The goal scorers for GWS, multiples to Thomas, Cadman, Brown and Toby Green. Singles to Grishevsky, Angove, Hamilton, Stringer. 3 behinds for Jakey Stringer. I've jumped the gun. Hamilton was the other one who's the individual goal scorer. So poor Jakey, a month ago, was very wayward. Has had 3 behinds this afternoon. And meanwhile for the Eagles, 2 to Liam Baker, the Premiership Tiger, and singles to Waterman, Murdoch and Tom Cole. GWS win. They'll be hoping Carlton loses this afternoon. On the text line, Brendan Hobart says, I don't think Graham Wright is the sentimental type of person when he makes a decision when it comes to selecting his new senior coach. And Jeff, in regarding to flow state, says, are the flow of surfing or body surfing? That's my flow state. So
there you go.
Bob.
Well, I wouldn't. It wouldn't be a stretch for me to imagine that the surfing community were the origin of flow state. You know, they're a very spiritual bunch. Look, I'm taking a lot of this from what I learned from Patrick Swayze in Point Break. That's fair to say, but I just feel like that would be a pretty good fit. I wouldn't say that Josh Fraser is a sentimental pick. This is not like an interim coaching situation we've seen before. This is not, you know, a coach coming in for a couple of weeks and having a couple of emotional wins. It's not that. It's 3 months is too long. That's a significant amount of time.
They've turned out in force this afternoon, the Navy Blue supporters, largely in the top tier because it is a Western Bulldogs home game, but it's so much at stake for them, considering midway through the year it looked like they were headed towards rock bottom, dead and buried, and now September in their sights, a win away this afternoon, and they'll secure it. In the top 10 means the Giants and the Saints seasons will be over. The Blues making their way out after their victory over St Kilda last week by 44 points. 7-day break for them. They've won their last 3, Carlton and Josh Fraser. He had his first game as interim coach, his first win against the Western Bulldogs back in round 10. Now looking to complete the full circle as a result. Well, the Western Bulldogs will be coming in after their shock loss to North Melbourne. 23 points last Thursday. 10-day break for them. Hopefully refreshed and revitalised, albeit without Marcus Bontempelli and Tim English. No late changes, but a couple of fresh faces into their side for the Bulldogs this afternoon. So the 3 changes, we'll see Luke Kennedy out there, which is exciting for the young man who's been waiting a while to get some senior opportunities. Had a couple of games earlier in the year and found himself back in the 2s. Louis Emmett gets a chance as the young ruckman, and Lockie Carmichael, the debutant this afternoon, who comes in out of the Swans Academy, picked 21 in last year's draft. He's been banging the door down in the VFL, averaging 19 touches, and now gets his crack after the syndesmosis injury he had back in January. Poppy Penny's made her way over to the Western Bulldogs racer, has a get ready to run out here at Docklands. She's downstairs with Jaron Geary.
Yeah, I'm downstairs in the Western Bulldogs camp with the development and player leadership coach, Jaron Geary. Jaron, big game. You guys have confirmed a wild card position, but opponent matters from here. Depending on where you finish, depending on where other teams finish, there could be a road trip to Adelaide on the cards as a wild card match.
Down at ground level, but we'll check back in a moment's time here at Docklands. Great to have your company for Sunday footy on ABC Sport, on ABC Local Radio and Sport Digital. So the Dogs have the banner up and high, heading out onto the Docklands turf here for Grandstand. AFL, Aaron Bryans, Andrew Mays, Bob Murphy and Chad Wingard, your crew this afternoon. Do you know much about Lockie Carmichael, Bob Murphy?
No, met him for the first time during the week. Had a supporters function on the Monday night and got to meet Lockie and listen to him give a short interview up on stage for those who are lucky enough to be there. And yeah, he's had quite the football journey and the excitement. You know, whenever a player gets to play their first game, it's like we all get to play our first game again. So really excited for the young man.
Analyse MVP as well, and yeah, I mentioned before the injury in the pre-season, and now jumps up as the first round pick to get a crack for the Western Bulldogs this afternoon. All right, we might try Poppy again down at ground level. Poppy down at the Bulldogs race with Jaron Geary.
Yeah, I'm downstairs in the Western Bulldogs camp with the development and player leadership coach, Jaron Geary. Jaron, big game. You guys have confirmed a wild card position, but opponent matters from here. Depending on where you finish, depending on where other teams finish, there could be a road trip to Adelaide on the cards as a wild card match. Have you got on the ladder predictor this week?
Not really. I mean, it was interesting last week, obviously not having a win, but still, confirming our place in the wild card round, which is exciting. But we want to carry some good form into that part of the season. So we've got a critical few weeks coming up, and that starts today against a really informed team in the competition in Carlton.
What was the review like, I guess, after last week? Externally, that loss came as a bit of a shock, I think, for a lot of us watching. What was the internal review?
Oh, I think we, going to the game, knew North Melbourne had some strengths, particularly with their ball use, and that was going to be something that we needed to get right to get the game on our terms. And, the start of the game was pretty disappointing for us. 6 goals at quarter time, and then we played catch-up really for the rest of the game. So you take away the first quarter, there was some positive elements in our game, and we've been sort of struggling with some of our ball movement opportunities, and we probably started to get that going a little bit better last week, and something we want to build into this game today. And, Carlton are the same. They've been moving the ball really well, really efficiently from their back half, and been a really exciting team. So that's going to be the challenge for us again tonight, is trying to quell their ball movement and trying to get a bit of ours going, to be honest.
Their winning run kind of started against you guys under Josh Fraser. The first game he coached was against the Doggies. They started this sort of 10-2 run. What threats do they pose, and what have you seen from them in the last 12 or so weeks?
Yeah, I think that, obviously under Fraser, they've been able to unlock their exciting brand of footy with their ballmen. That game we played against them, we struggled to get territory in that game. They had a lot of entries, and we had not a lot of entries. So, that's part of the game that we want to try and be more positively in. Last week we were able to get territory, which we've struggled to do over sort of the last month of footy. So for us, it's about getting the ball in our front half and hopefully taking away their ability to go from one end to the other.
Siren sounds a bit out of tune. Lucky it's getting a bit of practice.
I didn't have to give it so many pumps, to be honest. There's a lot of goes there.
One's enough. No Marcus Bontempelli today. Can you walk us through the decision to rest him this week as opposed to next week, knowing that you do have a wildcard spot sewn up?
Oh, really? He's had a pretty big load. He's played, every game for the year, and he's carried a lot of niggles throughout the year. So we just got to a point where, we had an opportunity to sort of freshen him up. Whether it's 1 or 2 weeks, I'm not sure, but hopefully, by the time it gets to wild card round, he's raring to go. That's going to be important, obviously, week for us that game. So it was an opportunity to sort of try and settle down a few of the things that he's been carrying for a long period of time, and this sort of just seemed like the best week to do that.
Who do you suspect or hope steps up in his absence?
Yeah, well, Aaron Norton and Ed Richards are the vice captains, so they've done a really good job leading the team. They've been in good form themselves, particularly Ed over the last month. So those guys are the ones that the players will be looking to. They're a big part of our leadership, a big part of our future moving forward in that space. So I'm not sure. I think Aaron's flipping the coin tonight, which is exciting for him. First time he'll captain the club, so that's an exciting opportunity for him. And then obviously we've got some younger players playing as well, so they'll be looking at those guys, and hopefully they can lead the way through the middle and up forward. Lastly, a debutant today, Lockie Carmichael. What can you tell us about him? Yeah, he's a funny kid. I didn't realise how funny he was or how awkward he was a little bit until I saw some of his debutant videos this week. But no, he's done a good job. He's had a really good pre-season, and then he actually got injured on the cusp of the season, so he's taken a little bit longer than he would have liked probably to get going. But he's built some good form over the last 4 to 6 weeks in the VFL. He'll play in the back line. He was in the Swans Academy, so they opted to not bid for him when we took him. So we were really happy to get him, really excited to have him at the club, and hopefully today he can have a real positive day for us and a really strong future for the footy club. Good luck to him. Good luck to you. Thanks so much for your time. No worries. Thanks, guys. Cheers. Great to have Jaron Geary downstairs with Poppy Penny. We are moments away from the Western Bulldogs and Carlton round 23 action. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Aaron Bryans and Andrew Mays with you alongside Bob Murphy and Chad Wingard. Dockland slowly starting to fill up. There's plenty of blue out there. Some of it's lighter, some of it's darker. Albeit both these clubs playing for positions in September this afternoon. No late changes, no Marcus Bontempelli, no Tim English for the Dogs. And Jacob Wiedering back for the first time since round 12 for the Blues with that calf injury. All right, gents, how's this playing out this afternoon?
Chad, you go first. I need to navigate some head and heart stuff here.
I just think it's going to be a great battle in the middle. I mean, you think you do lose Bontempelli, but most of their senior players and best players are around the ball with Bailey Dale and Fraser. You got Tim Liberatore, who can go in there and dominate as well. So I expect Carlton to bring the heat, and I expect Carlton to get up on the back of that.
Yes, I've got to be full of candy here. This is the ABC. I just feel like the form lines and the selection, it just does lend itself to Carlton being just a little bit too red hot today for the Dogs, who have got less to play for.
Tell us, I want to ask you both about the mental challenge for Carlton today as well. It's been a while since there's been any expectation. Generally, over the last couple of years, they've played well without expectation. We've seen this year where they've played well without expectation. Now that there's sort of a big carrot at the end of this game, how's that going to play on their minds coming into it?
I suppose it's a different experience for them, but I feel like they're their body of work over the last few months, I think, and I got to say, even just watching them warm up, they're having fun. They're playing. They're in that. And mixed feelings about the term flow state. I know not everyone loves it, but that's where they are at the moment. So I think they've pushed through that challenge of overthinking certain, external factors. That speaks to Josh Fraser's ability to simplify things for this group.
Well, you think about last week, that was their test for me. I mean, that's an 8-pointer beating St Kilda, and that's when the pressure was on. They were expected to win that. Yes, Naz goes down early, but the heat that they put on Naz had about 3 touches, and every single one of them, he was under pressure. So they came with that intent. They didn't get a lot of marks inside forward 50, but the game just moved on, and their ball movement and their defence got more predictable as time goes on. So if you talk about a team that had expectations, they ticked that box for me last week, because that's, if anything, more important than this one.
And they've banished the predictable nature of their second halves. I think early in the year you thought even if they're up by 4 or 5 goals, they're going to blow it, or at least it'll be a close game. And now when they have been tested in second terms and teams have come back at them, they have held firm. And even if they have leaked a bit, they come back. And now there's a bit of trust and faith that, yes, if this team does come out hot and the Western Bulldogs fall a little short early, that Carlton just won't let go.
I've got a question for you guys, and you can take as long as you want. You can answer it straight off the bat, or you can take all afternoon. What do you think is stranger in the history of the game? The season in totality of Carlton, the Jekyll and Hyde nature of it, or the fact that 2 teams have had 2 draws in the same season? You can only pick one of those test cases. What do you think is more unusual?
Draws for me.
It's got to be the draws.
Got to be the draws.
Can I throw a third option in there?
Go for it.
We have 5 matchups across the last 2 weeks of sides that have not played each other before this season. Between the 6 double-ups that you get, how is it that there are teams who are just meeting each other for the first time across the last 2 weeks?
Well, that is strange.
That is strange.
Look, the game's got a sense of humour. If we were to walk on the sunny side of the street.
Hopefully we'll have some of that this afternoon. Well, we do always like to milk the game as much as we can as big blockbusters with plenty at stake, and I know Bob Murphy's a little bit cautious about how this one could go, but there's plenty of narratives around it. The Western Bulldogs and Carlton are both eyeing September footy, and they wouldn't want a big loss to rattle that in terms of their momentum. What these young stars can do to try and fight for their spots, given that there are some senior players out. And of course, the Carlton coaching dilemma, which faces the Blues right now. A win secures them in September. Josh Fraser would be 11-2 as a result if they get the job done this afternoon. And the questions will come if they make the decision on the eve of finals, with essentially a week away before they'd play in a wild card. And if that's against Collingwood, which is the touted matchup at the moment, that's going to make, reportedly, the AFL about $10 million. So I think they're just barracking for the Blues this afternoon.
Can I add another strange one too? Considering the cricket's just wrapped up. Bangladesh getting rolled for 54 in a tour game and then beating Australia by 9 wickets. That'll have to be up there.
It's a good turnaround. It's Fraser-esque.
Yeah, what happened in between there? What were the Aussies doing?
So that's the full-time score then as well. Full-time, but yeah, the test match wrapping up over in the north. So Bangladesh winners by 9 wickets in the end. And yeah, there'll be question marks around the Aussies and their preparation as we get towards the summer of cricket. And over at the Sydney Showgrounds, half-time between the Giants and the Eagles. They're just getting underway in the third quarter now. GWS is up by 34 points, and you can hear it on ABC Listen through the AFL Extra button. We are seeing Aaron Norton, part of the co-captain affair, alongside Ed Richards, without Marcus Bontempelli, making his way out to the middle. He's alongside Patrick Cripps, the inspirational skipper. So the 2 West Australians standing opposing sides in the centre circle. We'll find out how the coin toss went downstairs with Poppy Penny, who's made her way down to ground level. Poppy, what's it like under the roof this afternoon?
Well, it's a beautiful day in Melbourne, Aaron, and we are under the lid here at Docklands. It's probably one of the nicest days we've had in August in Victoria, and we are under the roof, but it'll get cold later, so I'll be grateful. Aaron Norton is 1 from 1 in coin tosses. We heard that he will be captaining the side or doing the coin toss today. He won it. They'll be kicking towards the Lockett end of the ground, which is the left of the left of your radio dial, or the Footscray end, as the Bulldogs are calling it, given it's their home game. Rory Lobb warming up as the ruck, so he's kind of been swung around this year, but with no Tim English, he looks like he'll be shouldering a lot of that ruck load. And it's beautiful, beautiful atmosphere, loads of fans, and I am sitting pretty much right in Carlton heartland in terms of our fans. So I don't know, pray for me, I guess.
It's a little bit biased, Poppy, but give us a split. Is it more navy blue than red and blue?
Well, where I'm sitting, it's absolutely more more navy blue, but I think on the other side of the ground I can see a lot more red, white and blue. So I reckon it's pretty even.
You can feel all the momentum a fortnight away from September. The heat's on already out in the middle with Mark Pitnet and Ed Richards and Sam Walsh getting stuck into each other. It feels like we're closing in on some glorious footy. We got it last night with the draw at the G, and we are so close to what is going to be the deciding 4 weeks of the 2026 campaign. Carlton have waited so long to get to this point. Felt like they were absolutely nowhere 13 weeks ago, and now finals are right in front of them. It's the Blues and the Dogs on ABC Sport. You're with Andrew Mays.
Pitnet and Lobb to go at it in the ruck, and it's Pitnet who wins it down. Fraser was first onto it. In fact, it was Smith who got to it for the Blues. Hand pass out the back to Cowan, who flares it wide by hand to Akers. Akers' short pass is okay, and he finds McGovern.
Just talked about Joel Fraser before the game. Just had an opportunity at that first centre bounce to put his head over the ball and take the contact. He just lifted his head just before acceptances.
McGovern towards Mackay. Couldn't take the mark. Evans at ground level. It bounces off him. In fact, it's going to be holding the man. Taken without it, Frankie Evans, as he was running out of space. So it'll be a Carlton free kick. 55 from goal, right on the boundary. Right half forward here. Has Walsh short. That's ignored. Instead, he's going to fire one in to centre half forward. Mark taken as well by McGovern, who actually delivered it to Evans from the wing there. So McGovern tracked forward, led, and now he'll have a shot from just inside 50. Slight angle to the right.
And geez, Frankie Evans had an impressive game last week. You think about every ball that went inside forward 50 felt like it was a mark again. Just a great use of ball. You thought for sure that was going to the hot spot. And he just backed himself, kick it to McGovern. That's a hard kick.
McGovern was happy with it. He was giving this sort of Mason Cox nod. He was very happy with it.
McGovern from 47. Can he squeeze it in? It hits the post. One behind to start the Blues afternoon. That is the lead after 90 seconds here under the roof.
1 year deal for Mitch McGovern during the week, so you'll see him through the end of 2027, Blue Baggers. Not quite accurate there to get us underway. Bailey Williams, the Glenelg product, heads out to the city wing. Trying to target Aaron Norton. He had 3 to beat, hits the deck. Blues shovel a hand pass out. Florent retreats to Wilson. Running out of room, Hayward. He's under a bit of duress now with Artie Jones. Gets the footy back. Linking up with a couple. Tumbling kick central. Wasn't overly great. Head over the footy. Ainsworth trying to gather. Carlton mock it up. Turnover. Artie Jones gets it off to Davidson. Now the Bulldogs head inside 50. Matthew Kennedy tries to place it 20 out. Didn't really favour his target. Cutting across. Good tackle by Waitman. Bit of pressure now from Sanders. Cowan has to just get it out of there. A tumbling kick. Norton had it scouted. Picks it up 25 out. Hands it off. And the snap shot there from Joel Fraser puts the Dogs up early. It's all about opportunity in crisis, and Joel Fraser, baby Bont, strikes early. 1 straight 6, the Blues 1 behind, and we've played 2 minutes under the lead at Docklands for Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
And Western Bulldogs, that was super impressive. Their pressure started almost in the centre line. They actually forced Carlton back without a disposal for about 30 metres. And you see Arthur Jones, that was a smart kick. It was a bit of a tumbler, but he just got distance. And everything after that, everyone from Western Bulldogs pressed, pushed up. It was insane.
Waitman and Sanders came up, putting that tackle pressure on, you're right.
Even Norton, he just got himself in a great position. Yes, he attacked the ball, gave the handball. You talk about Fraser not attacking it. He definitely made up for the finish there. But Western Bulldogs, we asked about their intent, and, geez, they've ticked that box early on.
Good start for the Dogs. 3 minutes played opening term. Margin 5 points. Lobb up early, and he's gone over the line there. A little bit unlucky there for Lobb. Pitnet with the free kick, gives it to Cripps, who drives Carlton forward immediately. Mackay coming out, huge fist from behind. Kennedy rode nicely. Quick kick away is all right to the wing. Bounces in front of Deng, who had enough composure to give the hand pass to Hayward. Now to Wilson, looking for that aggressive kick back inboard to Chera. Chera sold the dummy, bought himself a little bit of space. Kicks to the top of 50 to Hayward. Got it on the bounce. Good tackle again by the Dogs. Pressure is fierce to start this. And the free kick is going the way of Artie Jones.
Looks wide on the 45. Kick well placed to Hines, who can turn into a paddock. Plenty of time to trot. And then pulls up short, trying to check his kick through the logo. Didn't quite work. And now the interception for the Blues. Ainsworth spins on a dime. Handball a little wide at Wilson through the logo. He's in a bit of pressure now. Going the other way with Selwood. He commits to the footy. Wilson, very well done. Releases Dean for Carlton. He'll head towards the 50. Kicks way too heavy for McGovern. And Buku Khamis cuts it off for the Dogs. They want to go quickly. He hands it off to Bailey Williams. And he'll head wide now to Sanders. It's the Dogs by 5 at Docklands.
Had a little bit of space, could draw the opponent, gives it Fraser over the top. His quick kick is okay to West as well, who's a couple of metres inside the boundary on halfway, in front of the interchanges, up to Richards. Richards off the instep, wasn't the best kick, but it'll work out. Davidson takes the mark, drifting across the pack, and he'll line up from about 35 out, about 15 metres in from the boundary left forward pocket.
That was great ball movement, and I think Western Bulldogs have actually set this game up really well. They keep a lot of density inside their corridor because that's where Carlton want to go, and they're defending well off that. I mean, they spread out on the open side, and just every single person of Western Bulldogs was actually open outlet. So Carlton got a little bit of work to do to shut down that.
Sam Davidson to continue the hot start for the Dogs. Opening goal tick, second goal tick. Lovely strike of the footy. And the Bulldogs, 2 straight 12, lead the Blues 1 behind after 5 minutes in the opening term on ABC Sport.
Yeah, they just outworked Carlton there, the Bulldogs mids, and they did it with gut running and effort, but it was also the spacing that they did it from each other. There was, you could see the verbal communication down the field, but also just the eye contact of, no, I'll go now, you go the next one, and they spaced it beautifully. It ended up looking like the classic training drill, you know, the lead on a 45-degree angle, roll on the left foot, lead on the 40. It was a little bit, it did have shades of David Parkin's circle work from the Fitzroy days. Just a modern twist on it. They say that, you know, the more things change, the more they stay the same in footy. That was a perfect example of it.
The foundations are always there, Bob. The Dogs have turned up early. They're up by 11 on ABC Sport. Rory Lobb tapped it down, but Pitnet's the one who does the crumbing. Releases Hewitt, drills the Blues inside 50. And McGovern was engulfed in the ball dropped by Williams. Free kick going his way. Just a panic there from the Dogs defender. Set shot to come for big Mitch McGovern. 40 out, slightly to the right.
And that was a blatant free kick. I mean, he was holding on. He just got in a really poor position. And McGovern, being the player he is, playing forward, can play back, just knows position. And he just held his spot in front and just, again, made his defender either make a call. Either I'm going to mark this or you're going to have to give away a free kick.
Tough game to umpire, but any defenders putting their arms around the waist of forwards, it's the easiest call for them.
McGovern crosses the paint of 50, kicks high and long to the Coleman end, and launches it over the goal umpire's hat. The Blues get their response. They're 1-1-7. The Dogs 2 straight 12. 7 played for Sunday footy on ABC Sport with Bob Murphy and Chad Winger.
It was a powerful centre square bounce clearance. Mark Pitnet, who's looking dangerous in the early going here in the absence of Tim English, was just able to get the ball going forward. He tapped it to himself, roved his own tap work, which is pretty impressive, gave the hands off. And that's it. It's another, example of why quick entries are so beneficial for forwards. You get it into that forward line quickly, and you just get defenders panic, and that's what Bailey Williams did. He panicked. The ball had come in before he was expecting, and just puts his arm around Mitch McGovern. And for an umpire, it's an absolute gift, and they pay it every single time.
Lob in the ruck for the Dogs, up against Pitnet. Pitnet almost won it down again, got the hand pass away towards Hewitt, had to pick it up, off to Wilson, now to Walsh, now to Chera, all by hand. Chera to right half forward, lovely kick, finds Ainsworth, who can get and go, gives the hand pass over the top to Smith. Smith, a dainty little kick towards Mackay, free kick.
Oh, this is, did you see that, Bob? This is unreal from a forward. He's actually pulled the opponent's arm as he dropped the ball, and he's drawn the free kick. I mean, I shouldn't get so excited, but I'm a forward, and he's just used craft. That is probably not legal, but he gets a free kick. He grabs his arm just to make sure that they notice it. But Harry last week kicked a goal from, like I said, a really tough angle on the left side. So see if he can nail this one. He's 3 goals straight last week.
From 45, 5 metres in from the boundary, struck it pretty well. It's across the face, one behind.
Shouldn't have said anything. Sorry, Blues fans.
1-2-8 Carlton. The Western Bulldogs 2 straight 12. 8 minutes played, first term.
Good analysis, Chad.
They have wrestled back the momentum, though. Chad knows all about forward craft, the dual All-Australian, so we'll back him in.
We've got forward V defender up the back too.
You're saying that I know how to draw a free kick? Is that what I'm hearing?
Out to the eastern side and getting in front. Davidson takes the mark in a pack. A little bit entangled there with Hayward, but has the runner and releases Bailey Williams. A nice sidestep. The Dogs up to right half forward. Cowan only had eyes for the footy. Nobody else got back in time. Intercept mark for the Blues. Currently trailing in the moment by 4 points. Cowan looks for the switch through defensive 50.
That's another win for the Blues there. Bailey Williams having to kick a big banana from half back. That is not how the Dogs want to move the footy from half back in the absence of Bailey Dale.
Dirksen to Hewitt to Walsh. This is a dangerous central kick, but it's well weighted. He's found Billy Wilson close to centre half back. Joel Fraser was lurking around. Down the spine they go. 3 to beat for Paul Matty Cottrell. He brings it to ground. Bramble buffeted away from it. Pitnet kicked it into a flurry of bodies. It ricochets out. Good tackle laid to hold things up by Taylor Byrne. We're just behind centre half forward for the Blues. Stoppage to come on ABC Sport.
Dogs by 4. Tap from Lobb. Walsh won it. Off to Smith. Had a fumble. Richards clean and burst away too. And a lovely kick towards Jones, who takes it on his chest. Could have gone back to Richards. He did by hand, who went inboard by hand. Finds Sanders to the edge of the centre square, inside 50. Lovely kick. Norton takes the chest mark. A1 service for Aaron Norton from end to end. Put that down to Ed Richards.
Well, that is how the Bulldogs want to move the ball from half back or middle of the ground. Ed Richards there, who just has that rare ability to win it in close and put the afterburners on. A double possession run, gets it in the hands of Riley Sanders.
Norton for his first of the afternoon. From 20 out, he's missed. Directly in front. Well, that won't do his confidence any good. To start the afternoon, 2-1-13. The Dogs 1-2-8. Carlton 10 played opening term.
On the coin toss, but missed the sitter. 50% strike rate for Aaron Norton to start. Billy Wilson with the kick in. Little link up with Jacob Wiedering, but his handball back is sharp. Tom Liberatore breathing down his neck, cuts it off, picks the pocket, gives it to Selwood. Where's that kick to? Just tried to check it towards the 50, but it ended up curling outside the arc and over the boundary line. Dogs don't make the most there. What would have been a grand heist. Carlton ball. Currently trailing by 5. And speaking of poor ball use, the entry there from Cooper Lord, no good, shallow to Cottrell, and in return, the kick inside 50 from Hines is a worm burner. The Blues win it back. Cue the Benny Hill music. Up towards the corridor. Walsh falls over the footy. Hines makes amends and taps it out wide to Bramble. Surely they can't stuff this up now. Kennedy sends the Dog inside 50, and they did. Wide of the leading target, Sanders comes out. And Dirksen combining with Florid, and now Haynes exiting kick up to George Hewitt at left half back for the Blues. They're heading out through the city wing.
Goes out wide to Hayward, who's called to play on, so he goes back to Hewitt by foot, who has it just beyond defensive 50. Left half back here for Carlton. Margin 5 points in favour of the Dogs. 12 played opening term. Haynes receives it in front of his defensive goal square. Goes out wide to Wiedering, and that tests the calf early on. Had to really motor towards that one, towards the boundary. Got it to Lord, inboard to Cottrell. Took it on the bounce to Walsh, back to Lord, and now to Smith on the edge of the centre square. He's got a couple of players laterally. Just bought himself a bit of time and found Hewitt by foot, who goes by hand to Dirksen, who's up a long way from defence. Kicks inside 50. Lovely delivery from the fullback. And Mackay takes the mark. 40 out. About 10 metres inside the boundary line, left forward pocket.
It's good ball movement, wasn't it? Made the ground nice and big and used their numbers and stretched the Bulldogs' defence. But if you just go back to the Cottrell handball, so he gets the ball on the half volley and was just so strong, absorbed a heap of pressure and then was able to distribute the handball under immense scrutiny. It was a pretty nice handball.
Missed his first shot, Mackay, not his second. Maybe that's Harry's pocket over there. And the Blues have the lead for the first time this afternoon. 2-1-13 the Dogs. Carlton 2-2, 13 minutes gone in the opening term.
And it's a good opportunity for Western Bulldogs. If you know Carlton, they're going to come through the corridor. They've actually missed probably 3 or 4 kicks early on, but they haven't come up with and created that turnover and actually, I suppose, make them hurt off of it. So Carlton, yes, they've been better, like you just said, Bob. Their ability to absorb the pressure and the comfortability with ball in hand has been massive since, I suppose, that first 9 weeks. I think that's probably one of their biggest strengths that they've built on. But again, if Western Bulldogs know they're going to go through there, there's an opportunity, but they've got to make the most of it. They had 2-1 then, and it creates that overlap that Jager can just create that next, I suppose, that kick. That as soon as they go lateral, then that opens them fully up.
3 of our 4 goals this afternoon coming from turnover, but the Dogs are moving it by boot at 57%. Mackay takes it out of the ruck, uses Smith. Now up towards Cripps, headed down the line with a dinky kick, and Evans was held, gets the free kick, drills a bullet pass into the 50, well hot in a car crash collision, coming in Mitch McGovern carelessly with the airborne shirt front as he motors his way into O'Donnell, who hits the deck and thankfully pops up a little bit sorry for himself. That could have been a lot worse than it ended up being.
Stiff not to get 50.
Yeah, a bit lucky not to cut the 50 there.
O'Donnell will take his kick. Straight line drive back towards the centre square. Flying across, Matthew Kennedy did well to trap it. Gets the kick out wide. Riley Sanders behind centre wing. City side for the Dogs. Steps his way through it in the end. Contrell doesn't really close the gap. Short pass forward down the line. Now Jordan Croft can sky one towards the 50 for the Dogs. Flying in the hole, Hayward. He put down the uncontested grab. And the Dogs now on the hunt. They fall and collapse in and will get a ball up. 15 out tight in the right forward pocket.
So we've got Jordan Croft versus Harry Mackay in the ruck at the moment, while the more established tools have a spell.
Mackay grabs it out of the ruck, then was tackled. Quick snap out of there by Kennedy across the face of goal for one behind. Dogs add to their score, 2-2-14 apiece now. 15 played opening term on ABC Sport.
Great to have you with us as part of this triple header today, wrapping up round 23. We've got the Bombers and the Swans to come at the MCG later this afternoon. We'll take you there for the back half. Chera with the exiting kick, 2 1-on-1. 2 strong, 2 good. Bill Hadwood up against Haynes. The 2 skinheads out there on the Docklands turf. He releases Florent for the Blues. Gee, that's a gorgeous strike. Just weighted it up towards Evans out the back of Karmas. Tries to put it on the head of McGovern. Fist comes in from Selwood. McGovern with the tackle, though. He's hungry and follows up. Bit of an alligator roll out towards the 25 mark, and we'll get a ball up right forward pocket for the Blues. End-to-end footy right now between these 2 finals contenders. Carlton win. They're locked into the top 10. Cripps takes it out of the ruck, releases Hewitt, gets it to Evans, screws the central kick. 2 waiting there off the hands of Lord. Selwood tries to shepherd the footy free. Sliding across, tackle laid, 20 from home. They ask the question as to whether or not that was insufficient intent for Riley Sanders, but he does get the benefit of the doubt. 25 out, still inside 50 for the Blues.
Tossed up quickly, Cripps doing the ruck work. Got the hand pass down to Smith towards goal. Wonderful stop on the line, although it's still in. That was O'Donnell. Dirksen tried to snap it to the top of goal. Kennedy did nicely, roved it well, and then Williams was taken high. And will receive the free kick for the Dogs. Inside defensive 50. There's O'Donnell laterally. McGovern stands the mark. Left back pocket here for the Western Bulldogs. 14 apiece at the moment. That's a beautiful kick to find Selwood at left half back. Selwood assessing his options. Dolan short. Instead, he's going to go a lot longer towards the wing, and it's aggressive kick. Waitman from the side. Couldn't take the mark at ground level. Dean, hand pass. It's a little dodgy towards Evans. Well done by Kennedy to tap it into space to his namesake, who just had a slip at the last moment. Cripps wraps him up, and we'll have a stoppage. Ball up to take place just attacking side of the centre circles for the Western Bulldogs.
No relation for Matthew and Luke Kennedy this afternoon. One of them a senior, the other a junior. Cripps took it out of the ruck and flung it clear. That is a throw to Jagger Smith. No whistle. The Blues are on the march. Brody Kemp on the half volley. Hands it off. Taylor Burns skies it, going for home. And knocked down on the behind line by McGovern. No one's really there to pounce. Minor score on the right-hand side. But the Blues are in front. 2-3-15. Plays 2-2-14. Approaching time on in the opening term here at Docklands.
Davidson receives the kick out, and then a lovely mark by Norton. Wiedering over-committed, allowed Norton to keep going, although he puts it out of bounds on the full. That's 2 poor kicks from the standing skipper this afternoon. So Haynes to receive the free kick right half back for Carlton. Short kick. McGovern nudged underneath it by Davidson, who snaps quickly, only as far as Wiedering though. Wiedering looking for a way out. He goes by foot, concedes about 25-30 metres and finds Cowan at left half back. His releasing kick is across defensive 50. He finds Chera.
Been good vote getters in the US political system over the years, Kennedys. We'll see if they can worm their way into the ABC votes today.
Chera short. And he finds a couple of young guns in Byrne and then off to Dean and now to Dirksen. Dirksen kicks inside 50 and finds Mackay, who marked at 49, didn't back himself. Will go to the top of the square instead. Numbers here with the Dogs, and good mark taken by Davidson, who tracked
confident
back.
mark, isn't it, from Davidson?
It's excellent.
Drifting back.
I want to go with pace, the Bulldogs. The clearing kick out towards left half back. A couple of Blues get there in time to knock it over the boundary line. So it will be tossed in right half forward for Carlton right now. Lockie Jakes did his best to try and gain some ground. But we will get that stoppage coming in. Over at the showgrounds, the Giants are motoring away from the Eagles. So closing in on three-quarter time, they currently lead by 45 points. But if the Blues win this afternoon, it won't matter. Tossed in, Cripps takes it out of the ruck up against Croft and releases Akers, who weaves through traffic into the 50, 25 from home. Dirksen forced to spoil, putting his head over at Williams in traffic and gave it away. Handed it to Cottrell, off to Ainsworth. Dirksen loops it over the top and across the body, Cooper Lord can strike. Excellent stoppage work from the Blues. And they're now up by 7 points at Docklands. Carlton move on to 3-3-21. Western Bulldogs 2-2-14. Time on just ticked over under the lid here in Melbourne. Great to have you with us for Sunday Footy on ABC Sport with Bob Murphy and Chad Wingard.
Yeah, it feels like that was a significant win there, and it was multiple wins in a row. Paddy Cripps just absolutely bullying Jordan Croft in the initial ruck clearance, and then Bailey Williams' just inability to absorb the pressure, and then Carlton's ability to do exactly that. And that's been a little bit of the difference at the moment. When it's really in the clinches, it looks like Carlton just that little bit more comfortable to absorb pressure and give the handball to their teammate. The Dogs just a little bit shaky in that area.
Mackay, V-Lob in the middle. Lob won it down only as far as Walsh. Just spilled at the last moment. Might allow the Dogs in here. Emmett kicks forward. Haynes going back with the fly to the very brave mark, not knowing what was coming behind him.
Paddy Cripps up to 4 clearances. Pitnet's got 3 of his own.
Goes short to Hewitt. And Hewitt's kick is a little messy for Ainsworth, who just got the hand pass away to Chera. Right half back here for the Blues. Off to Cowan. Cowan by foot. Lob, good spoil over the top, was third man in. Now a chance for Selwood. Wider to Hines, now Ford. Wakeman threw himself at that contest magnificently despite being out of position. Then fought hard at ground level. Locked it in, 2v1 there. And Wakeman neutralises things just in front of the interchange benches, just beyond halfway. A couple of metres inside the boundary here for the Western Bulldogs.
Hasn't got a possession yet, Cody Wakeman, but his pressure that he's put on and willingness to put himself in harm's way has helped his teammates.
Blues by 7, free kick as it's tossed into the air. Getting held and receiving the footy right in front of us. Out here on the dock side is Patrick Cripps. Up to the attacking edge, he's looking for Mackay. A couple of fists come in. Rory Lobb, one of those. Frankie Evans launches into it front and square. Handball was a little hot there. Trying to make it work is Akers as he breaks the ankle of Jakes. Akers sends Carlton inside 50. It'll drop 40 from home. Pitnet 3 bites and had enough of it in the end. The umpire with a very early whistle pays the mark. And
Buku hold, I think. He might have called the hold.
As they rightfully asked the question, thinking, what's happened there?
Buku had a fistful of his jump up.
Yep.
Not really got an argument to make then, Buku Khamis. He still looks a little distraught about it. Set shot's going to come from the big man, Mark Pitnet, who has shown throughout this season he's one of the few ruckmen who can kick.
Had a good start to the game, Pitnet.
Pitnet on the paint of 50, leans back off a couple of steps, never in doubt with his kick. The Blues have 3 in a row. Leads out to 13 points. 4-3-27, plays 2-2-14, 22 played in the opening term. Sunday Footy on ABC Sport.
Interestingly, he gave it to Buku Khamis afterwards as well, who is rumoured to possibly be heading down towards Lygon Street. So if that eventuates, might need a make-up coffee.
Yeah, well, Pitto's had a really good last week as well. I think he had 2 goals last week. He had 1 to hit-out count. And again, it's starting to get a bit concerning with the clearance battle. I mean, it's 10 clearances to 3 for Western Bulldogs. So, and the potency of the clearance as well. They're getting out front of stoppage. They're getting corridor. They're getting whatever they want. It's not like they're getting quick kicks. Like, it's starting. Western Bulldogs need to either shut them down and just get something forward, or create a second stoppage.
Just the psychology of players and whether they watch opposition selection. So Bontempelli and Tim English out. Who do you think would be most excited? Pitnet and Paddy Cripps probably.
Absolutely. Back in the middle. It's pretty much neutral until Hewitt ripped it away. Got it to Walsh, who could have been caught for holding the ball. No, umpire says he'll have it. Let's head downstairs. Poppy.
Yeah, you were asking about the crowd split. I think based on having both teams kicked goals, it's about 60-40 in favour of the Bulldogs, but the Blues fans are making way more noise.
Fraser from the stoppage tried to get his arms free, couldn't quite do so, held to him. We'll have a ball up right on the edge of the centre square towards half forward here for the Western Bulldogs. They trail by 13, 24 played opening term.
Rory Lobb took down Pitnet before the ball drop, and a very late whistle from the non-controlling umpire goes the way of the Blues. So Pitnet has it just wide of centre half back. Rory Lobb doing his best Tim English impersonation this afternoon. He's done it a fair bit throughout the year, despite Louis Emmett being there this afternoon as well for the Dogs, the young ruckman. Kicks well weighted. Ainsworth takes it just outside the centre square on the city side.
We've got 9 clearances between Cripps and Pitnet at this stage. Cripps with 5, Pitnet 4.
That's a nice Batman-Robin combo there. Chera, short pass to Florent. A couple of first-rounders from across the country.
Dogs have got 3 as a team.
Florent to Wiedering, right half back. Hasn't missed a beat so far in return. Only a footy miss since that calf injury in round 12. Wiedering, searching kick down the line. Broadcast side, he's looking for Harry Dean. Gee, this kid is really coming to his own. First season, he looks so confident. Contested grab, releases Akers. Carlton inside 50. Karmas launches, trying to cut it off. Cottrell hits it at pace. Surging by, gathers, screws, and the mark's taken top of the goal square. Will Hayward just launched off the goal line. It was a hit and hope, really, with the centering kick, but well scouted by his teammate, and the set shot to come for the Blues.
Now, I don't want to say it, but Flow State, as a small forward, we've had 3 players now. Frankie Evans and as well as Cottrell then.
Yeah, Cottrell.
Did not even look at the goals. They put it in the most dangerous spot. And I love that as a forward when you just know predictability. You're being selfless and giving an opportunity for your teammate.
They look in sync right now. Will Hayward's on a massive run as well. 6 in his last 3. And he's on the board this afternoon. That's now 4 in a row for Carlton after the Dogs' hot start. Western Bulldogs were up by 11. Now it's Carlton by 19 points. 5-3-33 plays 2-2-14. 26 gone opening term for Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Robin Greensborough on the text line says, how good is it to have a Harry at both ends?
Yeah, Harry Dean, I mean, he was so impressive last week. He had 2 kicks inside forward 50 and were absolute darts. Like the confidence that he's building, the momentum that he's building. I mean, it's one of the best games of an 8 disposal game that he's had, but it was super impressive. I love what we've seen early, even that mark before. They feel like, again, they're just being predictable to each other. It's great to watch at the moment.
Harry, son of Peter Dean, of course, 2-time premiership player, maybe the kindest man I've ever met in football as well, just for what it's worth.
Pitnet again, down to Cripps, off to Smith, high kick to right half forward. It'll pitch in front of Cottrell and Akers. Oh, well done by Hines. Muscled his way to the footy there. Off to Kennedy. Now the short kick. Florent getting in front of Liberatore. Delivery didn't do him too many favours on that occasion from Carmichael. So Florent to take the mark rather for the Blues. He kicks towards right half forward from the side, Mackay, and then Ainsworth front and centre. Oh, heavy tackle from Fraser, who did nicely to hold things up. Ball up to take place right half forward here for the Blues, right on the edge of the centre square.
Tossed up, Rory Lobb gets fingertips to it first. Coming through Ed Richards, haven't called his name a lot this afternoon. Tackled by Jagger Smith, but got the kick off the deck. Joel Fraser with the clean take. Releases Dolan out wide, hooks it across the body up to half forward. Aaron Norton far from home, too far to score, but he spots something he likes. Tries to place it to Artie Jones. He's cleaned up with a huge front-on contact. Harry Dean just did his best to get in the path of the ball drop. Had no idea where it was and wasn't really looking at Artie Jones either, and he steamrolled him. Free kick easily there for Artie, who's popped up okay.
Tough spot, isn't it, for defenders? With your back turned, you're not quite sure where the ball is. Harry Dean just overcooked it a little bit.
Artie Jones goalless in his last 2, but the streak is over. Steps across, hooks it around the body and turns towards the fans to let them know to get involved. The Dogs get one back, snapping the Blues' 4-goal run. They're 3-2-20. Carlton are 5-3-33. 28 played on ABC Sport.
Well, the clearance work has been the problem for the Bulldogs, or one of the problems for the Bulldogs this afternoon. Has been a total dominance in this first quarter around the stoppages. On that occasion, it was Ed Richards who was just able to win it in close quarters and scunge a bit of a kick forward, but it opened up. Luck was a fortune, and the Bulldogs were able to run and gun through the middle of the ground, and once it got into Norton's hands in that area, dangerous area, middle of the ground, 65 out, he had a couple of options, Riley West and Artie Jones, and he went with Artie.
Lob v Pitnet in the ruck. Richards is out the front here for the Western Bulldogs. Smith was the tackler. Got it to Fraser, but he turned it over by hand. Now Chera to Pitnet to Cripps. Looking for a way out. Now Chera kept on running. Had to turn tackler as he had a fumble, and then Fraser, inventive kick off the outside of his right boot, was lovely to Liberatore. Could have been paid 50. He gives it to Carmichael, kicks inside, attacking 50. Dean up in front of Norton there, and he takes the mark.
Thinking about 50 as well, as Norton may have knocked it out of his hands. There's a little wrestle off the ball, but
really lucky.
Kept his cool.
Really lucky not to have given away 50 metres there, Aaron Norton. He looks really frustrated.
Dean with a short pass to Walsh, and he's clattered into as well by Matthew Kennedy. So there's a bit of feeling in this one between the two wildcard contenders.
He might be a watch just for the next 2 seconds, Aaron Norton.
And a warm welcome to everybody joining us from the cricket. Smack bang on quarter time here at Docklands. It's the Blues by 13 points at the first change. The Dogs had the hot start, kicking the first 2. Carlton went 4 unanswered after that. And then in response, the Dogs had the last of the quarter. So 5-3-33 plays 3-2-20 at our first change. Carlton win and they're in. Spot in September on the line for them. Meanwhile, the Western Bulldogs hoping that maybe they could leapfrog Collingwood for a home wild card. They've got to win their last 2 games to do so, and they're fighting without Marcus Bontempelli and Tim English this afternoon. Aaron Bryans and Andrew Mays with you alongside Bob Murphy and Chad Wingard. Poppy Penny's downstairs as well. And at the first change, your goal scorers from both sides. For everybody who's just joined us for the Blues, all individuals. So Mackay, McGovern, Hayward, Pitnet and Lord. Similar situation for the Dogs. Davidson, Fraser and Artie Jones. The text line 0437 774 774 if you'd like to get in touch. And over at the showgrounds, 3/4 time there, the Giants lead the Eagles by 47 points. You can hear it on the AFL Extra button. We'll be back shortly with the analysis and we'll recap everything that's happened in this opening term. Great to have you with us on ABC Local Radio, Sport Digital and ABC Listen for Sunday Footy on ABC Sport.
Find out which songs mean so much to Lainey Wilson, David Byrne and Jacinda Ardern in brand new Take 5. With me, Zan Rowe.
Best thing you'll ever hear.
Starts Thursday, August 20 on ABC TV and ABC iView. This is the 2026 AFL Premiership season with ABC Sport.
Good tackle by Waitman. Bit of pressure now from Sanders. Cowan has to just get it out of there. A tumbling kick. Norton had it scouted. Picks it up 25 out. Hands it off. And the snap shot there from Joel Fraser puts the Dogs up early.
Richards off the instep. Wasn't the best kick, but it'll work out. Davidson takes the mark, drifting across the pack, and he'll line up from about 35 out. Now 15 metres in from the boundary left forward pocket. Sam Davidson to continue the hot start for the Dogs. Opening goal tick, second goal tick. Lovely strike of the footy. He goes by hand to Dirksen, who's up a long way from defence. Kicks inside 50. Lovely delivery from the fullback. And Mackay takes the mark, 40 out. Now 10 metres inside the boundary line, left forward pocket. Missed his first shot, Mackay, not his second. Maybe that's Harry's pocket over there.
Putting his head over at Williams in traffic and gave it away. Handed it to Cottrell, off to Ainsworth. Dirksen loops it over the top and across the body. Cooper Lord can strike. Excellent stoppage work from the Blues.
The AFL on ABC Sport.
On radio.
ABC Sport Digital Radio.
And ABC Listen.
Frenetic footy between these two wildcard hopefuls. Great to have you with us for Sunday Footy on ABC Sport. Aaron Bryans and Andrew Mays calling the action alongside the dual Australians, Bob Murphy and Chad Wingard. Poppy Penny's downstairs as well. And Poppy, there was a issue for the Blues heading into that first change.
Yeah, with about four minutes to go in that quarter, Frankie Evans came off and was having some work done on his left calf. He's had it strapped and taken a couple of painkillers, so he's one to watch given how good he's been the last couple of weeks and how important he is to the way that the Blues play. So one to watch, Frankie Evans with a sore left calf.
Would be a blow. Their small forwards have been absolutely in sync to start the game. The Bulldogs with the first 2, Carlton with 5 unanswered, and the last one to Luke Beveridge's men. Makes it a 13-point game Carlton's way at the first change. What did we learn, Bob Murphy and Chad Wingard, here at the Docklands?
Well, In terms of efficiency when they go forward, the Dogs look pretty dangerous. They've kicked 3 goals, 2. They've had just the 9 inside 50. So if they can get enough supply, they can actually put a score on against Carlton. But in terms of just winning enough of the ball, they are miles off it. So the numbers are really, really alarming at the moment. In terms of just raw disposals, Carlton had the footy 130 times to 64. And the clearance battle, as we mentioned a couple of times, it was an absolute monstering by the Carlton midfielders. 13 clearances to 4, and two of those players are Pitnet and Paddy Cripps, who have made the most of the selection or the non-selection of Marcus Bontempelli and Ting English. They got 5 each, so they're being monstered around the ball at the moment, the Bulldogs midfielders. So that's relaying into possession for the Carlton Footy Club, and they've got enough dangerous forwards and form going in. They're causing a few problems. So Dogs still in it at the moment, but there's some really troubling trends if you look at the numbers at the moment, Chad.
Yeah, the number that's concerning me most, and the game's played on Carlton's terms at the moment. You think about uncontested marks and marks in general. You're talking about disposals that you just mentioned. They're not getting their hands on the ball. It starts with their defence. They're not winning the clearances for one. So if you're not winning the clearances, you got to defend first. So marks against, so it's 19 marks for Western Bulldogs to 37. So that's pretty alarming. So it means your defence is either one step off. And mind you, Carlton have missed a lot of kicks. Like, they could have got that way higher. So if you're Carlton, if you're Western Bulldogs coming into this quarter, you need to shut down the easy marks, because that's how Carlton want to play. They want to get the marks, go around you, and then just pull you apart. So Western Bulldogs, they're just not quite on edge enough. They're not quite, they're about 2, 3, 4 metres off. And that's a bit alarming, because that's the decision making. That's not structural setup. That's intent. I want to shut my opponent down. It's positioning. If you don't have the ball, it's going to be pretty hard to score. So we talk about turnovers, because I think that's the way that Western Bulldogs can win this game. You're shutting down the uncontested marks, force it a live play, and you've got to make them pay off those turnovers, off those missed kicks, because that's where they look most potent. So yes, it's a clearance battle, but one is their defence as well, because they're a little bit off, about 4 or 5 metres off defending their direct opponent.
Just the big boys in the spine for Carlton at the moment. I feel like that would be going into this game, you think that, Carlton would have the edge, but so far, Wiedering, Harry Dean's had a sensational start. Pitnet and Cripps in the middle. Harry Mackay and McGovern both look really sharp and really dangerous. That's add that into the mix of alarm bells of this. If this trend of clearances and just dominance of disposal with the tools looking dangerous, it could be a tough afternoon for the Bulldogs.
Blues by 13 points at the moment, but Bob Murphy expecting that to grow. Net taps it down. Jagger Smith straight to Patrick Cripps. Here's another clearance as he shakes off Liberatore. Heads up to the attacking edge. Didn't quite hit it flush. Coming across, Riley Sanders gets the intercept. Ed Richards with a long searching bomb to Norton. Fist came in from Wiedering. Hits the deck. Collapsing into it, Chera. Engulfing him in the pancake is Waitman. No whistle. And we'll get a ball up 30 from home. Text line, Tom in Wheelers Hill says, Bob Murphy working 6 days a week. What's going on? Tap down. He's always here with us. Liberatore quickly wrapped up chicken wing by George Hewitt. Will go again. Apparently his garden's looking good. The veggies are growing, Bob.
Find a job you love and you'll never work a day in your life again.
Tap down. Liberatore cops a hip and shoulder from Hewitt. Clearing kick from Chera. A tumbling one to left half back. Williams cuts it off for the Dogs. Hands it to Richards. And now a short chip dinky kick. Bramble gets it out towards Davidson. Now Williams, the central kick, not hard enough. And Harry Dean gets another intercept mark. He's right at home in that D6. Uses Wilson and now wide to Wiedering right back pocket. It is the Blues by 13.
Sorry there. That won't help Aaron Norton's frustrations at all. That entry there from Bailey Williams. Just nowhere near the type of dangerous entry you need it to be.
Wiedering low kick to Kemp. He's turned it over by foot, though. Now to Waitman. He was intercepted by Kemp. Did well to fix his mess. To Ainsworth, who was under pressure. Got it back to Kemp, and he's taken in a tackle. Good defensive forward play from the Dogs on that occasion.
And that's where the opportunity is. If they can stop that and actually score off it, that's the opportunity against Carlton.
Sanders with little hand pass through, got to Lord. Lord's hand pass is knocked down. Great pressure again here from the Dogs. Liberatore, his hand pass is intercepted. He went again towards the boundary line. Jones tried to keep it in, but Dean got him across the line along with the footy, so we'll have a ball in left forward pocket here for the Western Bulldogs. Opening stages of this second term. It's the Blues by 13.
Plenty of territory early. Just no score to show for it. Tossed in, high arcing. Out at the Coleman end. Fist comes in from Pitnet. Rolls towards Cripps, ricochets out. Wilson uses Chera across the body. Trying to get it towards Cottrell. Hit the deck. Coming through Carmichael. And Sanders backtracks out to Karmas. Up and under. Spiral kick central. The Blues are waiting. Take your pick in the hole. They were queuing up. Will Hayward with the intercept in defensive 50, and here comes the switch out towards the broadcast wing, dancing and dodging, uncertain about his movements. Taylor Byrne finally pulls the trigger, gets it to Ainsworth and arching the back. Will Hayward full stride, just missed the boot, had so much momentum, the rush of blood missed, tumbled his kick. The Dogs were there. Lob to Williams, and now Liberatore heads out towards the city side.
Richard's got a paddock in front of him, takes a bounce. He'll think about a second. Instead, he goes with a short, low kick. It was well done by Waitman, who fired off the hand pass. It came back to him. It was too hot from Wootton and out of bounds in the left forward pocket for the Dogs.
Other stat I forgot to mention at quarter time, crew. Handball receives. That's where Fremantle are destroying teams. They had plus 45 on Friday night. Blues at the moment currently plus 29. They're moving it so fast off the half-back line by just giving the dish.
Ball spinning back into play. Pitnet and Lob. Lob assumed front position, got the hand pass. It's intercepted by Cripps, who turned tackler on West. And ball up it will be. Still in this left forward pocket for the Western Bulldogs, about 40 out from goal. Pitnet won it down only as far as Kennedy. His kick is smothered. Hewitt, hand pass defensively to Wiedering. Wiedering's short kick around the boundary line is okay to Cottrell, or is it out of bounds on the full? It's out on the full. So another chance here for the Dogs. They've had a good sustained period here.
Carmichael gets to bring it in. Left half forward, setting up like he's going to take the set shot on debut. This would be quite interesting. Gives it as much as he can. Top of the goal square will drop. Dean gets a hand to it. Flying by Waitman. Right place, right time. Just scouted with the tackle, and Ollie Florent gets him holding the ball. It was nearly a gorgeous finish. She's had so much momentum coming through, but Florent wraps him up like a boa constrictor. Takes the free kick across the defensive goal face. Chera to Hayward, little long. Byrne gets a fingertip to it up against Selwood and knocked over right in front of the benches. Blues by 13 at the moment. We haven't had a score in the opening 5 minutes of this second term. Crowd running amongst it though. Blues win. They're in September. Doggies still hoping to jump into 7th in the final couple of games. Tossed in, lob down, looking for Liberatore. Picked off. Jagger Smith spun down. Ball shot out. It's a throw. Free kick to the Western Bulldogs on the logo.
Liberatore with the free, and he goes immediately, runs inboard, then kicks a low ball towards Norton. It's just over his head. Lord out the back, had a fumble, as did Dean. Sanders onto it, kick, snaps, goals. No, he doesn't. Coming back to Harry Dean, who will receive the free kick. Must have been as he went to take possession on that occasion. Oh, yeah, just caught him a little high, unfortunately, Croft on that occasion. So Dean with the free kick. Rifles one in very low and hard. It actually bounced in front of Chera, who's forced to play on. Hand pass to Florent and around the boundary line to his ex-Sydney teammate and Hayward, who both made the switch together. Up towards Cripps, who takes the mark on the wing. Over to Smith. He dabs one in over the top to McGovern. McGovern can turn and go. He does. Inside attacking 50. Mackay looking for separation. He got it. No, he's called to play on. And the umpire says, I'll have it, because he didn't hear me. So probably should have been holding the ball in the end, but we'll have a ball up. Left forward pocket here for the Blues.
He's got his arm under that.
Pretty convincing.
That was an excellent catch, falling backwards with the right arm.
Yeah.
Cripps taps it down. Burn central kick for the Blues. Cottrell trying to track an awkward bounce. It's got a fair bit of spin and rolls through for the minor score on the right-hand side. So finally we have someone on the board in the second quarter. It is the Blues. They're up by 14 points now. Quick entry from the Dogs out at the Coventry end. A little link up with Bramble, giving it to O'Donnell, and now up to the City side.
That's a poor kick though. Cowan had his name written all over that and takes the easy chest mark. Right half forward here for Carlton. Goes inboard with a 15-metre pass. He finds Ainsworth. Most players in front of him on the field at the moment, so it's a crowded forward line He goes low and hard into the pocket. Mackay on a lead. Couldn't take the mark. Walsh is roving. Hand pass to Lord, who had another fumble and then is off the boot. Very unluckily it is for Sanders. So Walsh will receive the free kick. The lasso free kick. And right half forward for Carlton. 70 around from goal. Goes short inboard to Cottrell. Cottrell turns and goes straight away. Puts this to the top of the square. Looking for the runners. Lovely mark by Karmas, who leapt high over the top. It's a dodgy kick across the face of goal. He was looking for lob. Reading it nicely was Hayward, who takes the mark, outstretched in front of the Western Bulldogs ruckman, and he'll line up in the left forward pocket for the first of this second term. Will Hayward already got one, looking for his second, makes no mistake around the corner. And Carlton have the opening goal of the second term. Margin out to 20 points in favour of the Blues. 3-2-20. Plays 6-4-40. Played 8 minutes in this second quarter.
They look sharp. They look really, really sharp, Carlton. And a lot of this is just more the eyeball than anything objective. Just watching their midfielders bouncing and changing direction and how dynamic they are at stoppages. And in that case, just Hayward, the ability to change direction, defend, take care of one opponent, defending one, keep his eye on Buku Karmas, who has the ball, and then just like a dart, changes direction and preys on the lob kick sideways. And that's a great sign of defensive intensity.
And promising outlook for their September hopes. The Blues, should they win this afternoon and lock themselves in, just a run of momentum the way that they're going. The game plan starting to look really in sync. Free kick in the middle, though. Bulldogs are going to be able to take it through Ed Richards. George Hewitt, the offender, but he needs to go back on his line. So they were ready to surge away. Now everything slows right down. The Blues have zoned off centrally inside the attacking 50 because it actually wasn't the free kick to Ed Richards. Rory Lobb's got to take it. So finally he gets the footy and shanks a low spiral. That is a torp at about 5 metre height. Heads towards the 50. The Blues can cut it off. Walsh knocked it out wide. Cottrell gets it across, dancing and dodging Cooper Lord with the fleet feet. Gets it off to Billy Wilson, trying to arch the back on Sanders. He gets away from him. And a well-weighted kick places it up to Walsh. Turns behind centre wing.
Fleet feet is it.
Short pass. Kemp tried to just drop it into Mackay. A little shallow kick smothered as he turned around and hook it towards the 50. O'Donnell coming through for the Dogs on the turnover. Loopy handball up towards Artie Jones. And now he's got Sanders riding shotgun. Sweeping handball forward. Left half forward. Davidson has the footy. Heads to the top of the goal square and hits Cody Waitman. Marching out from the behind line. Cody's been quiet after missing so much footy. But really needs this one to get going. Ahead of September action for the Bulldogs.
Gee, this would be against the run of play. Fantastic smother from O'Donnell up the other end of the ground. That was the moment that the Bulldogs caught the Blues offside, because up until that moment the Blues were all over them.
Just the 3 goals in his 7 games. Missed so much due to the knee injuries, but Cody Waitman's ready to come back. That's not his best line. Always left in a minor score, and the Blues leads down to 19 with 10 played in the second term on ABC Sport. Aaron Bryans and Andrew Mays with you alongside Bob Murphy and Chad Wingard here at Docklands, and over at the Showgrounds. Midway through the fourth quarter, the Giants lead the Eagles by 42 points.
Yeah, Bulldogs maybe need to take some set shots practice during the week. They've now missed 2 set shots with Norton from 10 metres out, and then just Cody Waitman. It's not good enough if you're a forward.
Wilson receives the hand pass, goes towards the wing. Akers going back with the flight, actually touched the footy. He had Cripps sitting behind him, who wasn't able to take the mark. Cripps in there now again. Cottrell across the centre square here. It's going to work to Lord. Lord's got Kemp, who drops the chest mark. Karmas lost his footing. Heard a voice. It was Sanders over the back. Hand pass to him. Sanders, good kick up towards Dolan. He can go to Richards by hand. This is the man you want with the footy. And he goes to Waitman, who should take the mark, and he does. 15 metres out, directly in front.
And they should finish off here. I mean, Cody Waitman from about 15 metres out. But I want to touch on Western Bulldogs' defence again. Carlton look a bit etchy when they get forward of the ball. They have a turnover, and finally Western Bulldogs are actually getting outside of that contest, getting forward and getting opportunities. This is where I see Western Bulldogs at their best when they can get outside, create turnovers through the corridor, and then finish off.
But it's just basic errors. So that was a drop chest mark that from Carlton that let him in.
This time to make them pay, he made the goal umpire do a lot of work to his left-hand side, sneaks it in, Waitman from 15 out directly in front, and the Bulldogs are on the board in this second term. 6-4-40 plays 4-3-27. Margin back to 13 points in favour of the Blues.
I'm sure Luke Beveridge and the Western Bulldogs would take it. I'm just not sure if the last two scoring shots, and they both end up with Cody Waitman, they both should have been goals. He's kicked 1-1. But if it wasn't for the smother of O'Donnell, then you wouldn't have got that first opportunity. And if it wasn't a drop chest mark from Kemp then...
I agree with what you're saying, but listen, hear me out. They had a kick inside the corridor which missed again. They actually got the tackle and got the pressure back. They're going through the corridor and missing a lot of those kicks. But Western Bulldogs are just not capitalising off of it. So you look at that first kick, though. Yes, that was a drop mark. The first one here was a missed kick, and the contested possession was there for Western Bulldogs, but they couldn't capitalise off of it. If you look at this game, they're going through the corridor. You know they're doing it. Western Bulldogs are just about 4 metres off, and they're just not capitalising on it.
Yeah. Love the debate between Chad and Bob on ABC Sport. 6-6-6 warning for the Blues. And about to get back underway. Their lead is 13 points at the moment. Tossed up. Tap down from Croft. Tries to do the follow-up work. Swatting it in the direction of Richards. And he catches a stray arm high from Mackay. Takes the advantage and wants to go. Shoots the handball to Jordan Croft. Look left, then right. Not totally sure, so he sends it straight. And it's down the throat of Jacob Wiedering, who gets low to ground to cut it off for the Blues. He pops up and they wants to go. Frankie Evans has the footy left back pocket, so shrugging off those concerns at quarter time. Just pinpoint down the line, methodical. Cooper Lord on return. He's been waiting an eternity in the VFL. Plenty of good performances, just can't seem to stay in this 23. Would love to for September. Heads up the broadcast wing. Mackay 3 to beat in the pack, brought it down. McGovern's alongside him. Selwood does enough to win an Oscar and knock it over the boundary line, albeit someone might have stood on his boot in the process. A little hobbled as he races away, but it will be a boundary throw in right in front of us on the dockside wing. Carlton by 13.
Mackay and Fraser to do some ruck work for the Dogs. He did well enough too, got in front of Mackay. Kick from the stoppage towards Lord. Lord goes back by hand to Florent, and Florent almost caught. It's a difficult one for Haynes, who took it beautifully on the half volley. He missed the hand pass though as well. Missed Cow, and Haynes fighting back in there. Richards was clean. Off to Bramble. Bramble the kick inside 50. Wiedering again. Just got in front of Emmett at the last moment. Took the intercepting mark. So the Blues not being made to pay for their turnovers at the moment. Few opportunities for the Dogs though.
Slotted right back in. Jacob Wiedering uses Lockie Cowan, who decides to take on Dolan, has the bounce and then heads through the city side wing. Karmas can get in front of Kemp and knock it smack bang over true centre wing side. Crowd's builded very nicely here. It was quite patchy about 20 minutes out, but locals tell me that they slowly make their way in across the Docklands with plenty of food and drink options around. But good afternoon at the footy, albeit the roof closed on a pretty nice day in Melbourne, Maisie.
Beautiful.
Always a risk of rain, I guess, here, but...
I was going to say, we haven't seen it for a while.
Sun was out. Tossed in, Cripps takes it out of the ruck, but handed it straight to the Bulldogs. And Riley West quickly tackled. Will get a ball up on the logo. Could have been a breakaway there for the Dogs. They're currently down 13.
Ed Richards playing a bit of a lone hand in the centre of the ground for the Dogs at the moment. 3 clearances and 7 touches for this quarter.
Blues worker by hand to Mackay in the middle. He was swamped by a number of Dogs. They've turned it over here. Williams coming off half-back. Receives the hand pass. Takes a bounce through the centre square. Out towards the wing. Then a long driving ball inside attacking 50. Good fist from Haynes. Going back with the flight. Waitman keeps it in though. Just outside attacking 50 here for the Dogs. To Davidson. To Hines. Off one step. High ball inside 50. Walsh tracking back. Didn't take the mark. Dogs with numbers at ground level. Sanders looking for a way out. He turned it over by hand to Florent, who just got it on the boot. Out to Cottrell, and Cottrell quick kick is okay.
That was an incredible kick.
He finds McGovern, who wants to go quickly. He has Haywood off to Cripps, who doesn't have a lot in front of him, so he's got to go to Byrne, who competed hard, didn't take the mark. Cripps came bounding through. Hand pass just missed Evans. Evans becomes the tackler at half forward and holds things up for the Blues at centre half forward.
The way Patrick Cripps plays, you can see why everybody follows him. Inspirational. He throws himself in like that to win the hard ball. Nothing ahead. does the ruck work now as well. The Dogs win out. Tap down. Davidson gives it off to Jakes. Flying by, just tried to go for ground towards the 50, but really no one was there. But they're going to get a free kick. Lockout freak goes the way of Jordan Croft. Harry Dean, who's been so good through the opening half. His first error of the afternoon.
Yeah, it was there. It wasn't too subtle from Harry. Probably didn't need to lay body on Croft, but he just overcooked it a little bit.
Sold well as well.
45 out, Harry Dean. So Jordan Croft has to go long range here. And it's looking pretty precise. Jordan Croft leans back and it's a crofty finish. Big Jordan strikes from downtown. The Dogs back-to-back single-digit margin here at Docklands. The Blues 6-4-40. They lead the Bulldogs by 7. They're 5-3-33. 17 played. Second term. Bob Murphy, Chad Wingard with you on ABC Sport.
It's a good finish by Croft. He's got a lot of potential. So tall, so athletic. Just wondered, Chad, keen to get your thoughts, that in this second quarter, it just feels like Carlton, and we've loved watching them, you know, they play bold and they take some risks, but I feel like in this second quarter there's just been some haphazard risks. You know, they're handballing blindly into the middle of the ground, and they just look like they've maybe just tipped the seesaw into a bit of reckless ball movement when they really haven't needed to.
Yeah, I agree. And Paddy Cripps, there was actually no ruckman in that contest, which helped them gain about 30 metres. So, yeah, a little bit 1% or 2% off this quarter.
Kennedy with a good win in the middle too. High ball forward. And taking the mark is Haynes, going back with the flight. Haynes off to Smith. It's a good kick to left half back. And Smith goes immediately towards Haywood. Good spoil from behind from O'Donnell. Let's go downstairs. The ball-in's about to take place in front of Poppy Petty.
Yeah, Paddy Cripps came off and he certainly wasn't coming off at any pace. I reckon I could have lapped him at the speed. He is giving absolutely everything out there. He's having a little break now, and I imagine he's just been on the phone with Josh Fraser, so he'll be back out there shortly, but he looks pretty cooked early.
Mackay in the ruck. Just handed it to Hewitt. Interestingly, at that ruck contest, we had Rory Lobb playing Rover and Matt Kennedy in the ruck against Harry Mackay, which is very Luke Beveridge.
Magnets are being shuffled. Mackay wins the ruck work here. Got it to Hewitt. Now Lord's kick smothered by Liberatore. The Dogs with the counter punch. Kick up to the attacking edge. Right half forward. Brought to ground by Croft. Hardy Jones has 3 bites at ground level. Finally knocking it to his advantage. Decided to take on Hewitt and bounced right off him. His handball no good though. Spent his tickets early. Evans gets the turnover. Here come the Blues. Chera to Ainsworth. Cottrell to Walsh. Crushed in the tackle but got it back. Cottrell completes the switch out wide. Akers has it on the City side wing. Short pass to the logo. Florent just behind it. Career best season after moving from the Swans. Really in his element now. 45 instep. Kick is good. Chera hands it off to Jagger Smith, who was begging for it. The rising star up towards the 50. Mackay came late from behind and barreled over his teammates in the process. Matty Kennedy, good gather for the Dogs. Uses Bailey Williams and now Karmas. It's a gorgeous sidestep as he seamlessly flows through, kicks up towards Croft, forced to put a hand to ground. Coming across, Cottrell tackled, handball shoots out, and it will be a lasso free kick. Bulldogs way, forward of centre wing, down 7, or behind by as much as 20 early in this quarter.
Tell you what, Crofts and some of the small forwards of Western Bulldogs are actually doing really well early. I mean, they've stopped a lot of intercept marks there where they were outnumbered.
Yeah,
that's a huge win.
Yeah, Crofts had a good second quarter.
Croft kicked into the man on the mark, got through to Liberatore though. Off to Hines, kick inside 50. Who would have thought? Joel Fraser, I thought it was Libber for a moment. Joel Fraser, who goes immediately, plays on and kicks a goal. And the Bulldogs are back within a point. 6-3-39, Carlton 6-4-40, 21 played second term, and the Dogs have fought back well.
Few red flags early for Carlton in this quarter. There was no one on the goal line then when it was a set shot. A handball that went to the boundary, and no one, you could blatantly see that Carlton handballed out of the contest, and there was another player that actually just didn't touch it over the bounce. Like, again, that's a lasso free kick. We know the rules. Didn't have a ruck contest in the previous one when Paddy Cripps...
Yeah, little attention to detail.
Things, and these little things are adding up. I mean, you don't have a ruck contest and you allow Western Bulldogs to smack it 30 metres. That's as good as the clearance. So there's a few things that are just lapsing in concentration right now, Carlton Football Club.
Feels like September's come early. We had the thrilling draw last night, Fremantle and Adelaide on Friday, Melbourne and Fremantle last week, but this is probably more of a wild card affair. You've got two sides who are showing some greatness and maybe some of their poor attributes as well. Close game at least. Tapped down, surging out of the stoppage. Ed Richards blasts it towards the 50. Flying Cowan couldn't trap it. Out the back door, Luke Kennedy! Second goal of his career as he pounces low to ground from 20 out. And the Dogs, with 4 in a row, have snatched back the lead after being down 20. 7-3-45, plays 6-4-40. The Western Bulldogs up, time on, heading into half-time. Bob Murphy, Chad Wingard with you for Sunday Footy on ABC Sport.
10 minutes into this second quarter, and the Carlton Footy Club, they look dynamic, they look sharp, they were bouncing around, and the Bulldogs, particularly through the middle of the ground, they looked lethargic, and there were some really worrying signs. And then it was almost like with that opportunity, Carlton's appetite for risk has just become too much. And then, Chad, you touched on just that lacking attention to detail and just giving the Bulldogs a bit of a look in, and that has given them energy. And now they're just surging forward and getting benefit from it.
Pitnet down towards Hewitt. Richards, was he taken without it? Umpire wave play on. Lord off the wing. It's held to him. Pitnet off to Smith. Bounces in front of him. Smith kicks inside 50. It's in front of Haywood, who just keeps it in. 55 from goal, directing traffic. Goes inboard, turns it over. Nice tracking back by Richards, who takes the mark on his chest. Richards,
he's been huge in this second quarter. Ed Richards up to 14 disposals now.
Carmichael has it. Get to Poppy on the boundary shortly. One way, then the other. Carmichael straight up the middle. It's a good kick to Sanders too. Sanders thought about going quickly. He goes the direct option too. Finding another 30 metres. Davidson kept on running. Received the handball off to Liberatore. That's a poor kick to Lord. Ran out of space and just had to slam it on the boot, and Lord takes it at left half back. Let's head downstairs, Poppy.
Yeah, Harry Mackay came off and basically told the bench, let's everybody calm down. They're not panicking, but there's a lot of experience on the Carlton bench at the moment. With Cripps down here, Mackay, McGovern and Florent all on the bench. They could use some of those cool heads out there at the minute.
It's a nice balance, a luxury they have with the young kids coming through and the senior veterans who understand the maturity that's required right now. Carlton had all the dominance, just lacking some composure now and getting a little bit too courageous with their ball movement. Tossed in, Pitternet looking for Hewitt. Clean bowled him in the end, pouncing onto it, Liberatore. He's looking good for a bloke at the moment who's running around at the age of 34. Shoots the handball back to Richards. Get off balance as he sends it on the left up towards the 50. He went through everybody's hands, 3 flyers, and Wiedering out the back again. Stayed down knowing it was coming in his direction. Looks for the switch for Carlton. Hits it up to right half back. Haynes stopped and propped and then placed it out wide towards Blake Acres. So it is the Dogs by 5 after the Blues led by 20. We've still got 4 to go in this second quarter here at Docklands, and over at the Sydney Showgrounds we're about to blow the full-time siren. The Giants winners there by 53 points, but if Carlton wins today it won't matter.
Cottrell to Walsh to Cowan, who's caught in a magnificent tackle by Artie Jones. Could see him coming from a mile away. Almost took him on. Wonderful chase. And Harry Dean with a big spoil coming the other way. And he lets Artie Jones know all about it as well, who might have let Cowan know about it as well.
I think he did. I think he stood over him and let him know all about it, Artie Jones, which he's quite entitled to do. Bit of feeling in this one.
Poppy Penny downstairs.
Libba and Sam Walsh going at it as well after that. There's been some words exchanged.
Dogs by 5. Lob wins it down. Bulldozer Matthew Kennedy just charged through Cooper Lord. Ball hits the deck. It's funneled out. Don't know how. Just shot out like a bar of soap. Richards gets it to Sanders. Hit and hope up towards the 50 for the Dogs. Off hands. Guiding it towards the pocket. Davidson put his body on the line and leant into the contact as he rode Nick Haynes coming in, and we'll get a ball up close to the boundary line. So big win for the Giants this afternoon. Would keep their hopes alive if the Blues can lose this game. Tap down, Matty Kennedy. Central kick, a little bit long in the end. And hopping onto it on the half volley was Cottrell, tackled by Artie Jones. Gives it away. Josh Dolan tries to make the most of the opportunity. Door was ajar, but he misses left. And there's the Dogs by 6. So the Giants came into the round at 98%. They've gained 4 this afternoon. Still a fair bit back from St Kilda, and would need the Blues to lose their last 2 games if they're any chance.
1 goal the margin in favour of the Dogs. Wilson with the kick in for the Blues. Goes to the edge of the centre square. Dirksen will fire from behind. Off hands. Evans, his hand pass wasn't ideal as far as Jakes. Back into traffic, though. Now to Walsh. Walsh with an outlet kick. It's going to work okay for Akers as well on the bounce. Got the hand pass inboard to Hewitt, who was almost caught. Might have been legged by call play on to Ainsworth. Out wider to Byrne. Byrne gets to 55. No one came to him. So he took a bit of meterage, went long, and not long enough. Nice mark, tracking back. Selwood comes out to Lobb. That's a good kick too, and Lobb wants to go quickly. Off to Jakes, who goes inboard. It's an awkward one. Sat up. Byrne, good spoil over the top. And then took on the tackler, Ed Richards. He has been excellent, defensively and offensively this quarter. And he wins the footy back for the Dogs across half-back.
Gives up a bit of ground as he retreats to defensive 50. And O'Donnell calling for some options. Lays it down the line. Matthew Kennedy was on the lead. And it was well scouted by Taylor Byrne. Threw his body in. Ball shoots out. Patrick Cripps tumbles it from 45 and it skids left. Minor score. Margins back down to 5. Carlton 6-5-41. The Dogs 7-4-46. 2 to go. Second term on ABC Sport.
Talked about the clearance dominance in the first quarter Carlton's way. Well, the Bulldogs have been able to arrest it back their way in this quarter, up 11-7 in clearances, and that's translated to inside 50s where they've dominated 20-7 in this second quarter.
Liberatore has it. Dinky kick. Dean dropped the mark. Now a chance for Croft. He's pushed off the footy. Chera out the back to Haynes on the wing here. Now to Dean. Dean off to Smith, looking for the hand pass, faked once, and then kicks high ball. Inside attacking 50. Cripps will have to be the fly, surely in the back. It is, and Matt Kennedy will receive the free kick.
Subtle as a sledgehammer, that one, Paddy.
Heading out to right half back. Kick to Bramble. Centering direction where it came from. A little short this time, though. Lockie Jakes thought about playing on Patrick Cripps. Just fences him in up towards the logo. Fist comes from Shearer. Ainsworth at ground level, skidding across. Richards beat him to it, knocked it to Lobb. Wolves close in, meeting the sandwich. Ball up to come on the Dock side. Dogs by 5 after being down 20. So much hope for the Blue Baggers this afternoon to lock in a return to finals. Now the knees might be wobbling. Tap down Hewitt, marched onto the footy and met some contact. Front on, hit the deck hard. Now Sanders wrapped up. Will Hayward all over him. Thought about chucking the saddle on and just riding him all the way up the Dockside wing. All up to come. Poppy Penny downstairs.
Yeah, George Hewitt looks really sore after that contest. He's on Libba at the moment, but he was holding those ribs.
Tap down and Cripps rips it away from Luke Kennedy. The Blues win out. Jagger Smith back to Chera. Kick down the line. Bit of body work on the drop there coming from Dolan.
It was Artie Jones who dished out the shirt front bump to George Hewitt there and got him sort of in that midriff.
Nothing too egregious there.
No, it was beautifully fair. Got to say, Artie Jones is throwing his weight around.
There's a bit of a missile because he got deep.
Yeah, he's got power and timing.
Lockie Jakes gives it across to Selwood. A couple of flyers down the line through the logo. Still stuck on the broadcast wing. Nick Haynes gives up some ground to Billy Wilson, and the Blues can slow things down through D50. Centering kick to Blake Acres, back where it came from, but it's a sky kick. It's going to linger for an eternity. Wiedering just had to wait and hope, and it never came down. Fist comes through. Artie Jones bounces off Harry Dean, tries to step through the tackle, just can't break away.
That's so stiff.
Put the lock and key all over him, and Harry Dean fired up as a result. We've got a melee here at the Docklands. They all come in on the halftime siren. There's feeling between these finals contenders. September has come early in Melbourne. Poppy Penny downstairs.
Tell you what, the crowd, if there wasn't so much security, I reckon the Carlton fans would be in there supporting their players because everyone is leaning over the fence, egging them on in this melee. I reckon this will be going into the AFL's pocket. There might be some fines dished out.
So would the Bulldogs supporters, Poppy. Come on,
I'm sitting, Bob, I'm in Carlton Heartland somehow.
I'm just defending.
But I can see down in the Bulldogs cheer squad. Don't worry, they're with you. You're about to jump out of the box. I can see you.
Well, just,
close to getting back out there.
Riley West and Josh Dolan, the only two who didn't enter that scuffle, so there's going to be a lot of fines coming
their pennies.
the way of these two clubs. Dogs are up at the major break, down 20, now it's 5, and this just won't relent. The two sides are separated, but O'Donnell's still getting stuck into Pitnet, and now coming across Fraser, who wants to give Chera a crack, and there's just little spot fires all over the place here on the dockside wing. The Bulldogs 7-4-46, Carlton 6-5-41, and finally we'll head to our respective races, catch our breath, and have a think about what was a seesawing half of football. All Carlton's way in the first, up by 13 at the half, and the Bulldogs, the massive surge late in the second, 4 unanswered goals. Now they're up by 5. Ed Richards had 12 touches in the term, gave him a little too many there, but still prolific performance. Bob Murphy and Chad Wingard were watching it all, and the Dogs showed they'll belong in that September conversation. It felt like Carlton were the ones who were surging towards finals footy, and now we've got a game.
Well, I think a lot of Bulldog supporters were arriving at the footy today thinking, would they have enough fire in the belly? And in the early parts of that second quarter, I think those questions were valid. They looked a little bit off it. They drifted out to 20 points behind, and Carlton had all the running, and then just through a few mistakes of their own, Carlton, and maybe just attention to detail and taking risks with the ball where there really wasn't a need to. And for whatever reason, that energised the Bulldogs. They started to get a little bit of score on the board. Cody Waitman got involved, and then they just sort of lit up. Jordan Croft got involved, and players who'd been relatively dormant all of a sudden looked like different athletes, and they were charging around the game. And you saw in the final moments there, after they'd got their nose in front, that was a proper melee. There was real feeling in it. So any question marks around the Bulldogs just sort of showing up and going through the motions, well, that's been put to bed in this second quarter. They are in this game, and they're up to their eyeballs in it. And Carlton they're being questioned at the moment because their drop off compared to their first quarter was stark, Jed.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And Arthur Jones, for a player that's had, I think, he had 8 touches throughout the game. Like, he's been super impressive. I'm talking about aerially intent. You're talking about who cares and who wants to play. He hasn't kicked a goal in the last 2 weeks. Kicks one. He's one of the players is playing for his position. He's playing. You got Cody Waitman coming back in as well. So there's a lot to play for. And Western Bulldogs that quarter showed that they want to play, not just make up the numbers in the I suppose the wild card numbers. So Ed Richards, where do we start with him?
He was sensational.
Oh my goodness! I saw at one stage, and we talk about 1% from Carlton. He was by himself at a stoppage. When would ever you leave the best player on the ground or the best player in an opposition team alone at stoppage? Regardless of what position they're playing, if it's a wing, the bloke that's getting the ball or getting tagged, you just don't allow someone of his calibre when you know that Bontempelli is not there. And he put some work into him.
In isolation, his second quarter, Ed Richards, is huge. But when you put it against the second quarter where their midfield was absolutely blown off the field, to be able to find it within himself. I mean, that's why he's lauded as one of the best midfielders and one of the best up-and-coming leaders in the game, is because he's able to arrest the momentum completely away from the Carlton Footy Club and get it going the Bulldogs' way. It was a huge quarter in what's been a big second half of his season.
And again, Luke Beveridge finding a way when they were, I guess, tactically outmatched in the way Carlton was moving the footy in the first. They've shut it down, figured out a way to expose it and make the most of the opportunities, and have now found it the other way. And we get essentially a stalemate at half-time in a one-kick game, and we'll see if Josh Fraser gets a chance to respond in the third as well. A couple of texts flying through on 0437 774 774. So Phil in Victoria says, the Blues are playing too cute. Should give the doggies some love. Simon in the York Peninsula enjoying the call. Thanks to the ABC for bringing quality live coverage to football fans everywhere. That must be my brother or my uncle or something. They're just having
just a neutral observer appreciates good broadcast.
Speaking of good fans, Franz texted in saying, loving this team today. Always good to hear the Chad.
The Chad.
Not sure if you heard Brett Spriggs' iconic call of Chad Warner, but yeah, the Chad is one that does the rounds of the ABC offices for a while as well. And some questions here from Rob on Cody Waitman. There was a couple of instances in terms of his marking contest where he does use the body but also stick his boot up to do so. It's not as egregious as Toby Green got pinged for back in the day, but Rob's just wondering if they might need to start looking at the way Cody Waitman contests aerially, if it's a little bit dangerous with the studs up.
It didn't catch my eye. It didn't catch my eye. It'd be maybe one for us to keep an eye on in the second half. I am usually reticent to judge players pretty harshly on how they fly for high marks, because the high mark is just such an important part of our game that
100%.
It is such an instinctive thing. But take the text and take the point on.
I can remember the incident. I think it might have been down at the Coleman end, and He doesn't certainly do it the way Toby did on the 45 angle.
Was it a knee up first?
Yeah, I think it's more he's using the body
fine.
to protect himself.
That's a tactical around protecting himself first. If he's got every right to go with knee, and you'll see every single tall forward do the same. That's why not a lot of defenders, as you would know, want to be in the hole when you see full forward coming at full steam. But for Western Bulldogs, Arthur Jones and Cody Waitman actually been flying with the ball a lot today, and Croft as well. As yes, he's been a tool, but they're kind of nullifying a lot of the Carlton's prowess down there. So that's something that maybe as a team they've spoken about as maybe a weapon that a Carlton might have. So they're trying to nullify that.
And Chuka and Wodonga says, do you agree that Carlton are missing a Josh Bootsma type in the back line to calm things down?
Gosh.
That's a very good shout-out.
So this feels like a somewhat loaded.
Yeah, I reckon it is.
I'll play it straight back and go. I don't think Josh is probably the one to get them to calm them down. But
Bob Murphy, what do you?
Well, look, there's all I'm saying is there's
a range.
There's a lot of options out there. Josh probably wouldn't have been the first name that jumped to mind, but
I like a good bit of like deep footy lore, and some of our listeners throw out some of these really niche
who
names.
would you, if you needed a player from a bygone era to calm your back line down, let us know. 0437 774 774.
Back at it again, but I do love I miss the boots. We've got to get something like that back in the league. Chad Wingard and Bob Murphy, your experts. You can ask them anything and everything on the text line today, as Bob just mentioned. 0437 774 774. State of play as well. So the Giants winners over the Eagles by 54 points. So currently in terms of the final positionings, the Bulldogs ahead, sit in 9th. They're on top of the Blues by what would be 2 wins if they get the job done today. Carlton would be precariously placed if St Kilda and the Giants win their games next weekend against the Suns and the Crows. They have a worse percentage and would have to beat Fremantle Saturday night. So the Blues win this one today. They're locked in. Lose, they're hoping that they don't drop that game to the Dockers with St Kilda and the Giants breathing down their neck. And the Bulldogs, they're pretty much locked in with 9th. They could jump Collingwood next week if they win this one and defeat Melbourne, given that their percentage is worse than the Magpies, but they played Brisbane. So a couple of different ways that could play out, but all you need to know is Carlton fighting for September, the Bulldogs right in the mix of wildcard, and the Giants and St Kilda are still alive as we head towards Essendon and Sydney to wrap up the round on ABC Sport. And Bangladesh, winners in Darwin by 9 wickets. It took 4 days. Hassan Mahmood, 9 wickets, gets player of the match, and we'll see you next Saturday for the second test to see if Australia can respond.
Just an extra day there for the ABC Sport crew as well. We would expect Ben Cameron, Corbin Middlemass and the rest of the gang to be on a fishing charter in about 15 minutes.
I think the crew have been battling a fair bit of illness through the week, so they might take the day off just to recover, I reckon. They've been working hard, those boys, throughout the campaign, so they've got another test coming their way very shortly in a week's time. Your thoughts always welcome, as always. Second half's going to come up very shortly here at the Docklands. It's the Bulldogs and Carlton here in Melbourne, and it is Luke Beveridge's men who are up by 5 at the major break. We'll take a pause here on ABC Local Radio, Sport Digital and ABC Listen, and get the latest from the ABC Newsroom.
This is ABC News with David Rowlands. WA Premier Roger Cook says he's written to the Prime Minister to explain the importance of Western Australia retaining its current share of the GST. An interim report by the Productivity Commission on the 2018 GST deal that increased WA's share found it was a costly and inequitable mistake. In a copy of the letter posted to Mr Cook's social media, the Premier describes the report as an attack on every hard-working Western Australian. Mr Cook said if the recommendations were implemented, it would cost the state between $1 and $6 billion in lost GST revenue. In the letter, the Premier wrote that he looked forward to Anthony Albanese's continued support for the current deal to provide confidence to industry, the WA community and in the national interest. New South Wales opposition leader Kelly Sloan says the government's decision, or the state government's decision, to agree on a gun buyback scheme with the Commonwealth doesn't address the real issue. New South Wales has become the first jurisdiction to take part in the national scheme, which comes into effect in November as part of wider efforts to tighten the state's gun laws following last year's Bondi terror attack. Ms Sloan says the focus shouldn't be on gun owners like farmers, but instead on terrorism.
To suggest a gun buyback is going to solve this for us, is going to stop another Bondi, it's absolute bullshit. And I'm sorry for the language, it's entirely unlike me, but I am frustrated. And we need to make sure that we are addressing the real enemy.
Queensland's Health Minister Tim Nicholls says their state government doesn't believe the scheme will address key issues.
Our position is that we don't support that scheme. We don't believe that it is going to be effective, because the issue that we need to deal with is guns in the hands of criminals and terrorists, not guns or weapons in the hands of law-abiding citizens who continue to do the right thing.
Hurricane Lala is churning off Hawaii's coast, threatening the Big Island with its first possible direct hit from a hurricane in 155 years. Kerry Worthington has more.
The centre of the Category 1 hurricane is forecast to move over or near the Big Island's southern end today, bringing heavy rain and strong winds. The Governor, Josh Green, has called it an enormous storm, warning residents to brace for an incredible amount of water that's capable of destructive flooding. Forecasters say higher elevations on the island, dominated by the Mauna Kea volcano, could also cause life-threatening mudslides. Over the weekend, Lala will continue moving westwards and may weaken into a tropical storm, with the centre passing just below Hawaii's other islands.
Authorities appeared to have been better prepared to stop hundreds of migrants from crossing the border from Morocco into Ceuta 2 weeks after tens of thousands of migrants illegally entered the Spanish North African territory. More from the BBC's Stephanie Prentice.
We saw this organised, robust response Saturday to large groups of people moving close to the border. Security forces were ready this time. There were people in the hills nearby, including some in riot gear, and reportedly officials used tear gas to disperse groups that were seen gathered on those nearby hills. As well as that, officials had been monitoring social media, where we know that videos have been inciting crossings, making it seem easy to get there, and they say 60 people have been arrested for inciting illegal migration.
Some of the biggest names in Australian television have started to arrive ahead of the 66th TV Week Logie Awards in Sydney. Tamsin Buckle is there.
The red carpet here at TV's Night of Nights is buzzing as the first actors, presenters, comedians and journalists make their way into the Star here in Sydney for this year's Logies. So far, those we've spotted include chef and media personality Po Ling Yao, singer Licky Reed Coulter and the hosts of ABC's News Breakfast, Bridget Brennan and James Glenday. This year's awards are being hosted by wildlife conservationist and TV personality Robert Irwin, who is also nominated for the Gold Logie. He's going head-to-head for the gold with the likes of Julia Morris, Sam Pang and Lisa Miller. The carpet will continue to fill up here as the stars make their way inside for the ceremony.
Looking at sport now, and Bangladesh has completed an historic victory over Australia in the first cricket test in Darwin. It's the first time they've beaten Australia in a home test, winning comfortably by 9 wickets. Earlier today, Australia was dismissed for 284 in its second innings, setting the tourists the meagre target of 57 for victory. Bangladesh reached the target with the loss of just 1 wicket. And in rugby league, Newcastle remains in the hunt for a top 4 finish after beating the Gold Coast Titans 36-26 at home. ABC News.
This August, Science Week is blooming around the ABC.
We're celebrating Australia's favourite wildflowers.
Vote now this Science Week.
Get involved at abc.net.au/science.
This is the 2026 AFL Premiership season with ABC Sport.
Lovely mark by Karmas, who leapt high over the top. It's a dodgy kick across the face of goal. He was looking for lob, reading it nicely. Already got one, looking for his second, makes no mistake around the corner. And Carlton have the opening goal of the second term. He can go to Richards by hand. This is the man you want with the footy. And he goes to Waitman, who should take the mark, and he does. 15 metres out, directly in front. This time, to make them pay, he made the goal umpire do a lot of work to his left-hand side. Sneaks it in, Waitman, from 15 out, directly in front. Off to Hines, kick inside 50. Who would have thought? Joel Fraser put his liver for a moment. Joel Fraser, who goes immediately, plays on and kicks a goal. And the Bulldogs are back within a point.
Surging out of the stoppage, Ed Richards blasted toward the 50. Flying Cowan couldn't trap it. Out the back door, Luke Kennedy! Second goal of his career as he pounces low to ground from 20 out. And the Dogs, with 4 in a row, have snatched back the lead.
The AFL on ABC Sport.
On radio.
ABC Sport Digital Radio.
And ABC Listen.
A glimpse into the wildcards potentially this afternoon at Docklands. The Western Bulldogs and Carlton trading momentum across the first half. It was Carlton by 13 at the first change. Now it's the Dogs by 5 at the major break. Goal scorers so far, we've had 2 to Hayward, singles to Pittonet, Lord, McGovern and Mackay. Meanwhile for the Dogs, 2 to Fraser, who's trying to fill the void of Marcus Bontempelli today. Singles to Waitman, Jones, Kempy and Davidson. Aaron Bryan's calling the action for you alongside Andrew Mays. Your experts are dual Australians, former Western Bulldogs captain as well. Bob Murphy, Chad Wingard are here. Bobby Penny's down on the boundary as well. Earlier today, the Giants defeated the West Coast Eagles by 54 points. So their campaign is still alive. Will come to an end if Carlton win this game and secure their spot in the 10. Those 10 teams wouldn't change either, so St Kilda's season would be over as a result as well. Lead changed hand 4 times in the first quarter and the Giants surged away. Eagles kicked 7-15 in front of goal, so again very wasteful. Lockie Ash had 36 touches, Cal Brown with 4 goals, 10 straight losses for the Eagles. And the Giants, meanwhile, might have seen the last of Toby Green at home for this season at Sydney Showground. Still to come, we've got the Bombers and the Swans. It's about to get underway in a minute's time. You can hear it on ABC Listen through the extra button. Otherwise, we'll get you there for the second half. No late changes for that one. Sydney well and truly entrenched in the top 2 now. And the Bombers playing for a bit of pride as they likely will lose their senior figure in Zach Merritt at the end of the season. Some MRO news has just come through after the big collision last night between Jacob Van Rooyen and Aliir that left the milestone man concussed. A lot at stake in terms of Melbourne's finals if they lose their talisman, and at this stage they are going to for a while. So similar to the Darcy Fogarty suspension, Jacob Van Rooyen has been offered 3 matches for careless conduct, severe impact and high contact. So 3 at this stage, with Melbourne sitting in 5th, would mean round 24, an elimination final and a semi-final for Jacob Van Rooyen if the D's made it that far. It is a big blow, Bob Murphy and Chad Wingard, to the D's who've done so much so well over the last few months. And last night they were well and truly ahead when that incident happened. It was unnecessary. It was a brain fade and it will hurt them.
Yeah, it's a significant suspension and has huge implications potentially for the Melbourne Footy Club. Jacob Van Rooyen has been a key pillar in their resurgence this year. I don't think there was a heap of malice in it, but it was just so unnecessary. You know, look, these things happen in a really short
second. Yeah.
But there's split second and split second. Like there was a heartbeat where he made a decision. So the question we put to him, did you have an alternative? Pretty hard to argue that he didn't have an alternative. So it'd be a tough one to wriggle out from, would be my
100%.
initial.
100%.
He immediately
initial
felt
assessment.
so much remorse.
Oh, yeah.
You could tell he knew he'd done something wrong, but unfortunately when you throw your arm out, like Darcy Fogarty did, like Jacob Van Rooyen did.
There's throwing your arm out to clobber a bloke, and that's not what I saw, but the rules stipulate, and the fallout from it with the concussion, it just sort of leaves you with little wriggle room. So it's almost a bit of checkmate. So we want to protect the welfare of players wherever we can. So unfortunately for Jacob Van Rooyen, but for the greater good of the game and for players' health, that's probably where it'll fall.
Another one to keep an eye on as well, Bo McCreary, who was arguably best on ground last night in the draw against Hawthorn, has been charged with umpire contact for his 3rd time this year. So one more and he actually gets a 1-game ban. He's got to be careful, Bo McCreary, with Collingwood right in the mix as well for finals.
Geez, I got through a couple of seasons barely touching the opposition 3 times. He's had 3 goes at the umpire.
It must be centre bounces. It's the toughest time to get around it, especially if he's sitting on like the left side or the right side where the umpire is. You get pushed into the umpire. I reckon I've had 2 of them just purely from centre bounces where you get pushed into it. Obviously, I'm not strong enough to push away. So.
I didn't like the centre. It's too crowded in there, a bit too much chaos. Like the open plains.
Fair bit of text coming through. We'll rattle them off across the 3rd quarter. But the action's back here at Docklands. It is the Bulldogs by 5. Andrew Mays to get us back underway.
And they're going to win another one out of the middle here as well. Liberatore to Richards, who drives them forward inside 50. Kennedy front and centre, roved out the back to Fraser, to Jones, who just needs to snap. He gets under his right. He turns, he misses. Oh, it was a golden opportunity to start the second half as well as they could. They hit the fat side of the footy. It's 1 behind. Margin is now 1 straight kick.
So Blues will head to the right-hand side of your radio dial in this 3rd term. Billy Wilson brings it in, heading out to left half back. Adam Chera takes the mark. Heads up towards the city wing. Kick was long and searching. No one was really there. Buku Kamas cuts it off. Slingshot footy coming for the Dogs. Tom Liberatore from 60 tries to guide it to the top of the goal square. Croft for the body rather than the ball. Brings down Florent. Aaron Norton gathers. Tries to push through Dean. Swings the handball central. Matty Kennedy hits it at pace. Tried to go wide. Harry Dean steps in front of Waitman. Takes the footy. Rides the tackle. Ball up. 15 out.
Good attack from Harry Dean and fair tackle from Cody Waitman as well. Footy was the winner, one might say.
Big chance deep here for the Dogs. Akers, his kick is smothered. Waitman might be first onto this one. Big contest between him and Byrne. Byrne knocked him over, but the Dogs had a couple of numbers. Davidson gets away from him and out of bounds in the left forward pocket here for the Western Bulldogs.
You might be too young for that, Chad. Footy was the winner. Too young? Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've looked at my face.
Yep. Put that down as that one's too young for Chad.
Toss back into play. Deep forward still for the Dogs. Lob won it down to Hewitt. Hewitt pushed over by Liberatore. Then Chera has it. He's mobbed. We'll have another stoppage. This time the ball up. Stuck inside this left forward pocket at the moment. 90 seconds played, third term. Dogs by a goal.
Quick reset. Pitnet swats it down. It's tumbling towards the boundary line. Billy Wilson's happily to juggle it towards it, but didn't quite commit to getting it over the line. Shark by Davidson, central snap. West battling with Pitnet. The Blues will win out. Clearing kick towards the square. Landed into the shins of Kemp, caught behind. Sanders tries to step through traffic. Tackled, holding the ball. Free kick to the Blues. The umpire thought about paying advantage, but had already gained about 25 metres by the time they decided to call it back. So we'll slow things down. Harry Mackay, defensive edge. Heads on the 45 to the centre circle, coming through Sam Walsh. Hit it at speed. Heads towards Cottrell, juggling. Couldn't quite reel it in, but does enough to get it wide. Coming by. Taylor Byrne just couldn't quite control the footy. Bramble wreathing down his neck, and it's knocked over the boundary line, right forward pocket. Poppy Penny downstairs.
Guys, someone's handing out "We Want Fraser" placards down here. They've been made. They're like professionally printed "We Want Fraser" placards.
Is it Josh Fraser, Poppy?
I can't deny or confirm that, but his name's not on it. There's an Instagram handle.
Be in the coach's box,
there's an Instagram handle on there with who's handing them out, but it's not Josh Fraser as far as I can tell. But Carlton fans are all in.
Toss back into play. Hewitt wraps up Richards. Another stoppage. Inside attacking 50. Pitnet won it to space, and then Akers snaps on his left and squeezes it home. The Blues have the first of the second half, and we are all level here under the lid on a Sunday afternoon. That'll ease the Blues fans' nerves to start this second half.
That was a great hit by Pitnet. He actually got that corridor side of the contest, and yes, they didn't get the first possession, but the follow-up pressure from Akers and then finish was superb. But that dominance to just know where the ball was going to go when Paddy Cripps is on the fly, that's where Pitnet should have a big half here. He really needs to set the tone like he did last week against DeConing and like he did in the first quarter. He needs to be consistent for the last half and really assert himself into the contest.
Towards the Chad Wingard there with Bob Murphy. All tied up here at Docklands. Plenty at stake for both these footy clubs. Mark Pitnet stares down Rory Lobb. No Tim English this afternoon. Tossed into the air. Pitnet gets first hands to it, looking for Walsh. Committed a little early, came out towards Liberatore. Popped the handball looking for Fraser. Walsh gets back in time. Carlton now through Hewitt. Back to Akers, flung it to Walsh. He did the same, a rugby toss out. The umpire looking straight at it. Pitnet couldn't get there, Chera can. Gee, hospital handball to Cowan. He had 3 to beat. Ripped away from him. Dogs now go. Fraser to Richards. Spears a low dart to an empty goal square and gets the spin through. Bit of backspin. It pitched up and then tumbled over. Ed Richards. What a finish from deep. And the Dogs, just like that, back in front. They're up by 6. 8-5-53 to 7-5-47. 5 played third term on ABC Sport.
He's playing some game of footy, Ed Richards. The Bulldogs midfield were absolutely wiped off the park in that first quarter, and it was Ed Richards who has gathered his mids and his entire team, really, from the second quarter onwards, and has single-handedly just wrenched this game back the Bulldogs' way. He started this third quarter with a clearance in the centre of the ground to get the game going their way, and he just jumps on the loose ball here, and he summed it up. He had Aaron Norton on a lead. He thought about it. He looked at it and thought, no, open goal square, low and hard. That's a clever player.
Back in the middle, lob down to Kennedy. He's taken in a tackle by Walsh. Ball allowed to go for a long time there. Cripps got it out to Hewitt, who fed it wide to Akers. He's almost tackled. Just got the kick away. It'll bounce inside 50. Dangerous bounce too. Mackay turned tackler, and he did well from behind to hold things up for the Blues. Inside forward 50. Stoppage to take place about 40 from goal.
Quick reset. Pitnet's waiting for it. Taps it straight to Cripps. Beautiful Hollywood handball over his head to Hewitt, who's zigging and zagging but running out of room. Tackled by Matthew Kennedy. Not holding the ball, but he gives it away. Fraser finds Liberatore, turned into traffic, so he heads back to Big Joel. Two closing in, gets it through the logo, and Artie Jones now can turn into open real estate. He heads to the right forward pocket. Backtracking is Norton. Couldn't quite take it. Up against Dirksen. Ball goes central. Tackle laid by Dolan. Shoots out towards Dean, left back pocket, and he'll clear it with a high ball down the line. Pitches up left half back. There was a whistle anyway. Free kick. Would have gone downfield. Everybody stopped. They'll take the advantage. Cripps had taken the mark. Carlton get a gift. Down the line they go. Mackay to Jagger Smith. Check side across to the attacking edge. Little dinky kick, well placed. George Hewitt too far out to score. Looking for a lead. No one's really coming. So he'll arc around. Go long to the pocket, and Karmas gets in front of McGovern to take the intercept mark. It's the Dogs by 6.
Geez, Buku read that well. I watched him that whole play. He just chopped and changed and made the kick indecisive. He shut down the only two Carlton players in there, but geez, that body work and that positioning was insane.
Will sold a lovely dummy too, gained about 15 metres, then kicks as far as he can. Florent in front, couldn't take the mark. Kennedy off to Hines, who slipped over at the last moment. Akers gets it, looking for Hayward. Oh! What a mark!
He's paid it.
Flew over the top. He was up there for an eternity. And Will Hayward will line up from 40 out directly in front.
He's hurt himself, hasn't he?
He's holding his shin, so I'm not sure if he got a kick or landed awkwardly.
Oh, yeah, that's a nice ride.
Oh, what a hang.
Straddled the shoulder.
Almost jumped over him. Like, barely even touched him. That was a fair leap.
A sore foot tomorrow. All worth it. All worth it for a mark of the week.
He's already got two, Will Hayward. This for his third to level things up again. In he comes. Does it hold its line? It does. And after taking mark of the week, he's going to limp off after his third goal of the afternoon. Poppy downstairs before Pop and Chad.
Yeah, he's hobbling straight off the ground in the hands of a trainer. I imagine it's a little bit less sore after he's kicked the goal, but he looks like he's in a lot of pain. But I'm not sure if you can hear, but the Carlton fans sitting behind me are giving him an absolute standing ovation as he comes off the ground in significant pain in that right leg.
It's not in a great way.
Just trying to see how he landed. It looks like because he's obviously got hit. It looks like his ankle's bent significantly. As he's landed, he's obviously landed at an angle.
Crunched the top of the foot ankle joint. Oh, yeah.
It's amazing that he kicked that from 40, and that being his balance leg too.
How's he doing, Poppy?
He's going straight down the rooms with a physio and a doctor at the moment, so not great signs.
Glorious highlight that comes at a cost. Pitnet down, but the Dogs win the clearance. Bramble up towards half forward. Sharked by Florent, darting out of the defensive 50. Calls for calm and then immediately pulls the trigger. In two minds, he's given it away. Bramble cuts it off. Now goes for a march through the city wing. The Dogs up to right half forward. Croft caught behind. Florent makes amends.
Good mark.
Pinball footy. Now on the 45 again. Quick thinking, he goes in step. This time finds his target. Akers takes it, wanted to give it back to him, but Croft was following. So down the line he goes, and Adam Chera just outside the centre square.
Goes by hand to Walsh, who was running inwards, almost taken. Just got the kick away. Thought it might have lacked penetration. Just got to Lord. Lord at right half forward. Has Smith over the top, and that's who he finds. 70 from goal. A money kick now. Going inside, attacking 50. It's a crowded forward line. He hits it low, but straight to Selwood. He gets back into the hole and takes the mark. Short kick to Williams. He's called to play on. Has to go back to Selwood, who under not a lot of pressure goes towards the wing. Almost a mark over the top. At ground level, Wilson to Haynes. Haynes, a chaos ball. Dirksen coming one way. Ricocheted luckily to Wiedering. Back to Walsh, now to Ainsworth, back into congestion, to Walsh, to Wilson, to Wiedering. Swooping handball pass is good out to Haynes. Haynes on the wing, short kick is all right to Lord, and he can propel them forward.
Time to go, has a jog, spots something he likes, guides it to the pocket, Mackay in front, 2 fists come in, Selwood gets it on the bounce, tries to spin through Kemp, but goes the wrong way of the boundary line. It'll be tossed in just outside the arc. Carlton on the press here currently. Scores are level at 8-5-53 apiece. They're up by 20 in the seconds. Dogs got the 6-point advantage early in this term. Now we're going blow for blow here at Docklands. Great crowd in. Bit of a preview of finals footy. Tossed into play. Lob down. Beautiful tap. Gorgeous to Fraser. Clearing kick off a step. Here come the Dogs. They've just flipped the switch. Mark taken by Davidson, and Artie Jones tucks it under one arm, takes a bounce. 32nd is running a mile. His tackle dropped it. My goodness, where is the whistle there? They're going to get it for the lasso, not the tackle. Artie Jones trying to do everything he possibly could to surge towards the 50. Ran a mile, tackled and dropped it. Umpires had a mare.
Good tackle by Cowan. Great chase and tackle.
Haynes across to Akers. The Blues have the footy anyway. Left half back. Cottrell, gee, that was a little check kick. Almost a little shallow to Ainsworth. Gets there in time. And now he moves this up to centre half back to Cowan.
Cowan to Wilson. Wilson short to Hewitt. No runners going past. So he just pauses right on halfway. Richards is on the mark. He's going to have to go laterally. He finds Dean at right half back. Dean a short kick and finds Haynes just forward of centre wing. Haynes centrally with his pass. It's not a bad one too. He finds Ainsworth, 55 from goal. Ainsworth looking long. He goes flat just over the head of Lord. And mark taken by Waitman, who's tracked a long way back inside defensive 50.
They haven't had much structure going inside forward 50.
No,
that last kick,
worse for them.
everyone's pointing and then waiting for them to kick it to the spot. No one's leading as their forwards.
Volleyball footy. Clearing kick for the Dogs from Waitman only finds Haynes at right half forward. So Carlton will get another entry here. The former Giant calls for options, but the Dogs have flooded it defensively. He'll hit and hope high, and the rising fly comes from Kemp. Fist in the process, shoots out wide, and Francis Evans just can't get there in time as it rolls over the 25 mark. A couple of good games on right now. So the Swans and the Bombers pretty tight. Sydney have just kicked their four straight 24, I should say, to the Bombers, 2 straight 12. Midway through the first, you can hear it through the AFL Extra button on ABC Listen. Tossed in. Mackay takes it out of the ruck. Didn't have an option, so goes for home instead. Screws across. Mark maybe taken on the goal line. Crowd certainly thought so, but it bobbled out. As poor old Dirksen took it and turned into the behind post, and it just shot out with the momentum. So minor score, and it is the Blues by a point. They haven't led since the early stages of the second term.
They've had a mountain of the footy, the Carlton Footy Club. They're up to 310 disposals, which dwarfs the Bulldogs, who are on 199, but the inside 50s are in favour of the Bulldogs.
Poor hand pass, but the Dogs were able to line a couple of tackles, not Kennedy. Got taken down. Free kick to be paid right at the top of attacking 50. Not quite sure Burns got this kick in him. Looking for options short. There's only about 4 players outside of Carlton's attacking 50. So he's going to just take his time. He's going to go laterally all the way across to Wilson. Wilson has it at left half forward. 55 from goal now. Wilson looking for a way in. A low, darting ball. Allcroft almost. What about front and centre? Mackay snaps the goal. His second. And the key forward was the front and centre man. Carlton by 7. 14 played third term.
It felt like a matter of time, right? I mean, Western Bulldogs got nearly, I think it was 18 players in a defensive 50, and it's going to make it very tough to try and get that ball out. They were holding on for dear life. I mean, they've had a couple points, but it's really hard to reset if you go as a forward and even as a midfielder to try and get that ball rebounded outside of your 50. So I don't think that's going to be the recipe for success. But again, Ed Richards came off when they were kicking inside forward 50, so they're actually 17, so they were 1 down as well. So that interchange, I'd probably question that. But Carlton, again, their money kick for them, it wasn't pretty, but they're putting it to a hot spot, being predictable. I think for them, I just want to make sure if you're forwards, just keep moving. You can't just sit there. You've got to keep moving and challenge the defenders.
Tough lesson for Jordan Croft there. He went and flew, dropped the mark, and his opponent, Harry Mackay, was the front and centre player. Kicks the goal.
Blues by 7, 3 lead changes. Margins only got as high as 20 this afternoon. Tap out, Jagger Smith, gathered tackle by Riley West, holding the ball. Entry for the Dogs, lace out to Norton. On the march from the goal square, straight line, and gets it on his chest. Set shot to come from 30 out.
That's very pretty.
That was a laser on the opposite foot there from Riley West. Cannot defend those types of forward 50 entry. Aaron Norton, he might be a little bit nervous with this one, missing one earlier in the match.
So Norton looking for his first of the afternoon. It's fading left and misses. A little bit of a commentator's curse again for Aaron Norton, maybe. Margin is 6. Carlton lead. This is a well-guided kick out towards the broadcast wing. Mackay to take it off the boot of Florent.
Mackay goes quickly as well. He's overcooked that one. Coming the other way, Selwood, who gets to the wing, will kick it back towards Norton. Inside attacking 50. Wiedering in front. Ball bounces in front of both of them. Haynes is pushed off the footy. He tries to kick it round the corner. It's out of bounds on the full. So a free kick for Dolan in the left forward pocket. About 30 from goal. He'd have to snap this about 40 metres around the corner.
Not an easy kick from that distance. Modern players love the snap, but this is a big one.
In he comes. He hits it pretty sweetly. Oh, he's absolutely flushed it. Scores the level again. 9-6 apiece. 17 played, third turn.
Wowee. There's no better goal in footy as a small forward off of the back of the defensive pressure, whether that's at holding the ball tackle or whether it's making an opponent obviously fumble or kick it out of bounds. And that's a free shot. You know, he did the work, did the effort, and he's got no other options really. It's been a set shot, slowed down. Well, I tell myself there's no other option.
No other option. Briefly look up, fake to... sorry.
Nothing's done. Nothing's done.
They've closed it down, fellas.
I'm on my favourable leg. Okay, I'll just take it.
I'll take the responsibility.
Paddy Ryder-esque type snap from 45. I mean, what a finish. I mean, that's spectacular. Nothing, like I said, nothing better than a goal off of a defensive act.
Dolan joined the goal kickers. It is the Dogs who have level proceedings, 9-6-60. Poppy Penny downstairs.
The doctor's just come back up without Will Haywood and given sort of a so-so hand gesture and said a couple of minutes, and it looks like I suspect he'll come up, try and do some run-throughs with that ankle strapped up.
Fingers crossed for him. Mackay takes it out of the rack, a searching kick up and under to the attacking edge, but the Dogs are there. Liberatore to Matthew Kennedy. Now Bailey Williams turned into trouble, had a wall coming ahead, tried to thread it through. Now Davidson becomes the tackler on Hewitt, forced the turnover. Carlton give it away again. Matthew Kennedy looking for Jates. Handball a little soft. Harry Dean got a hand in. Florent now. Gee, they would have smelt blood in the water there. The Dogs all over him. And it will be a ball up on the pain of 50. Western Bulldogs hungry for this one. We spoke about it in the pre-game. Technically not much to play for. They need to win their last two games and hope that Collingwood lose to get a home wild card, but they haven't come with that intent. Chad Wingard said it best. These players always want to win. Tap down, lob. Looking out wide, and a throw going against Dolan, who did try to get out of the stoppage. So free kick to Carlton at the defensive edge. Jagger Smith's going to get the footy.
Smith has Lord, his old schoolmate, outside. Finds him. Lord at left half back. Just goes high and long around the wing. They set themselves. Dirkson's there, brings it to ground. McGovern front and centre. With the hand pass, intercepted by Williams, and Williams inboard to Hines. And further outside to Liberatore. Was looking for a hand pass, went the kick instead. Haynes is there over the top. Good spoil. Emmett left it there for Waitman. Waitman, lovely dummy, got around one, and then hand pass back to Hines. Hines gets around Dean, or just, no, he didn't quite on that occasion. Hand pass was to Florent. Florent backtracks to Haynes around the corner. Oh, good mark by McGovern. Flew early and took the grab, and he'll repel from left half back.
Heads towards the corridor, just didn't hit it flush. Carmichael gets back on debut. Leans back with a short pass to Liberatore. There's no one around him. Plenty of space to think about his next move. He heads to Hines, 60 from home. Top of the goal square, kick, flying, and unable to mark is Artie Jones. Cowan takes it at the back, but it came off Jones's hands. Didn't really make an attempt to get it out because he thought he had the mark. Will be a ball up, benefit of the doubt. Here's top of the goal square for the Dogs, though. They're lurking. Rory Lobb comes in to do the ruck work, dispatches Mackay, tries to break through like a bulldozer but leaves the footy behind. Hewitt scrambles it out of there, but Kukamis again. Almost like he can see things a chapter ahead. Too far out to score, he'll head wide. Lockie Jakes does have a booming left. Not quite there though, so he'll hand it off. Hand pass from O'Donnell. Selwood sidestep the defender. Has a crack. That would have been special as he broke the ankles, but there's a reason why he plays down back. No score, and it is still 60 apiece.
Little side swipe.
Apologies, Michael. He hasn't kicked a goal in his career, so.
Long kick.
I like that you backed it up.
Out of defence, but now it's Riley West who takes the intercept mark.
A few other defenders have kicked a couple.
West into the pocket. A couple of flyers for the Dogs. Davidson couldn't take the grab on that occasion. It's out off hands for a boundary throw in left forward pocket. Dogs threatening here. 21 played. We're all even under the roof. Giants and Saints fans with their Dogs hats on this afternoon, trying to keep their season alive. Toss back into play. Mackay works his way to the front. Down to Walsh. Quick kick out of congestion. It's not a penetrating kick. Carmichael couldn't get it, and now it's a chance for Karmas. To West. Sweeping hand pass back towards O'Donnell. Now to Williams. This is the important kick, and it's a good one too. Across the centre of the park. Finds Hines, who's still inside the centre square, right edge of the centre circles.
And former first-round pick from a few years ago. Settled into the 23, kicks to right half forward. Kennedy bounces off. Cooper Lord just couldn't take the mark, collapses into the tackle. Florent now wraps up Luke Kennedy. Ball shoots to the boundary line. Liberatore with the try as he drives over to force the boundary throw in at right half forward for the Dogs. Spoke a little too soon about the MCG clash. The Bombers were up for the fight early, but it's now 7-2 Sydney's way. So the Swans, who are pretty much already locked into second, this would absolutely put the rubber stamp on it.
Will Mark McVeigh fly back with the Swans or just stay in?
Tossed in, lobbed down. Liberatore shoots the handball wide. Hines, searching kick on the bounce. Davidson couldn't quite get there to trap it. Another boundary throw in to come. Poppy Penny downstairs.
Well, Haywood's just emerged from the rooms and he looks like he's going to test that ankle out. He's smiling to the physio, smiling to his teammates, so that is a good sign given how much pain he looked like. He's doing some run-throughs on the boundary to test out that ankle.
3 goals for the Blues this afternoon for Haywood. Left half back here for Carlton. Onto it first is Kennedy, off to Hines. Now, was there a whistle? No. Liberatore onto it now. He kicks to the top of the square, over the back. Haynes has it for the Blues. Read it nicely off hands, but he kicks as far as he can. This could be a lasso, although it bounced on its point. Akers missed the footy. Waitman had a fumble as well. Fed it back by hand to Sanders, and he missed Williams completely from a metre away, just on the wrong wave length there, the two of them. And it will be a lasso free kick for Carlton at right half back.
So down the dockside wing, Blake Akers with the short pass. Little pinpoint, uncontested brand here for the Blues as Taylor Byrne gets it off to Frankie Evans. If you're just joining us as well, Jacob Van Rooyen has been off with 3 matches for his high hit on Aliir. Careless high contact and severe impact for the concussion. Down the line goes Frankie Evans, only finds Roy Lobb. On the text line, Bob says Van Rooyen's fortunate to only get 3, and a huge thanks to Chad Wingard for his services to Port Adelaide. You were an absolute star. Go the Dogs. Lobb heads up towards Bailey Williams. Centre wing on this broadcast side. Scores have been level for a while now. Seesawing affair in the third, 9-6-60 apiece. Central kick, Lockie Jakes gets right under this one to right half forward. Hines comes in with a hard push to try and escort Cooper Lord out of the drop. Just a little bit too much there. Free kick to the Blues at left half back.
Risky kick by Lord, and he just made it to Cottrell. He feeds it to Walsh. Walsh to the wing. Akers is in a bit of space. Has Evans in front of him. Finds him. Evans looking for options inside attacking 50. Tries to pinpoint the pass. It's excellent as well. That's a man in form. And he finds McGovern right forward pocket. He'll line up from 45.
Yeah, there's no better player for Carlton at the moment, kicking inside forward 50. He had 12 inside 50s last week, and he's leading the way again this week.
And McGovern plays on quickly. He stabs it short. No one on Kemp as he made the short 20-metre lead. And Kemp will line up a lot closer to goal. He's about 45-degree angle to the right. He'll kick from about 35. Downstairs, Poppy.
Frankie Evans is playing so well. He asked to come off. He just ran towards the bench and they sent him away, and he looked very dismayed with that. I think he's a bit buggered.
We'll get a rest here as Kemp lines up for goal. 9 goals, 6 apiece. It's been an arm wrestle all afternoon. 25 played, third term. This for the lead. Kemp kicks the goal. It's the Blues by a goal. A little over 3 minutes left in this third quarter. And this one you feel like is going to go right down to the wire before Chad and Bob on ABC Sport Poppy.
Will Haywood was doing some run-throughs on the boundary line, but he's just gone back down into the rooms with the doctor. He still looked in a little bit of pain when he was doing those run-throughs and testing that ankle out. So he's obviously going to have a little bit more work done on that ankle.
Better ball movement there from Carlton, just using the full width of the ground. It was Akers who had made space out here on the outer wing, and it just stretched the Bulldogs' defence. And their entries inside 50 have been predictable for a fair while. That was more of a fast play where they just moved it so smoothly that they were able to get offside and move that ball too quickly for the Bulldogs' defence, and McGovern was unselfish to give it off to Kemp.
Been some real flashes of brilliance for the Blues this afternoon. Pitting it down, clearing kick for the Dogs, only as far as Dean in defensive 50 uses. Cow and Haynes, had the absolute meat grinder coming in across. Kick long before the contact came. Akers just buffeted off it. Good hip and shoulder there from Matty Kennedy, who wins the footy. Uses Davidson, then Richards across the body, up and under, left half forward. Flying Walsh couldn't come down with it. Fraser can. Hands it to Matty Kennedy. Looping handball. Dolan can chip the kick. Artie Jones gets a couple of juggles and finally reels it in. Tight angle, but we know he can work some magic from here. He's 20 out from goal. This is going to test him.
How good was the hands from Joel Fraser there, Chad?
Every single one, even Ed Richards' decision to get it forward.
Contract year for Arthur Jones, but she's a live wire. So many weapons in the toolkit. He opens the angle just a little bit too much on the curl, and a minor score to the left. And it is the Blues by 5, closing in on three-quarter time. Poppy Penny downstairs.
I'm busy down here. Frankie Evans has just finally come off and he's talking to the doctor. I think he looks like he's taking a couple more painkillers. That calf, I think, is giving him some issues.
Thanks, Poppy. Short kick in from Florent finds Dean. Dean right up the line, tried to chew off a bit too much there, and Jones, excellent spoil over the top, ensures that it'll be a throw-in, 60 around from the Bulldogs' goal. Perhaps another chance late here in this third quarter.
He's just got so many hops, Artie Jones. Like a pogo stick with the agility and the jumping. He's just a delight to watch.
Ball to be tossed back in. Pitnet and lob. Pitnet won it down. Hewitt didn't hand pass immediately. On hands and knees, fed it out to Walsh, to Cripps. Over halfway through the wing. Shrugs off the tackle. Cripps, a good kick, and he finds McGovern. Off to Walsh. Walsh, short kick to centre-half forward. Flying finds Florent. Florent has Lord at left half forward, instead went inside 50 and he finds Byrne. Byrne 47 from goal. This would take everything. He plays on. He gives it to Cripps by hand. This is all a bit messy from Carlton, although the skipper goes with the fend. And a little bit of a fade to the right. Margin back to one straight kick in favour of the Blues. 29 played third quarter. On ABC Sport. Strap yourselves in for the final term.
Poppy Penny downstairs.
Yeah, Will Haywood's back up on the bench, still jumping around trying to test out that ankle. So not sure if he's done for the day, but he still looks sore, but he looks like he's going to try and get back on.
Williams got a lot on the exiting kick, and Cody Waitman immediately thought he got a fingertip on the ball drop in the pack. Certainly turned to the boundary umpire who bought his story. He'll be tossed in here on the dock side.
So smart. I don't think he touched it.
I don't think he did either.
That was so smart.
He sold his story well, tossed in. Rory Lobb tries to get in front position on Pitnet and take the footy. It bobbled out. Ed Richards, though, is there. He had it well scouted. Goes for a couple of bounces. Across the benches, so much momentum, and Akers was trying to track him. They fell forward downfield, but Norton gets the mark anyway. Central, Jones cuts in front. That screwball kick works. 35 out, slightly to the left. Set shot to come for the Dogs. Close to the three-quarter time siren to again level the scores.
That was insane. Well, we just saw that. Ed Richards sprinting at full speed, hitting a dart of a kick where the player wasn't actually open. He kicked him open. Like, that's insane, just besides a free kick. That was an unbelievable kick.
Yeah, his kick.
Not many can do that.
His kick marked Aaron Norton.
100%.
Got away with words. Bob Murphy. Other Jones. Long approach. Big moment. He started it right. It's a straight line strike. Never a chance. Minor score. It is Carlton by 5 as the seconds tick away here at Docklands. And we are going to have an absolute ripper of a finish as the Blues fight to lock away September with a round to go. Carlton is 10-7-67. The Western Bulldogs are 9-8-62. Goal scorers heading into the final term. 3 to Will Hayward. He's currently not out there. Had a mark of the year contender, landed on the front of his foot on the way down and is about to head towards the Coleman end to try and test it out. 2 to Mackay, singles to McGovern, Akers, Kemp, Pitnet and Lord. Meanwhile for the Dogs, 2 to Fraser and individuals to Waitman, Croft, Richards, Dolan, Jones, Kennedy, that's Luke, and Davidson as well. Poppy Penny, what have you made of the Will Hayward situation downstairs? He seems desperate to get out there.
Yeah, he and the doctors and physios look desperate to get him out there. He's currently doing some run-throughs, just as you say, towards the Coventry end of the ground. The physios are getting him to sort of do some sprint efforts and kick those knees up and kick those legs up. And then I think it looks like he'll do a little bit of marking practice, but he is going to miss most of the three-quarter time huddle, I'd suggest, as he tests out that sore ankle.
Footy can be unfair sometimes. You take an absolute hanger and then a high risk, high reward. Unfortunately, he came down with a
he looks very sore to me.
Yeah, landing.
He looks really proppy.
You got to be careful with September on the horizon. That being said, they've still got to win a game out of their last 2 to make sure they're going to be there, Carlton. Over at the MCG, the Bombers were hanging with the Swans early, going blow for blow, but it has absolutely unleashed now for the Swans. They're up by 37 points at quarter time, 9-1-55 to 3 straight 18, and Errol Goulden had 14 touches in the first term, going at 93%. So really hot start there for the Swans, who have locked away second, playing the Bombers now just for a bit of momentum heading into the final series. And you can hear it all on the AFL Extra button through ABC Listen. Otherwise, we're going to get you there for the second half very shortly. Your text in a moment's time, the thoughts of Bob Murphy and Chad Wingard as well. It is the Blues heading into the final term here at Docklands, currently leading over the Western Bulldogs 10-7-67 to 9-8-62. Stay with us on ABC Local Radio, Sport Digital and ABC Listen for a grandstand finish. It's Sunday Footy on ABC Sport.
Okay, let's do it. The ABC Listen app now has a space just for kids and families. Ooh. The only place for new episodes of Bluey Listen Along. Radio, podcasts and routines. I love it. Everything families need anytime on the ABC Listen app.
This is the 2026 AFL Premiership season with ABC Sport.
Pitnet won it to space, and then Akers snaps on his left and squeezes it home. The Blues have the first of the second half, and we are all level here under the lid.
Dogs now go. Fraser to Richards. Spears a low dart to an empty goal square and gets the spin through. Bit of backspin. It pitched up and then tumbled over. Ed Richards, what a finish from deep.
Off to Hines, who slipped over at the last moment. Akers gets it, looking for Hayward.
Oh!
What a mark!
He's paid it.
Flew over the top. He was up there for an eternity. And Will Hayward will line up from 40 out directly in front. In he comes. Does it hold its line? It does. And after taking mark of the week, he's going to limp off after his third goal of the afternoon. Wilson looking for a way in. A low, darting ball. Allcroft almost. What about front centre? Mackay snaps the goal. His second. Haynes is pushed off the footy. He tries to kick it round the corner. It's out of bounds on the full. So a free kick for Dolan in the left forward pocket. About 30 from goal. In he comes. He hits it pretty sweetly. Oh, he's absolutely flushed it.
The AFL on ABC Sport.
On radio.
ABC Sport Digital Radio.
And ABC Listen.
It's a situation that Blues fans know all too well. There's something about Carlton and not wanting to do it the easy way. They've got the Western Bulldogs this afternoon who are going to be playing finals football, and the Navy Blue Baggers are hoping to join them in doing so. They need to win this afternoon to be there. Otherwise, they've got to beat Fremantle, the minor premiers, next week. And currently, Carlton are up by 5 at the final change against the Bulldogs, who've been up for the fight without Marcus Bontempelli and Tim English. And it feels like we're headed towards what could be a rip-snorter of a game here in Melbourne with the roof closed at Docklands. Aaron Bryans, Andrew Mays with you alongside the All-Australian pairing of Bob Murphy and Chad Wingard. Your text on 0437 774 774. Anise in Geelong says, can you explain the wild card like I'm 5? What's going on here? So we've expanded the eligible teams for finals, Anise. So top 10, 7 plays 10th, 8th plays 9th. And then the winners go into your traditional elimination finals with the high-ranked side playing the lowest ranked of the 5-6 contenders. So you basically add another week to the finals, another chance for you to be eliminated, but more teams have a crack at the flag. So we'll definitely be seeing the Bulldogs there. Will we see Carlton as well as the question with St Kilda and the Giants closing down? And Bob in Harcourt says, I'm getting upset. I've had it with Aaron Norton. He can't hit the side of a barn. So poor Norts has had a big run of, what is it now? He's had 31 games in terms of his streak, but unfortunately he hasn't had one so far this afternoon. Bob Murphy, Chad Wingard, what are we in for in this final term?
Win for a game. That's what we're in for. I mean, it's been a spectacular 3 quarters so far, and it's been a bit of a chess match. I mean, you think about quarter breakdown as Carlton's trying to play their way. They're getting on their terms. Western Bulldogs been flooding back and on the slower plays and trying to slow them down. For me, it's going to come down to, yes, the centre, who can get the metered game. But for me, it's when ball in hand. So when Carlton are taking those risks and they pay off, they look really strong. So when the ball goes to the corridor, then to the outside, and they get with speed with their ball movement, they look much better going inside forward 50. If they slow down those entries, like they have been Bulldogs at times, Bulldogs look strong. So for me, it's like, can they capitalise on those turnovers, or can Carlton cut them to pieces? That's how I see this game playing out.
Yeah, the clearance battle has been sort of toing and froing. Carlton were absolutely dominant early, and the Dogs have been able to sort of wrestle a bit of that back. The inside 50s, Carlton can't turn their massive possessions into inside 50 entries, but I did feel like in the last, call it 10 minutes of that third quarter, that they did start to make the ground big, and the qualities of their entries started to look dangerous.
Here we go. Final term on ABC Sport. It is the Blues by 5. Pitting it down. Ed Richards again. He has been so good this afternoon. Heads towards the 50. Harry Dean in front. Couldn't come down with the footy cleanly. Norton was waiting. Shot the handball wide. Dolan can't hit a teammate. And through traffic, a nice chain as Cherry uses Walsh. Pitnet heads out towards the dockside wing. Cutting across. Mitch McGovern really handballed it into Hines. The Dogs win out. Selwood did well to draw 2 in and then get it back to Hines. Bailey Williams waits again. Third possession in the play. Young Cooper tries to get it to the right forward pocket. Waitman with an enormous fly, but didn't really get near the footy in terms of his mitts. And off hands it rolls over the boundary line. Poppy Penny downstairs.
Will Haywood's come back from the 3-quarter time huddle, and he's sitting on the front of the bench, which is good news. He's still not gone back on the ground, and he's trying his best to convince the docs and physios that he's all right to go.
Ball thrown back in. Norton doing the ruck work. Won it down. Smith just scrubbing a kick away. Cripps is in there now for Carlton. Hand pass out wide to Akers. A little indecisive. Kick last minute over the head of Pitnet. Now a chance for Selwood of the Dogs. Selwood sold some nice candy. Spun. Put it to the hot spot. 30 out from goal. Dean flies. Norton's in front. Pitnet tries to whack it out of there. Fraser to Hines. Snap. Smothered. Wonderful smother by Cooper Lord, and the Blues are away. Cripps off to Walsh. It bounced in front of him. He turned. Slipping was Hines. Aggressive kick from Walsh into the middle, but it's okay to send half back. And it finds Florent off to Wilson. Wilson out wide. That's a good kick too. Evans is in a bit of space. Right half forward here for the Blues. He finds Mackay. He gets the free kick or the mark.
Gee, that's when they look dangerous, Carlton. Walsh looking inside, finds that man in the middle of the ground and then opens up the entire game. And now we're playing the game in Carlton's forward half.
Mackay heads to the right forward pocket. Fly from McGovern through his body and courageous back with the fright from Lobb. And unfortunately underneath all of that was poor old, I think, Jagger Smith, who's at the bottom of the pack. As everyone landed on top of him, he's pulled back to his feet. Very proppy, but will stay out there at the moment. Boundary throw-in to come, right forward pocket for Carlton. And Rising Star just fortunately got swished to the turf there. Tossed in. Pitnet looking for Akers. Fraser's right alongside him with the tackle. Ball up to come, 20 out.
So who can get on the board first? in this final term. The all-important first goal. Tossed up. Pitnet and Lobb. Cripps running through the stoppage. Hand pass to Walsh. Paddles it to his own advantage. Couldn't quite pick it up, Walsh. Eventually did. It's off a few hands. Sanders is there. Gets the quick kick away. Waitman over the top. Almost took the mark. Recovered nicely at ground level. Then the smother from Wiedering coming the other way. Now Smith's onto it for the Blues. Kicks inside 50. Up high and good mark by McGovern. Selwood's filthy with himself. But McGovern read it nicely and he'll line up. 45-degree angle. He'll kick from about 45 metres.
Gee, Smothers can have a big impact in our game, can't they? Jacob Wiedering there, sensational just to put that pressure on Cody Waitman, who wanted to turn and go and play on and launch that ball into the forward half of the Dogs. Wiedering was there, and we're still here in Carlton's 50 and McGovern with a golden opportunity.
The all-important first goal of this final term. McGovern kicks from 45. It's away to the right and through for one behind. So the margin is one straight kick. Mitch McGovern with one goal for the afternoon. Poppy downstairs.
Will Haywood's back doing some run-throughs with the physio. He's been off since the almost the 9-minute mark of the third quarter, so it's been a long layoff, but he's trying to get back on.
Dogs move it to the dockside wing. Buku Khamis had two to pick from his teammates and put it right in the middle where Billy Wilson was waiting. Carlton will go straight back into the arc. Wilson hooks it across the body. A flaring kick on the march. Mackay and off hands. It's spoiled back out of defensive 50 by the Dogs and a boundary throw in to come. Now riding every moment here at Docklands. Carlton fans know how much this means. All the way down the bottom. Now looking to be clear. Tossed in. Pitnet double tap. Went through Ainsworth just a little wide in his direction. Liberatore gets onto the footy to Fraser. He thought about taking on Walsh, and that little hesitation forced the pounce. But they're not going to pay holding the ball because the tackle drove him over the boundary line.
I feel like morally that should have been a free kick for Sam Walsh.
Yeah, that's so stupid.
You could technically say the rules wouldn't have allowed it, but I think morally we were all with him.
Blues by 6. Pitnet takes it out of the ruck. Lob was caught behind. The handball finds its way to Ainsworth and loops it over the top. A beautiful 1-2 play with Chera. Ainsworth opens the corridor up as he finds Wiedering and he checks the kick to Jagger Smith. Diving down low, something they'd be proud of in Darwin as he hooks it in and takes the mark just inside of the arc. Set shot to not come. They're going to not pay the mark. Oh, Jagger Smith's bit stiff there. Stoppage now instead. Carlton will make it work. Sam Walsh out of traffic. That one surely would have been a goal. Now it's going to be. The mark was dropped, but Frankie Evans pounces from 20 out front and square. Gee, they made it so hard. But in the end, the Blues get the job done. It should have been an uncontested grab. Doesn't matter in the end. Mitch McGovern thankful that Frankie Evans was there with the assist. And the Blues are up by 2 kicks now at Docklands. 11-8-74. The Western Bulldogs 9-8-62. 5 played final term on ABC Sport.
And again, Pitnet just asserting dominance. He protected that whole space and controlled the contest, and it's giving Carlton first look at the ice cream, especially around the ground. He looks really strong. And Mitch McGovern would be spewing that he didn't get that mark, but it was almost like a goal assist without going down on the paper. But Frankie Evans, what an absolute month of footy he's had. He's been unbelievable last week. And again, he's just super potent. He's one of the players that, again, has just grown in confidence and impact on the game.
Pitnet and Lobb dispossessed. Done by way of play on. Cripps in there with the tackle on Fraser was strong. Ball held to him. Ball will be tossed up. Pitnet and Lobb again. Cripps. Now there's a too high free kick. It's going the way of the Carlton skipper. And he goes quickly by hand to Walsh, who's almost caught. Kicks inside 50. It's a wobbler from the side. Selwood, great mark. Poppy downstairs.
Haywood on the phone to the coach's box. He's talked to the doctors. They've given him the thumbs up. He looks thrilled. It looks like he's going back on.
3 for the afternoon for Will Haywood, but we haven't seen him in a while after his Mark of the Year contender landed awkwardly on his foot. Dogs head up towards the dockside wing. Ed Richards so slick in traffic. Parted the seas with the handball. Dogs get out. Joel Fraser to the 50. Little wide and long for Artie Jones. He's got the pace to hit it. Can he gather the footy? He can, but right alongside him, a good tackle laid by Billy Wilson. Ball up to come. Oh, the heat is hot in the kitchen, and gee, we are seeing a preview of September. Stoppage incoming. Dangerous area now. Norton knocks it down. And backwards in the end as it ricocheted off a few bodies. West shoots the handball back. Kennedy looking central. Patrick Cripps with an absolute hanger. Just couldn't stick the mark. Coming through, Bailey Williams will take advantage and put the Dogs back in the game. One kick affair once more. 6 points is the margin. Carlton 11-8-74. Western Bulldogs 10-8-68. Gee, there's going to be a litany of highlights coming out of this one, Bob Murphy and Chapman.
I'm not sure where to look at the moment. Paddy Cripps has nearly taken mark of the century.
One-handed, he needed to go with the two, but I'll tell you what, is there springs under Docklands? Because I'll tell you what, everyone's jumping out of their skins today and getting on top of the shoulders. I mean, he did the right thing trying to get a contest, and just unfortunately it just fell towards Western Bulldogs because they had about 4 or 5 on the ground level. But I'm telling you, there's something in the ground here because we have seen some high-flying action today.
It was good composure. Davidson was at the drop of the ball when Paddy Cripps dropped that high-flying attempt, and Bailey Williams pushing down from half-back. It just made really good position, and then it was a quality finish.
Blues by goal. Pitnet down towards Walsh. Pushed off the footy. Good contest by Kennedy, and then he's caught holding the ball. Umpire waves advantage. Off to Walsh. Kicks inside 50. Mackay the leaper. Selwood at ground level. Bounces the way of Kemp. He's taken in a tackle. Now the hand pass from Richards. That was great footy by the Dogs in close confines. It's through the hands of Dirksen. Now the Dogs are out on the wing. Hand pass over the top. Croft just got it away. Probably should have been holding the ball up by Wade. Play on. Kick inside 50. Jones couldn't take the mark. West with the snap. West with the goal. Scores to level again.
Carlton fans are not going to be happy with that one watching the replay. That was a blatant throw. I don't even think he needed to take on the tackler, Bob. He could have just tapped that over, given the handball much earlier. So very fortunate there. But almost another mark from Arthur Jones. It's almost been almost gave him. He's kicked 1 goal 3, but what a classy finish. And as you can tell by the boos, it's the umpires definitely missed that goal.
Poppy Penny, how are they going down there in your section of the crowd?
Yeah, unfortunately for the umpire, that was right in front of me, and I am sitting right in the middle of just about all the Carlton fans in here, so they are not thrilled about that. Frankie Evans has just gone down to the rooms. I didn't see a doctor or a physio go down with him, so it might just be a bathroom break, but he has been struggling with that calf.
Given you've got a tourist from South Australia, you can borrow a line, Poppy. Right in front of me. Carlton were robbed. That was a clear-cut throw. Scores level out of the middle. Hewitt tumbles a kick clear. Bounds a little wide of Ainsworth, who committed to trying to get to the footy. Coming across Byrne. Ball shoots out. Richards is clotheslined for his efforts. Full collar tackle that wrapped around his neck. Free kick to the Dogs. They've had the last 2 majors. Tight affair at the G as Carlton plays to lock in September footy. Bailey Williams with a sidestep as he balks his way around Akers. Now can run through the broadcast wing. Heads in the Norton direction. Jacob Wiedering. Welcome back, big man. Used the body to get on top of one of the best key forwards in the game and cuts it off for the Blues in defensive 50.
It's a high kick out with not a lot of penetration. It might land with Cripps. Karmas, big fist over the top. It'll turn into an attacking opportunity. Dolan snaps towards inside 50, but a nice smother by Wilson, and we'll have a ball in right half forward here for the Western Bulldogs, who have fought back brilliantly.
Geez, Buku's been impressive, hasn't he?
Yeah,
he's had some huge spoils late in this game.
Scores level. 11-8 apiece. 11 played, final term. Toss back into play. Pitnet might have been caught holding the ball himself. Just got the hand pass away. It's a high free kick going the way of Ainsworth. And he'll take the free kick for the Blues at left half back.
As the handoff with Sam Walsh, who can dart his way through defensive 50. Kick is good to the right back pocket to Wiedering, and Norton closes him down to stand the mark. Not a lot ahead. Wiedering has to head out to the city side wing, close to the boundary line, but hit it to perfection. Dirksen, the former Giant, far from home from the nation's capital, heads up towards centre wing, getting in front Cooper Lord. This is strong footy from the Blues, albeit without pace. He's at right half back at the moment. We are stuck at 74 apiece. Cooper Lord, back 45 to Wilson. They'll switch it all the way over towards the dockside wing. Wilson instead fakes left and goes right towards the corridor. George Hewitt, defensive edge. Now has the run of Wiedering, left half back. Dogs are just blanketing any sort of offence here. The Blues slowly moving forward, but it feels like a game of NFL right now. Just making up the required 10. Wilson heads out towards Byrne. He's in front of the benches. You can hear the directions from the coaching staff watching. Mackay is waiting. They said send it into Mackay and lob. 5 to beat, floats over the top of the mark. And poor old Selwood got his foot trodden on again. Second time this afternoon, but Mark Pay to the Bulldogs. Lob has decided to go all the way to Bailey Williams, who had 2 alongside him. He tried to juggle the mark. Did have a hand come in. That wasn't the best option there for Big Rory. And a stoppage to come here on the Dockside wing.
Tossed up straight away, Mackay. Won the footy. His kick smothered, though. Back under a couple of pairs of feet. West did extremely well. Almost got the hand pass out. Fraser did. Umpire wave play on. Sanders, his kick is smothered by a desperate Patrick Cripps. It spills over for a boundary throw-in.
Scores level again, Chad. This is where we might have said in days gone by, footy's the winner. Eventually there'll be an alternative winner, we think, but it would be the perfect time to use that phrase.
13 gone, final term. Nerves amongst both camps, but especially the Blues with a wild cut spot on the line this afternoon. Sanders out of a couple of tackles, not the third. Patrick Cripps got him.
Shoot, that was a tackle of immense authority from Paddy Cripps. Riley Sanders, young star, taking on one of the game's best, came off second best.
Cripps to the hot spot. Where are the Flyers? None there across the back. Cottrell almost there. Well done by Davidson. Got back in front of him. Forced the rush behind. That is the margin. It's the Blues by a point. 14 gone, final turn.
That tackle to go along with his 12 clearances, Paddy Cripps. He's having a big afternoon.
We've been hyping it as a finals preview, but it's had the absolute drama to match the brand of footy. Bramble plays on from the defensive goal square, balks his way around Cottrell and kicks up to Waitman. Fly from Cowan, he landed hard. Blues win it back. Cooper Lord heads towards the 50. McGovern decides to ride the contact and the drop. Buku Kamas with a fist heads to the boundary line and rolls over. Poppy Penny downstairs on ABC Sport.
Will Hayward's gone to the back of the bench. He did go back on the ground and then pretty much immediately came straight back off. So he's at the back of the bench, done for the day.
So the Blues one down on the interchange bench at this point in time. 14 played, final term on ABC Sport. Ball to be tossed back into play. Right half forward here for Carlton. Lob. Didn't get to the contest in the end. Florent over the top. Ensures it's going nowhere. A ball up to take place. Right half forward.
Had a great question from Rich on the text line from Ocean Grove. What happens if there's a draw? That's enough for the Blues. They'll be in. Just can't lose.
So Cripps doing the ruck work. Now Kennedy just soccers it forward, as does Waitman. Gains a fair bit of territory as well to Norton at left half forward. Lovely, don't argue, got out of a couple of tackles. Now Liberatore looking to feed it backwards. He does to Davidson. He kicks long. It's a 2-on-1. West out the back. Oh, didn't take the mark. Haynes has to hand pass to himself. Didn't have a lot of support. Keeps it in front of him. Lovely hand pass by Waitman. Now a chance for Bramble around the corner. He can't hook it back enough. Scores a level again. 75 apiece this time. We're going in one. 16 played, final term.
Heightened emotions across Docklands. Both these supporters desperate for this victory. Chera heads to the right back pocket. Florent takes it and goes. Spears it down the line. Mark taken by Lord. Tight roping with the boundary line. He backs up. Cooper Lord looking ahead. Searching kick. Little central. Ainsworth makes it work against Fraser. Didn't have the height. Had the hops. He's just wide the logo. Heads through the square. They've got some space now on the broadcast side. Nick Haynes takes it and decides to take off. Haynes into the 50. Spear to low one. Bramble cuts in front of Cottrell. Intercept mark for the Dogs. Scores level, 75 apiece. 16 played, final term.
Bramble inside defensive 50. Goes to hand pass in the end to Kamas, who's caught on his right foot. Had a fumble to start, then kicks a short ball to Kennedy, who's called to play on. Kicks off the instep, might work out here. Waitman's beautiful hands, but he just missed the hand pass. Smith, he was tackled nicely. Lob worked the 1-2. Was it taken without it? Now Akers has it. Mackay, lightning hand pass to Coward, now to Evans, and off to Chera with the left boot. Intercept marked by Kamas. Right half back, here come the Dogs.
Bruising electric footy right now. Everybody's laying it all on the line. Out towards the Dock side. Matthew Kennedy hands it off to Selwood. Down the line, Waitman far from home marks. Dogs now looking for an option. Riley West is on his haunches in the back play. They've got a couple waiting, including Riley Sanders on the in-45.
And if the players aren't paying attention, just in the last few minutes, the umpires have been paying not long enough play on. They've been really harsh on it, so we might see a couple more in these last few minutes.
Hines to Norton! Gets in front of 3 to clunk a big mark for the Dogs. Set shot to come, 35 out, slightly to the right.
Geez, he had no right to get to that contest. I mean, Wiedering actually just switched off a half second. Didn't quite put enough body on because he came from about 4 or 5 metre leg rope compared to Pitternet and the other guys in that contest. But GC times his run and his contact better than anyone in the competition.
His appetite to just want to get to the footy is pretty exceptional.
Goalless all night. Aaron Norton needs a big moment and he's missed it left.
That part not as intended.
Yeah. Does put the Dogs up again. Solitary point, 7 to go on ABC Sport.
It's a painful auction where we're going in ones. Someone just buy it.
Florence with the kick-in duties goes very short to Hewitt. And Hewitt goes back to him by hand. Florent kept on running through centre-half back. Good territory gained here. Goes as far as he can. Burns slipped over at the last moment. Selwood cuts across and takes the mark. Inside defensive 50.
Doesn't mind a big moment. Selwood, there was one there. Good mark.
Selwood looking for Waitman and Haynes and Pitnet at ground level. Lobb did the roving. Got the hand pass away to Kennedy as well. And now Waitman. Waitman goes off the side of the boot. Dean, can he get there? He does. Double-fisted spoil, puts it into row G. Out of bounds inside 50 here for the Dogs. 11-10 plays 11-9. It's a 1-point margin for the Western Bulldogs, closing in on time on in this final turn.
What a cracking game of footy. Preview of what's going to be a fun month ahead. Tossed in. Pitnet gets in front as he stepped around Fraser and cocked an arm in panic. So free kick goes the way of the Blues. Ruckman backs up, left back pocket. Heads down the line. Trying to get it to Evans. Easily outmatched against Lobb. And he turns to his teammates. Where's the help? Rory Lobb, the absolute ultimate utility. Rucking down back. The Lobster back towards Norton again. 3 deep once more. And then cuts in front at the last moment. He has a runner. Ed Richards, who's been the superstar all night. When you need your heroes, they step up in September. Ed Richards is ready for finals, and so are the Western Bulldogs. They're up by 7 now. 12-10-82, plays 11-9-75. Ed Richards with a massive long-range strike. Chad Wingard, Bob Murphy with you on ABC Sport in the final term.
Bob, that was insane. You talk about Norton, we just spoke about, gets to any marking contest. Does it again. This time he said, as you just mentioned, not his strength at the moment, kicking straight. Let's give it to someone who's one of the best kicks in the competition, Ed Richards. But what a finish. But Wiedering's, that's 2 contests in a row. I know he's coming back into the side, but a bit of help, a bit of communication. Who's coming across to stop his run? You can't allow one of the best full forwards in the competition to get a clean run at it 2 times in a row.
Jeez, what a finish. Left. Strap yourselves in. This is a grandstand finish. Get back in the middle. Almost the clearance for the Dogs. Liberatore got it away. Now a chance for Kennedy. He drives them forward again. It's a floater inside 50. Mark taken by Haynes. Haynes goes quickly out wide. And he gets it to Florent, who goes short by hand to Akers. And Akers goes very high centrally, and he finds Hewitt. Hewitt out wide.
This is where they look
beyond
dangerous.
Halfway. Now to Cottrell. Cottrell inside attacking 50. Dirksen the flyer. Front and centre. Ainsworth. Snap from the pocket. Ainsworth hit the post. Wow. Margin back to 1 straight kick.
Important point. We had a final shaping draw last night. Maybe we could have another here. 1 kick game. Dogs are up. Blues need to win to lock in September, or they've got to beat Fremantle next weekend. They don't want to leave it up to chance. The Navy Blue supporters in force, despite it being an away game. Liberatore heads out towards the city wing. Lockie Cowan flies above, takes the intercept mark. Just behind right half forward. Cowan heaves it. A searching kick as he puts up a prayer. Kemp tried the juggling mark, didn't come back to him. Karma's tackled, ball up to come. We are 25 out in the right forward pocket.
You can understand tired players, but just Cowan, he just didn't look inside. That Carlton looked pedestrian when they just bomb the ball forward. When they change angles, they actually look dangerous against the Dogs' defence.
Liberatore with the clearance as far as Cowan. Got the hand pass away to Wiedering, tapped away from him again by Norton, only as far as Walsh, though. He'll have to backtrack all the way back to Haynes.
This is where they look dangerous, though, when they change angles and make the ground nice and big, which is what they're doing right now.
Haynes at half back. He gets it to Cottrell. Cottrell, short kick is a little wide of Florent. Florent had a fumble, could be a crucial one in the end. Now a chance for the Dogs. Kennedy kicks forward. Haynes, can he get there? He does, or was that an arm chop? Probably should have been an arm chop in the end. Wilson kept it in to Dean, who runs the boundary line. Short kick looking for Evans. Big spoil over the top from O'Donnell. Now to Hines, inside attacking 50, straight to Hewitt. Blues have to go and go quickly.
Down a kick. Spearing pass. Cottrell heads towards the city side. Just caught a late nudge. Car crash collision coming. Jones and Walsh either way. Couple of fists. The Blues win out. Walsh with a hospital handball trying to get it towards Ainsworth. Ball bobbles through the logo. Walsh follows up. Forces the turnover with the tackle. Kemp up to right half forward. Akers comes out to meet it. Too far out to score. This is his chance. Central kick. Byrne caught behind. Juggle 1-2. Knocked away from O'Donnell. Cottrell. Hayward. Frankie Evans, they're all just trying to win the footy right now. Byrne puts his head over it, just can't extract the footy. We are 25 from home. Carlton inside 50. You can feel the anxiety around the Docklands.
There's a lot of good sport in the world, but when our game gets close at the finish, nothing can touch it.
Where are the flyers for Carlton? It's a win for the Western Bulldogs. Kennedy comes away. High kick towards Haynes. It bounces in front of him, away from him. Florent shrugs one tackle. Goes short to centre half forward. Finds Smith. Smith looking for the hand pass. No, he's going to go the kick.
Yeah, they need composure here.
He kicks it to the hot spot. 10 metres out from goal. Across the face. Kemp's there. Spins out of one. Gets it to Evans. Evans snapped towards goal. It's there. Marked on the line, it's a goal anyway. Scores are level again. Hold on to your hats. How are your hearts going, Carlton supporters? 25 played, fourth quarter. And Dirksen has pinched it on the goal line for his first goal. Nice moment to bring it up. Poppy downstairs.
Carlton have just brought on. Cripps has gone back on. McGovern's gone back on. Mackay's gone back on. So they are bringing out all the big guns, all their experience back on the ground for this last push.
All chips on the table now.
It's now or never. September starts now. 44,000 in the house. What a moment to kick your first ever goal that could potentially put Carlton into finals. A draw will do it. A win would be even better. We are at 82 apiece. The Dogs need a win in their last two to move up into a home wild card. Tap down, Liberatore wins the clearance. Handball link chain with Sanders. Buffeted off his kick though by Ainsworth. Skies to the attacking edge. Hands come in. Shearer knocks it wide. Blake Akers is there for the Blues. Here they come. A 1-2 with Hewitt. Akers up to right half forward. Kicks a little long and wide. McGovern forced to spoil. Selwood knocks it towards the fence. Boundary throw in. 60 from home.
Ended up in the front row, Selwood. Such was the momentum. I think that goal's been given to Dirksen, but looking at the replay, I think he's pretty lucky. Might have been over the line anyway. Ball to be tossed back into play. 60 from the Carlton goal. Pitnet won it down to Smith, to Akers. Snaps inside, attacking 50. Dogs are pretty well positioned. Ball comes from McGovern. Selwood had it knocked away from him and out of bounds. Right forward pocket for Carlton. 26 played final term. 82 apiece. A Blues win or draw gets them in the wild card. The Dogs are already there.
How fun is footy? We're riding every moment here. Thrilling finish as we wrap up round 23. Pitnet down. Bramble tried to shark it. Bounced off his chest. Good tackle laid to hold things up. 25 from home as Selwood brings down McGovern. Carlton's 50. Scores level. Tossed up. Lob down. First to it. Coming was Ainsworth, leaves it for Akers, kick smothered, ricochets. Matty Kennedy just launches it out of there, trying to hit the lid. Out to left half back for the Dogs. Wiedering with the fist towards the boundary line. It'll be tossed back in, right half forward for the Blues.
Under 2 minutes to go. Right half forward for Carlton. We're almost at next score wins. Ball to be tossed back in. Players gather. Big guns everywhere. Thrown back into play. Pitnet won it down. Hewitt becomes the tackler. Liberatore with the clearance. Hand passes towards the wing. Dogs are moving this nicely. Richards again. Thought about a bounce. He got away from Florin. Doubles back. Off to Norton. He's run too far, Ed Richards. Free kick for Carlton, right half back, just as the Dogs were going inside 50.
The Blues fans saw it early, and Nathan Toner didn't hesitate. Big whistle in the dying stages of this game.
Doesn't bring me a whole lot of joy, but I think it was the right call. He ran for a long, long way.
At what point does Carlton concede and try to at least get the draw here? Just try and save the game rather than try and win this? And do they even know what a draw would mean?
Hearts are in mouths across Docklands. Carlton head through the city side wing. Mackay in front, can't pluck the mark. Follows up, but it's ripped away. Richards gets it back. O'Donnell launches a sky ball. Dean flies. A big mark again for the young star.
Huge mark.
He is an absolute bedrock of this defence, and it's only his first season. Minute to go. Carlton just need the draw, and they're going to go for possession brand football here. Wiedering points long but then goes short. Blake Akers right half back.
Looks like they're going for the draw here, the Blues. Akers at right half back. He's going to have to kick this to a contest. Crucial moment coming up here towards the wing. Mackay couldn't complete the mark. Richards again almost got the hand pass out. He did. Now it's a chance for Walsh. Knocked away. Akers, hand pass. He gets it to Cripps. Out wider still to Hewitt. Time ticks down. Hewitt out wide. Mark taken by Pitnet. 28 seconds left on the clock. The Blues can feel it.
Haven't seen the Blues this nervous since about the midway point of the season.
So Pitnet goes down, but it's a lot of Dogs there. Free kick given the way of the Blues. It's a free kick for Harry Mackay. Right half forward, the Dogs fans are livid. It's getting close for the Blues.
Can he do that? I'm going for a shot.
Well, it's worked before for Harry. He's going to concede anyway. A draw gets the Blues there. 12-10 apiece. The loudest roar you'll hear for a draw. As the Blues roller coaster goes for at least another 2 weeks. What an afternoon of footy. The Dogs were exceptional considering how many were out. And the Blues nerves were there all the way to the end. But a draw is enough. St Kilda are out. The Giants are out. But Fraser's Blues are into the wild card.
It's the silence that will tell so many stories, Maisie. Blues fans erupting at Docklands because they're in. They're in the 10. And St Kilda and GWS's seasons are over. Carlton will be playing finals football in 2026. And the Josh Fraser fairy tale is complete. All they had to do was hang on. And they get there in the end. It is tied at 82 apiece. What a game of footy, Chad Wingard, Bob Murphy.
Oh, it's insane. Yeah, and like you just mentioned, we saw Craig McRae kind of get the boys up, trying to pump up a draw. It's been very strange to have 2 draws in the same weekend, and it felt like it was a successful draw. Like, that's the strange part of this game.
Footy is bonkers.
Oh, it's actually bizarre. And we just said, when's the last time we've had 2 draws in a weekend? We add that to the what-ifs. Wow-wee. What a contest.
What a cracking game of football that was. That literally went down to the wire, didn't it? You could just see both teams throwing everything at it. That was a slugfest in the end. And probably the right result. Probably the right result. Didn't feel like, within the draw there's often someone, might feel like that they maybe deserved it. They were 2 pretty tough teams to split today. And the ladder reflects it.
Well, if ever you need a tune-up for a wildcard round, these two teams have just lived it in the last 30 minutes. That was exceptional.
We had Cameron Ling on AFL Sunday earlier today, and we spoke about the age-old debate on the bingo card about draws and if you should play on. That some draws are good and some draws are bad. And I think this is one of those ones where if you had the chance, you'd be playing Carlton's song right now because that's all they needed. They played for it like it was day 5. Carlton just hung on. And the Western Bulldogs, to their credit, missing some serious stars. The young dogs had some bite, and they'll be flat that they didn't get the job done. But at the end of the day, they've shown that they can stack up against the best without their heavy hitters. And when they get them back, they'll be even better.
Yeah, the Dogs will be flat with their first quarter. They didn't really answer the bell like you would have expected them to. But after quarter time, led by Ed Richards, whose name we've mentioned quite a bit today, they were superb. And Carlton equally just kept hanging in there and were just able to make adjustments. Even with their ball movement and their willingness to work and make space was one of the things that got them back in the contest when it looked like their avenues to goal had slowed up. That was a game full of full of heart from both sides.
Yeah, I'd probably say if there's one team that's kind of thinking they should have won the game, if we had to pick one, Western Bulldogs for me had a lot of set shots in the 20-metre range. You think about Norton, we also had Arthur Jones who...
Cody had one.
For me, they'll probably look back at that. If this was a more meaningful game, it was meaningful, but if this was a final-esque game, it comes down to the wire, they're the sort of moments that you look back on, you reflect on like, we had a miss there. Where Carlton's, they played really well throughout the whole game, I thought, but for Western Bulldogs fans, you'd be thinking, geez, I'd love to have that again. A set shot from 20 metres out, 3 of them are missing him. I think that's probably something where they probably shot themselves in the foot a little bit.
Poor old Norton's goal streak's over as well. So he had 31 in a row and couldn't fire today. So Ben King's now your new active leader with 22. But, the text line is exploding. We've got a lot of listeners getting in touch. So Rob says, blatant free to Mackay, and don't forget the Dogs' goal from a throw. That was so blatant it should cost an umpire his job.
It's true.
So more or less a win to the Blues, he says. One listener says, Fraser's flaggers have left the station. So up and about there. Marcus in South Melbourne, St Kilda supporters were desperately supporting the Dogs and unfortunately didn't get there in the end. Calvin, a little shout out to Poppy Penny for having the best name in footy. Poppy is listening downstairs, Calvin, don't worry, we'll head down to her very shortly. And I know for a fact that she's starting in the Blues camp because they are the big talking point out of this contest as well. 0437 774 774 if you want to get in touch. So the state of play now, 10 is sorted. Positions will change, but St Kilda and the Giants are out. We know who our finals teams are. Carlton now sitting in 10th. A game and a draw ahead of St Kilda. So they're in. If they win next weekend against Fremantle and the Dogs lose to the Demons, they could jump as high as 9th. But the Blues certainly aren't playing a home wildcard final from here. The Western Bulldogs could. If Collingwood lose to the Lions on Friday night and they beat the D's, the Bulldogs could finish in 8th. This is also all good news for Adelaide at this stage. They're probably going to finish as low as 7th, but could jump back into the top 6. So Bulldogs and Carlton locked in. Blues can't have a home final, but given the teams that are around them, it'll be in Melbourne. So they're probably pretty thankful for that. And my goodness, if it's Collingwood and Carlton, we're in for a ripper in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, both coming off a draw 2 weeks earlier. It's going to be pretty exciting, but... like I said, this game...
we're barracking for that, aren't we?
Aren't we? 100%.
We're neutral here at the ABC, of course.
Oh, yeah.
So you want Carlton to beat Freo then? That's what needs to happen there.
Well, that's a big ask.
Well...
Here, though.
Yeah.
That's here.
How many do they rest?
Yeah, that would be the which Fremantle team would we see?
Or Adelaide completely blow it, lose to the Giants, and Collingwood find a way to make up the percentage, but I don't think it's going to happen. So... yeah, you're probably riding on Carlton defeating Fremantle next Saturday, which is here in Melbourne. This kicks us off as part of that fixture. Both the clubs have stayed out there for a while. Neither are keen to go into the rooms to unpack it all, but I guess one of the big questions...
They want a fifth quarter, the boys. They're like, ready, let's go again. Come on, let's get a result.
What's going on here?
Throw the ball up.
For both of you, so the Carlton have been flying towards September, and the Dogs, as we've touched on, have been a roller coaster where they've had these big swings in terms of win streaks and losing streaks, but... did you learn tonight that both of these sides can do some damage when we get there?
I think they're both genuine wildcard teams, and I think today is fitting in a sense that we got a draw and they're evenly matched and they've had unusual lead-ins to get to this point. but I don't think any of us would be comfortable putting them in that top bracket of 6 teams. But for them to miss out from what they've produced this year, this feels like the right result.
Yeah, and what I love about the wild card is that we wouldn't have had this drama, this kind of game if the wild card wasn't here. Because again, Carlton wouldn't be playing for this, and maybe potentially, obviously, Western Bulldogs would be fighting for that 8th spot. But
footy's the winner.
I love this. I actually don't mind the wild card for this reason. More teams are relevant the longer the season goes. So again, this game would have been irrelevant, and the fairy tale finish that Carlton are after wouldn't be there to chase. So that's the beauty of this game, and again, a beauty of a draw. What an absolute ripper.
Just to backtrack on that, because I know I wasn't a fan when it came in, and I have flipped now. Were you similar, Chad?
No, I was all for it. I mean, I love the play-in. If it came from the NBA, and I think that had a real appetite of keeping more teams engaged. It also stops teams thinking about the draft or how to improve in the season. The fan base doesn't shut off. We don't have this many people within Marvel if this game's not live.
Yep.
So for me, I love the fact that, and again, we're calling a game that we're not bored with. You know what I mean? Like it's better for everyone that more teams engage for longer the season goes on. So having 10 teams, we just don't know. I mean, Bulldogs, again, when they win from 7th?
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously, the great man here that would know. But do you know what I mean? Like, it just creates a bit more drama around it. And like I said, the play-in obviously came from the NBA, but this is, again, it's best of 7 series once it gets to the playoffs. But I feel like this is just a win-win for everyone that's involved.
It's a broad chat, isn't it? So one way of looking at it would be, well, the teams that are in that wild card, whilst it's entertaining and we get an extra round of football, are they going to be a legitimate chance to actually win the flag? Can you play that much footy from that far back? I think with a big sample size, if it turns out that it just is too far to win it, I think maybe the wild card will lose a bit of luster. The other concern I had going in was, do we have a team or teams at 10th and 9th who are so far off it that we really are just marking time? Well, thankfully, in the first year of it, we don't have that. We don't have that situation. It feels like 7th, whoever finishes 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th will fit the role of wildcard round to a T.
Yeah, that was the biggest point I was going to make in terms of the benefits of the wild card. I mean, if the Western Bulldogs or Carlton finish 9th and 10th, as they are at the moment, you could see them in the first week of finals beating a Melbourne on their day or a Geelong on their day. So I think that's as you mentioned, the strength of the wild card is always going to be those winners from those the 9th and 10th teams. If they can actually cause an upset, that makes it big.
Yeah, and the initial point is, well, we need years to have a look at it.
Yeah.
So, can someone actually make a bit of a charge from it? I'm just a little unnerved by people who have optimistic spirit around footy of saying it's just too hard a task. So you wouldn't want that in the long term.
Yeah, I think it might be too hard a task, but I just think it's good for the game to have more people coming to the game, be excited for what's next.
Have a listen to this down at the Carlton race. They're about to finally make their way off the ground, and the Blue Baggers, who turned up in force, have congregated down at the Coleman end to celebrate a draw. Listen to them. They're making their way to Poppy Penny. Won't be singing the song, but we'll certainly be getting some fallout down in the rooms for them. The Baggers are in finals under Josh Fraser.
Feels like they're going to sing the song.
I know, they probably should, given what they've accomplished so far this afternoon. And
first time ever.
Amazing. And, yeah, look, I was going to make the point about St Kilda and the Giants don't outme Ross Lyon, but I think those are the two sides that if they had made it, probably would have been making up the numbers. This 10 feels perfect.
Yeah, well, St Kilda would have literally limped in, a few of their injuries, so I think we got the right 10.
With you for the next half an hour before we take you to the MCG for Essendon and Sydney. Bit of a one-sided affair there. The Bombers have had a slight fight back in the second term, but at half-time it is the Swans by 24 points. And a reminder as well, the MRO news coming through that Jacob Van Rooyen, the Demons talisman, has been offered a 3-game ban for his strike on Aaliyah, the stray arm in a marking contest that concussed the milestone man. So Aaliyah out for the season, and Melbourne might be missing Van Rooyen for the rest of the year, given they're currently shaping up for an elimination final and a 5th place finish. So a lot to unpack across the next half an hour in terms of all the permutations and what it all means. But this might be the final moment for Josh Fraser now that they're in finals to get him over the line. Let's get some reaction down in the rooms. We are tied here at Docklands at 82 apiece, but Carlton feel like the winners, Poppy Penny.
Yeah, they came down here. There were some very happy faces on the Carlton players as they came through. Family and friends gave them a big cheer. You'd think that they did win this match the way that they came through. They've just gone straight into a meeting and, speculating, probably Josh Fraser saying he's got the job, no problems. He's a huge sort of 12 weeks for him in the role, and I imagine that they're reflecting on that in there, and we'll be catching up very shortly with George Hewitt to get a bit of response from him and reaction as the Blues have cemented their spot in September. Can you believe that? There were some pretty happy faces as they came in the rooms.
And Poppy, can you stick your ear to the door of the meeting just to hear if they're actually singing the song? They might be trying to do it behind closed doors.
Well, I imagine, I think there were some fans in here who thought maybe they were going to sing the song because such was the reaction.
It might be the best draw in Carlton's history. We'll check back in with Poppy in a moment's time. So 12-10, 82 apiece. It finishes. The other tough task in a draw is getting the votes, gents. No one actually won.
Tough assignment for Chad this afternoon. He's usually a man of bold convictions, so I expect something pretty spicy.
Have you got any in your mind, or do you want me to rattle off some stats for you while you
No, we can see. I mean, we won't go to the votes just yet, but there was some significant players out there. I think without going to the actual votes, like Ed Richards was one that stood out from the eye test. He was super impressive. I mean, kicking the 2 goals, and he just stood up when you thought that Carlton were going for a run. I thought he was super impressive. Paddy Cripps had an unbelievable day as well, leading the way with the clearance battle, and obviously came in there with a couple hit outs as well. Almost took mark of the year. I mean, we talk about the bunnies of some of the players. And again, it was a kind of almost days for a couple of the Western Bulldogs players as well. I mean, Arthur Jones, I mean, if he could have had 4 or 5 goals.
Yeah,
he was super impressive on the defensive.
He was great. Buku Karmas was really, really good in defence, as was Wiedering until the last quarter where Aaron Norton sort of came to life. But Jacob Wiedering, he had Aaron Norton's number covered pretty well for the afternoon, and Mark Pitnet was he used this opportunity. Rory Lobb battled away, but thought Mark Pitnet was really influential as well.
It's a couple of big questions because Bontempelli comes back into this side, but Joel Fraser had a good performance, and again the depth on show. Tom Liberatore has been a bit up and down given the concussions and how much footy he's missed, but 33 today. So Luke Beveridge has got some choices. Probably the hard one is Louis Emmett. So yeah, went largely with Rory Lobb again in the ruck. Louis Emmett comes in as the young kind of early pick, one touch. Tim English is still a couple of weeks away, but it just feels like he's not really their guy right now, is he?
It was odd with Emmett. There was a couple of centre bounces where he was in there with Lobb too, on 2 occasions. I don't know whether that was just a mix-up in communication or it was...
Yeah, they had
a Bevo special.
But they even had around the ground. It was a bit strange with who was taking the around the ground contest as well. Like Fraser took a couple, then you had Kennedy had a couple, and it was just, I know, but it wasn't against Paddy Cripps, it was against Pitto.
Yeah.
So, which you don't normally see. Normally you'll see a Fraser or that kind of second mid that's like against Paddy Cripps, but not when it's their main ruckman.
This is not an isolated day, gentlemen. It's not an isolated day. He's I lovingly refer to him as a ruckist. He's not anti-ruckman. He just doesn't. He doesn't sort of view the ruck role in the traditional sense that a lot of people in footy do.
Might work for them long term, though. I mean, Rory Lobb obviously wasn't the better ruckman tonight, but clearances they only lost by 3. In terms of scores from centre bounce, it wasn't overly damaging either. So with Tim English's problem with the knee at the moment listed as TBC, so who knows kind of how long he'll be out for with that MCL. But
the only counter to that would be that they were absolutely demolished in the first quarter with clearances and scores.
But even just the way they got the clearances, clearances is just a number, right? But if you look at the eye test of where they're kicking from, a lot of it was forward of centre. So they're actually getting outside of the contest. And when Pitto was controlling, you saw it in the zone in the last probably 10 minutes, he was actually controlling everything around the ground and then tapping it. It could have been a handball.
Pitnet himself had 9 clearances.
Yeah, and a lot of them were from controlling the contest, giving the handball, and then they get out. So ruckmen do matter. It's just how, if you don't, I mean, look at Maxi Gawn.
I like the way you said that. Ruckmen do matter. It's like a little public service. And
he's convincing himself.
If any of them are listening, Paul Salmon is listening.
You matter.
Yeah, you matter.
Paddy Ryder, I got you, brother.
We see you, Paul and Paddy, and your
big boy McAvoy.
That's it.
But is that going to be a glaring hole for them then in 2 weeks' time? If
Geelong's had that hole a fair bit this whole year as well, and they've managed. I mean, but you look at the top end teams. I mean, Hawthorn have got 2 ruck, Fremantle have got option. They've got 3 rucks really as an option. I mean, Darcy I think is out maybe potentially for the rest of the year, but they've got 2 blatant options. I mean, Maxi Gawn just shoulder load. So I mean, the top 4, top 5 have got really potent ruckman or really good options.
They look very lean today. Rory being the number one. That looks really lean.
Melbourne next week too for the Dogs with Max Gawn.
Yep.
Good luck.
Down on them.
That's just good luck.
If you thought you saw some unusual tactics today with the rucks.
I've been in a centre bounce with Maxi Gawn before we... I think Big Boy was down. Howe was actually rucking, and the first centre bounce contest, Maxi Gawn got a hit out to their wingman. just forward to their winger. I was like, yep, we're in for a tough day. What's the point of it being in the centre bounce? I had a centre bounce attendance and got nowhere near him.
Jeez. Meanwhile, for the Blues, there's not a lot of weak points, I guess, in terms of their 23. We'll obviously cross our fingers for Will Hayward, who took an absolute ripper of a hanger, but came down on the front of his foot. So hopefully he's okay. But
he'll be sore. Hayward. Just looking at the replay, that's an unusual angle that he came down and we watched him warm up. He looked really gingered. Now you can imagine in the coming days he'll be really sore. So you hope there's not a little crack in there or something more significant.
It's like you're doing a calf raise, but he landed like
it was like a hyperextension of your ankle almost.
It bent.
Which you don't often see that angle. It's not the classic rolled ankle. It's like the front on. So he'll be
it could
really
be a bit
sore.
of bone bruising. Yeah, hopefully that's all it is.
But around that, the Blues right now were really their own worst enemy at times. In the first half, they were moving it so slick, and then at times just got a little bit too confident in how they were doing it. The Dogs are well structured, so. Really, even though it was a close game, I kind of walk away. Even, we talk about how the draw means more, and Carlton probably won this technically in terms of the moral victory. But I think, they showed a lot in terms of the damage that they're going to be able to do because, really, they were on top for a large part of the game. They just had some poor errors at times.
Yep.
The Blues could have... They almost looked like they were about to maybe not close it out, but it looked like they had total control of the game 10 minutes into the second quarter, and then they just... overcorrected, as you say, bit off a bit more than they could chew, were a little bit reckless with their ball use, and it did seem to energise the Bulldogs, and they got involved on the scoreboard, and then we had a totally different game of footy from that point on.
A couple of texts coming through. So Dean says, now that the AFL have got Carlton into the finals, can we expand again so that Essendon can get back in next year? And that was a similar sentiment to, I guess, the excitement around the wildcards is that, the more teams that can contend. We've had a couple of listeners say, maybe expand it to 12 or 14. There's a tongue-in-cheek comment, but yeah, it's been exciting. I think there's a line where it gets a little bit too far.
It is, but there's change in footy. No one likes it because, if you go back to the gather round, I'm sure everyone was pretty heading towards that. Now it's become a significant event and everyone flies to it and everyone wants to go to it. So I'm just the one to see how it goes and not knock it until
change is okay. You're a watch for me with the NBA. If the NBA, I like my basketball too, but there's some things that they do well that we don't need to adopt everything. But
going
to keep an eye on it.
It worked today. It worked this year. I think it works this year. But again, it will be interesting to see how it goes going forward. Yep. But I just look at the gather round or even the game that we had at the start of the year with the All-Stars, obviously a couple of years ago, and now we've had the Origin game. I don't know. I think trying new things and seeing it just creates a new conversation to talk about. We don't want to be a boring, stagnant, I suppose, code that just loses its oomph a little bit.
The interesting thing, too, next week is it's going to be all the permutations in those bottom 4 slots as well, because the Dogs play Melbourne, so that is a massive game now, really shaping Melbourne's chances, because if Melbourne slip up against the Dogs next week, then they could be playing in a wild card in 7th spot. That would mean Adelaide would get through to 6th, so they'd have a home elimination final. So
isn't it?
That's now a massive game. Obviously, if Carlton cause a huge upset and beat Freo, that sort of puts the cat amongst the pigeons as well, because that would relegate the Dogs below them, and then they may have to travel to Adelaide for an interstate wild card final. So next week, the watch on those bottom 4, or bottom 4 of the 10, 7th to 10th, that's going to create a whole new level of intrigue which we haven't had previously, which is also another nice little bonus. And up the top too, really, the Brisbane and Hawthorn situation. Hawthorn can try and pump their percentage as high as possible, so they're 2 behind at the moment. Brisbane have got Collingwood. Whereas Hawthorn in the final round...
They go West Coast Eagles. And that is over there?
Over there, correct.
Yes.
Yep. So that's 7:20 on Sunday. and I know it's West Coast v Hawthorn, but that could be potentially, deciding whether Hawthorn are staying there and playing a qualifying final against Fremantle, or whether they might be jumping on a plane to Sydney instead.
A little worried about next Sunday, though. So I know floating fixture, the AFL did its best possible to try and shape it as the most exciting final round, whilst also giving the wildcard contenders a longer break. But Thursday night now, St Kilda and Gold Coast, that's a dead rubber. Friday night's going to be a ripper with Collingwood and Brisbane, and then the Carlton Freo and Melbourne Bulldogs games on Saturday are a nice kind of afternoon run. And then you kind of have, the last 4 to 5 really are inconsequential, and maybe, Hawthorn Eagles by the time we get to the final game on Sunday might be irrelevant as well. It could be a percentage chaser, but otherwise it might be a dire end to the regular season with these last 5 games, which, the upside is come wildcard finals, everybody's fresh and firing and it's going to be great. But I don't know how I feel about round 24 being a bit of a dud, given the way it's been front-ended. Do you have a feeling, Bob?
When you put it out like that, when you lay it out like that, it seems like the chances are probably that we won't get absolute maximum excitement. But you're talking to me after 2 draws. I'm fresh off 2 draws. A round of regulation mightn't be the worst thing for my ticker.
Yeah. Let's get some reaction down in the Carlton rooms. A draw here at Docklands, but the Blues are going to play finals footy under Josh Fraser. Poppy Penny's down in the camp.
Yeah, I'm down in the Blues camp. I was going to say victorious, but it's not. But it feels like it kind of is with George Hewitt, 30 touches and 8 tackles for you. You guys are going to play finals. How does that feel?
Yeah. I think when we were 1 and 8, you probably wouldn't believe it, to be honest with you. But like today, the Doggies played really well. I thought we played well as well. Like they're a really good side. So we're just absolutely. I think the right word, sort of pumped, because I thought the leaders did really well in the last 2 or 3 minutes to actually wrap around their heads that I think a draw gets us in there. So the senior boys are really good to ice the game a bit at the end, which is it was tough, but we got it done in the end.
There was sort of, with the 30 or 45 seconds to go, a bit of kick to kick going on, kick backwards, and I think a lot of the fans were thinking, what are you doing? Maybe not realising that the draw would be enough. Was there messaging from the bench to say, hey, the draw's enough, just kick it around?
Oh, there probably would have been, definitely. We see signs and stuff, and us players know what they mean, and I don't think the runner can come out in the last couple of minutes. So, and deep down, I think the boys know the ladder position, so I think we had a pretty good idea. But full credit to the boys and to the Dogs. It was probably scrappy at times. I thought both teams brought great effort, so it would have been a great game to watch.
You've just come out of a meeting, straight off the field, straight into a meeting with Josh Fraser. What did he have to say to the group?
Oh, he said, if we can reflect for a minute, well done you boys for giving yourself a chance to, play an extra game at least. And then, deep down, we've still got a lot to work on, which we didn't get a lot. We didn't do some things great today. So I thought our skills and fundamentals and sometimes our contests, we got touched up pretty consistently after quarter time. But the positive is we did it well for the first quarter, and it gave us a chance to be in the game.
Did he tell you he's got the job or what?
No, I can't tell you that. I suppose I've got no idea, but all I can say is he has a great temperament. He's a great bloke, and all the players really enjoy learning off him. He's just, I think he's a great fella, so good luck to him, but also good luck to all the other candidates as well. Before
I toss upstairs to the guys, are you a fan of the wildcard round?
Oh, definitely. You get to play an extra game of footy, and as a kid growing up, you want to play for as many games as you can in his season, because pre-season, off-seasons are long, so the more games the better, I think. So, I'm just pumped that we've given ourselves... We didn't let the season, just sort of meander out. We've given ourselves a good chance to have a crack.
In the Carlton rooms with George Hewitt, I'm going to toss you upstairs to Chad Wingard, Bob Murphy, Andrew Mays and Aaron Bryans.
George, Chad Wingard here, mate. Congrats on, I suppose, the draw, but getting into the wildcard round. I just want to talk about your defence. I mean, you gave up 58 entries, but how amazing was the defensive six to just lock that down? And obviously having Wiedering back, how important was he?
Yeah, it was a brick wall day. For a first game to come in, sometimes it can be, I feel it, the speed of the game can catch you a bit, but, Wieders is brilliant. I thought Harry Dean's just, for a first-year player, I don't think I've seen... just the effort he brings, it lifts the stadium a bit with his spirit. So he's just so competitive, and I think that when a first year is doing that, along with Taylor Byrne, you just get great spirit from those blokes doing that. And I thought the whole team defended well. Like, the pretty low scoring game. I think it was 80-odd to 80-odd. So, Backs did a great job.
And the chess match that we saw between you both teams, I mean, the ball movement, trying to go inside, going around. What did you see from them, especially in that second, third quarter, when they started to try to shut down a bit of the corridor ball movement?
Yeah, they did it really well. And then I thought when they got us down the line, they outnumbered a lot better than us. And I think that's where the game started to shift. Whereas, we're probably holding corridor a bit too much rather than maybe getting on their backs and getting even numbers to the contest. They probably outnumbered by sometimes 1 to 2 or 3 blokes, and that's how they probably kick-started their game, which we'll learn from. But, so it'd be good to look back on during the week.
And last one from me, Will Hayward, did you get a chance to check on him, or is he a bit sore? Is he moving around okay, or is it you haven't quite seen him? He's in the doctor's room?
I think he's still in the air, so I haven't actually seen him. I think he just jammed his ankle a bit, and I know he was trying to get back on, so hopefully he's all right.
And speaking of airtime, what about Paddy Cripps? Have you seen the captain get up that high before? It's like springs in Docklands tonight.
He can do some weird things that surprise you, Cripper, so that's a sign of a great player. They just do the odd, random freakish thing. I didn't think he had that much hops, but I'll give him credit. He likes his plyometrics, so he did well to get up that high. He probably went too early.
George, Bob Murphy here, mate. Congratulations on today's effort, both yourself and the team, and what's already a very famous footy season of your footy club. Just the one question I've got, obviously today was a finals-like intensity, and you're in the 10, that's locked in, and you've got Fremantle next week. I know you want to just enjoy the situation right now, albeit a draw, but it's a nice run to go into a finals campaign coming up against the best side next week.
Oh, definitely. We've, who have we had? We've had Brisbane, St Kilda, a quality side. Doggies in the top 6, top 8, and then, Freo. So, we're going to have some tough games, but I think there's nothing better than playing against, the top side going into the wild card round to probably see where we're really at, and hopefully we give them a good crack, and can't wait to play them. It's a 6-day turnaround for us, so we're going to probably have a light week and get fresh and get going again.
George, take us out onto the field in those last couple of minutes. I know you mentioned that the leaders sort of figured it out that a draw was enough. Had you spoken about that pre-match, or was that an instruction from the bench? How did that message get out there?
Nah, it wasn't spoken at all, but I think players, deep down, we've been looking at the ladder closely. We know, I definitely knew what would get us in, and but nothing from the coaches at three-quarter time, but it was great from the bench to put the signs up, and then the players to realise the circumstance we're in, and we've got that. I know it's a draw, probably feels like a win, but it's good.
Hey, George, you've been so generous with your time. Quick one before you go. Collingwood or Adelaide, who would you rather?
Both. Adelaide's my hometown, and the MCG will probably have 95,000, so I'll be very happy with either.
Can't wait to see how it unpacks. Thanks for your time and congratulations.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
George Hewitt downstairs, congratulations, because even though it was a draw, the Blues are playing finals footy in 2026, which, feels like it was a lifetime ago that Michael Voss was fighting for his career, and the Blues were regaining the depths of what would be another failed season, and it has been an absolute turnaround. So in their last 13 games, they've lost 2 now on the eve of finals, and who knows, world's their oyster. It's a free hit to a degree because you've accomplished so much that you get in as a wild card and you can just have a crack.
They put capital wild in wild card at the moment, Carlton, don't they? From where they've been at, and you can just see the joy and enthusiasm and the love they've recaptured for the game and for each other and for the jumper. It's impossible not to get swept up in it.
Well, even his season probably encapsulates the turnaround itself. He was dropped for a month when they're sort of going for more runners on the outside, but then he's come back and his performance has been excellent. What a turnaround for not only Carlton but him as an individual. Played, I think he's the 61st player today to play 100 games for 2 different AFL and NFL clubs in the history of the game. So I think Josh Dunkley did it last night so he was the 60th, and then George Hewitt the 61st today. So big congrats to him. He's when maybe he might have been looking to head back to Adelaide, there was a couple of discussions around that. He's fully cemented himself back part of this midfield for the Blues.
And we spoke to him during Gather Round when there was a lot of talk about Michael Voss's future and where he was going and his potential. And, he was brutally honest about the fact that he needed to improve and he had to go back and he did the hard yards. And here he is, 30 touches on Docklands and sending Carlton into the finals. So, massive turnaround story for a lot of these Blues guys. A lot of them are younger, but the veterans who've been toiling away for nearly a decade, just waiting for a storyline like this, a fairy tale that could push them who knows how far. How'd you go with the votes, Chad?
You want to hear them? You want to hear the votes?
Yeah.
All right, let's go for it. So I'm going to go for...
There's some options here.
There is some options, and you've handballed it to me.
You've relinquished your power.
It was the right side for the left footer.
Might only be one option for the three.
I think it is too. I think it is too. But for me, I'm actually giving the one vote, which, yes, I'm sure everyone's going to have an opinion on. But I'm giving it to Mark Pittonet. I thought he was super important. I mean, he had 32 hitouts. He had 15 disposals, 1 goal. He also had 9 clearances. And the fact that his hitouts were super potent, and towards the end of that game, he actually really controlled the contest. So I really loved what I saw from him. And last week as well, like 2 weeks in a row where he's beaten his opponent directly, was super impressive.
When he plays this well, I like to call him Pittonet.
Pittonet?
Yeah.
Like he's an A?
Yeah, when Pittonet. It's just got a little bit more of a French sort of flourish to it.
I like a nothing but Pittonet.
There you go. So there's options.
I'm going the second vote for Paddy Cripps. I mean, 34 disposals. Again, he had 12 clearances, and he was probably the best on ground for Carlton. He was massive, stepped up where it mattered, was asked of so many things, and was super impressive. But I can't go past Ed Richards. I mean, 31 disposals, 2 goals. He was impressive with, I think he had 6 clearances as well, 8 inside 50s. Like ball in hand, there's no one better on this field than him tonight. So super potent. There's a 3-2-1.
Missed a couple of games with the ankle injury, Richards, but would be in the discussion. He'd make at least the All-Australian squad, and then the team would be a debate. But
yeah, he's a top 10 player in the competition. Like, he's an absolute superstar. Last year
with a rush.
He was insane last year as a whole season.
A lot of love for the wild card coming through on the text line, especially after you both unpacked it in terms of what it's been able to do for the competition. So the Dragon Tiger says, I'm okay with it, but it can't be called a finals win, especially if Essendon make one and eventually get there. Loving the 8,000-day streak. Brett in Canberra was a very happy Blues supporter, especially as 3 of my family's teams, Fremantle, Hawthorn and Carlton, now have made it through. Wildcard round is here to stay. Gilby says, great call, team, on the wildcard round. I've come around to it today. In footy, you are in it until you aren't. So there's a lot of love coming through. Josh in Williamstown, love the wild card, a great innovation based on the NBA play, and I'm all for change, but so long as it preserves the uniqueness of our great game. Theme songs should always be played pre-game and bring back the bounce for finals. A couple of Blues fans have stuck around and are really relishing what was the game, and maybe the
I think they're cheering on
around.
Could be. It's got echoes of Dave Hughes about it.
They're cheering Lewis Young, who's doing laps. I think he played.
Push him through.
Yeah,
Get through, son. You got this.
Got to support all the depth players in the build-up to what's going to be a big finals campaign as well. Phil says, rah, 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 Blues, not hearing anything about the Dogs. Give us some more there. So we did unpack it a fair bit in terms of what they had to offer and the kids that were out there throughout the afternoon. Obviously, Bontempelli to come back in as well in their ruck situation. Maybe a quick question around like Cody Wakeman, Aaron Norton as a forward line figure. Like, Cody has the 1 goal tonight, couple of chances, but he missed over 600 days of footy.
Yeah,
have they got enough scoring power? You look at the Demons.
I think they do.
Yeah.
I mean, with West down there as well, and obviously you got Darcy coming back. Obviously next year, but Norton, as we spoke about him, how potent was he with getting into the contest when looks like he's out of it? Like, he's 4 deep and he marks 2 in a row. He just didn't kick straight. Like, he could have had a huge day.
Didn't quite click for Cody
and
or
Arthur
Aaron
Jones.
Norton today, but you can see the effort and the athleticism, the knee concerns of Cody Wakeman are diminished. Like, he's jumping and throwing himself into danger. It's a tough gig being a small forward, as you know, Chad. So no, I think the scoring power is there. I don't think that's the worry. Kicking accuracy.
Yeah, Arthur
but
Jones,
also,
he was insane. I mean, he could have had 4 or 5 goals for a small forward, but that wasn't even the best part of his game. His defensive efforts were insane. Like, he got so many touches on the ball, some smothers, some tackles, and he came with a real oomph today. Like, I loved his game.
You get
he
Tim
didn't put it on the scoreboard.
If you get Tim English back, Jordan Croft spends more time forward. That's a difficult matchup. He's over 200 centimetres tall, so that wouldn't be where I'd be concerned if I was a dog supporter.
And there's a couple long term, like Sam Darcy comes back next year. You can say Butters in as well. Gee, those are some big additions to, a side that is already pretty competitive and will, boost their scoring prowess as well. So the Dogs are certainly a threat, just a matter of where they end up with Melbourne to come next weekend. And currently at this stage, the live ladder has them playing Collingwood, and Adelaide will have Carlton in the first week. But I think everyone in footy's barracking for the alternative so we can get that absolute blockbuster.
Adelaide Carlton, that has some drama to it.
They'll be in strife the Crows.
That has great drama to it. Adelaide Oval, the wild card Blues taking on the under pressure Crows. Whoo-wee!
I know that they love the idea of playing at the MCG against Collingwood, but I do think if you're Carlton, that's the better matchup, because Adelaide will be under the pump. You have to travel, but...
Nah, that's hostile.
Yeah,
it's so hostile. I'm taking MCG.
Yeah.
I reckon, the noise is getting pretty loud in South Australia. They're so parochial, and also...
Their tall forwards scare me a little bit, to be honest, if they're Adelaide. Like, they're pretty tall down there, and... Like, when they're on, they're on. And I think their speed, like, Rankin's on fire. I know we're talking about Dacos as well, but, like, I don't know. Crows are...
I wouldn't want to play on Harry Dean at the moment.
Nah. Yeah, that's
or Jacob Loitering.
Speaking of rising star debate, everyone always felt that Jagger Smith was a clear front-runner. He's had another big night tonight, but, I mean, Harry Dean probably hasn't played as many games, but there's going to be a few contenders that will be floating around. And Blues are...
That should be hotly debated, I would think. Should be hotly debated.
Does it feel like Jagger's the clear front-runner, or do you reckon it's...
For Rising Star?
Yeah.
Oh, he is the clear front-runner. I think Dersma is going to be a great footballer, but again, it's like the NBA. I don't want to go back to it again, but Jagger's had he's had another 12 months than other players. I don't love the fact that we have a rising star and we can give it to a player that's been there for 12 months.
I'm with you on that.
So, and like Talia won it, for instance, at the Crows. And I can't remember who was the better player that year in terms of the first... It should be the first draft. Like, it should be draft.
That your draft year, I think I'm with you on that.
Just last one to wrap up as well, giving a shout-out to Adam Jones, who did get in touch with us, our producer at ABC Sport, that the last time there were 2 draws in the same round was in 1977. So it's been a very long time between drinks, a lot of history across this weekend, and we've had 2. Did
you say Essendon won a final then, or what was that?
That's a nice way to wrap things up here at Dockland.
A grenade on the way.
Huge thanks to Chad Wingard, who jumped aboard today for what was an absolute epic, and Bob Murphy as well. Good to see you, Bob.
Thanks, gents.
Absolute. Get some rest before you back it up in the morning on 774.
Yes.
Maisie, great call.
Good to see you. Thanks for coming across.
Huge thanks to Poppy Penny, best name in footy, according to the text line. Did very well downstairs to get the best out of George Hewitt, to our man Stuart Hollywood Baker, I tech as well, and back in the studio to Jules Hay. It's a draw here at Docklands, 82 apiece, but it means that Carlton will be playing finals football in 2026, and at the moment, the Bulldogs will be finishing in 9th. Now, we're headed over to the MCG, where Essendon are trying to complete an almighty comeback. They were down by a good 8 goals. Now it is a 2-goal difference. 72 plays 60 with 8 to go in the third. We're going to send you over to our commentary team out at the G, Lauren Borden, Clint Wilden, Brett Delidio and Nathan Burke, for what is sure to be a thrilling finish now as the